with an uncertain expression. So what exactly happened that day? Song Lang's eyes flickered. He did not go to the entertainment company and simply ignored director Feng's request for him to come back for an audition. He came to the KTV and found the owner. I retrieved the video footage from that day. In the video, the door opened about 10 minutes after he left Li Yao's room. Li Yao walked out but looked a little tired. Li Yao then ordered 2 people to go into the room and carry Chu Ji out. Chu Ji's clothes were disheveled, and he looked very embarrassed. Li Yao seemed to be very tired and walked out holding on to the wall. There's nothing wrong with the video at all. It's just that Li Yao wrapped herself a little too tightly. It was reasonable to beat Chu Ji for such a long time that he was so tired that he couldn't walk. There is nothing wrong with this, right? But why did Li Yao treat herself like this after that day? Is she blaming me for not helping her beat Chu Ji? But she was the one who said not to let anyone disturb her. What went wrong? At this time his phone rang. It was Li Yao calling. The call is connected. Li Yao's cold voice rang out. Song Lang, Director Feng said he couldn't find you. What are you doing? I handed the entertainment company over to you. Is this how you take responsibility? Distant. I don't want to hear your explanation. Go back to the company immediately. I don't want this to happen again. Li Yao hung up the phone coldly. Song Lang's face was slightly distorted. On the other end of the phone, Li Yao hung up and angrily threw the documents in her hand on the table, making a dull bang. How's the matter I asked you to investigate going? Li Yao looked at an assistant next to her. The assistant replied, Miss, Chu's entertainment company does have a movie being filmed at Jinghai University. With personal guidance from a professor from the performance department of Kyokai University, both the costumes and the music in the later stages were completed at Kyokai University, so this film cost almost no money. A professor at Jinghai University thought the script was great and offered to direct it for free so that he could let his students practice and provide guidance in person. This is a mutually beneficial activity, and their filming is going smoothly, and it will probably be finished in another week. The assistant looked at Li Yao tremblingly. She felt that Li Yao would be furious when she heard the news, but she was surprised to find that Li Yao looked calm, with a hint of smile hidden at the corner of his mouth. Okay, I get it. You go down first, Li Yao said. The assistant walked out of the office. Li Yao leaned back in the chair, stretched out her fingers and touched her lips as if she was savoring something. At this time, in Jinghai University, the professor fell into deep thought as he read Director Feng's understanding of the script. I have to say that my students' ideas are still as wild as ever, but I have to admit that his method can indeed enhance the appeal of this script. It would be great if he could come and give us some guidance in person. It would also be a rare learning opportunity for us, the professor said to Li Qing. Li Qing felt a bit troubled when she heard this. She wanted to invite Director Feng, but she was afraid that the Li family would not agree. The professor said, I will call Zyro Feng myself. Li Qing said, Professor, this is not something that can be solved by just calling. Director Feng has signed a contract with the Li family. Without the Li family's approval, Director Feng will not come. Liu Jing next to him also said at this time, Indeed, Professor, I might as well tell you that our entertainment company and the Li family are in competition. Director Feng originally promised to direct a movie for us, but he was poached by the Li family. The professor is not a primary school student who goes out, so he naturally knows the twists and turns involved. Besides, he has seen a lot of such things in society. At this time, he shook his head speechlessly and said, That's indeed a pity. Li Qing said, But we can try. Li Qing called Chu Ji. Chu Ji pondered for a moment after hearing what Li Qing meant. If it was just his own movie, he really wouldn't care. But since the professor said that it would allow his younger classmates to learn more, Chu Ji was tempted. Indeed, as a well-known director, Director Feng naturally has his own abilities. If his younger classmates can learn from him, they will go further after entering society. Okay, I got it. I'll go find the person from the Li family myself, Chu Ji said to Li Qing. Li Qing said, Don't force it. If they are willing, that's even better. If they are not willing, we won't lose anything. Chu Ji said, Okay, I know you don't have to worry about me. Li Qing hung up the phone reluctantly. Liu Jing, who was standing next to him, was amused. What? You miss me so much after not seeing me for a few days. Li Qing blushed. Chu Ji hung up the phone and took out a business card from his pocket. It was Li Yao's. Chu Ji hesitated for a moment, took out his cell phone and made a call. The call was connected and Li Yao's cold voice rang out. Who is this? Chu Ji was silent for a moment. I, Chu Ji. Chapter 165, I don't think he's a good person. Click, Chu Ji heard the sound of a teacup falling to the ground opposite him. Chu Ji's cheek twitched. The other party must want to cut him into pieces, right? Is there something wrong? Li Yao asked. He could tell that the other party was suppressing the tone of his voice. There is indeed something. It's about the filming of my movie, Chu Ji wanted to say on the phone. But the other party did not give him this opportunity. If you have anything to say, come and tell me in person. I'm going back to my villa now. If you want to say anything, come and find me there, Li Yao said. Chu Ji was stunned for a moment. Can't I tell you over the phone? You treated me like that last time. I should at least ask for some compensation, right? Bang, the other party hung up the phone. Chu Ji shrank his neck and didn't dare to go. If you go there yourself, you will probably be in big trouble. Forget it, fellow juniors. It's not that I don't want to help, it's that I can't help, Chu Ji sighed. Then at around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Chu Ji stood at the door of Li Yao's villa. There was no choice. The professor called him on his cell phone, so he had no choice but to come. Li Yao's home. Li Yao has been waiting since noon, and she was so angry that she tore her pillowcase into pieces. Miss, there's a man hanging around outside. He doesn't look like a good person, the nanny said to her. Li Yao frowned. Did he say anything? No, but looking at the surveillance footage, he looks tall and looks very imposing, said the nanny. Li Yao came to the living room and turned on the surveillance video at the door. I saw Chu Ji circling at the door. The 2 security guards were staring at him eagerly. Seeing this scene, Li Yao sneered, and the anger on his face had disappeared without a trace. HMPH, are you feeling embarrassed now? You didn't show any mercy back then, and I couldn't even beg for mercy, Li Yao muttered. Miss, do you want to chase him away? Asked the nanny. No need, let me see what he wants to do, Li Yao said. Li Yao looked at Chu Ji and the surveillance video with interest. Suddenly she saw Song Lang coming over. Seems very excited. Song Lang grabbed Chu Ji's collar and punched him suddenly. Seeing this, Li Yao stood up suddenly, turned around and ran out the door. Chu Ji is confused now. He was just greeting Song Lang as usual, but he didn't expect the other party to be so excited, as if he had stepped on his tail. He came up and punched him. Chu Ji, I didn't expect you to be so shameless. Shameless? Where do you get that from? Chu Ji rubbed the corner of his mouth. It was probably a little red and swollen, and it hurt when touched. Why are you here to harass Yiao? What, do you want revenge? Song Lang looked at Chu Ji coldly. Revenge, where do you start? What have you done to offend me? Chu Ji asked. HMPH, I think you are pretending to be confused. Get out of here immediately, otherwise don't blame me for being rude, Song Lang said. Chu Ji stood up. He knew the relationship between Song Lang and Li Yao. In the other person's eyes, I am probably just that hateful third party who is trying to steal his girlfriend. It seems like I can't find any fault with the other party treating me like this. Which boyfriend would tolerate another man hanging around his girlfriend's house? Chu Ji felt guilty, as he almost took advantage of someone's girlfriend. Although I relied on my strong willpower to control myself, but if I see Li Yao later, I will probably feel even more guilty. He glanced at Song Lang and said, Okay, I'll leave. Chu Ji could only apologize to the professor. Chu Ji got in the car, started the engine, and left. Just as he left, the door of the villa opened, and Li Yao ran out panting. This is the consequence of the villa being too big. There is quite a distance from the living room to the front door. Yiao, why did you come out? Song Lang immediately stepped forward with concern. Li Yao ignored him and looked around, but did not see the figure he wanted to see. Li Yao couldn't help but frown. At this time, Song Lang said, Yiao, you don't know that Chu Ji, that bastard, was actually wandering around here just now. Fortunately, I arrived in time and beat him up and drove him away. Otherwise, if you met him, who knows what would happen. Li Yao suddenly looked at Song Lang and asked, Did you beat him away? Song Lang asked, Isn't it easy to deal with him? Song Lang looked at Li Yao and found that the other party was looking at him with anger. Song Lang said, Yiao, do you think that I am letting him off too easily? Li Yao retracted his gaze. His expression became indifferent. What are you doing here? Song Lang said, Didn't you say you were not feeling well? I took the time to come and see you. It was because of me that I came. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened. Li Yao said, You know I'm not feeling well, but why did you come? Go back, I'm fine here. Li Yao turned and walked towards the villa. Song Lang wanted to follow, but was stopped by 2 security guards. Seeing this, Song Lang's face turned gloomy. He always felt that Li Yao was avoiding him, but why? He is very confident in his image and charm. A few days ago, Li Yao was clearly fascinated by herself, but why did such a big change happen suddenly? Song Lang left unwillingly. Chu Ji was a little depressed at this time. Not only did he not get to see Li Yao, but he was also beaten up. However, he deserved it and could not blame Song Lang. I wanted to call the professor and apologize. After all, I had disappointed him. But before he dialed the professor's number, Li Yao called. Are you okay?" Li Yao's voice rang out. He didn't know if it was an illusion, but Chu Ji heard a hint of concern in Li Yao's words. "I'm fine," said Chu Ji. "Tomorrow, come to the company to see me tomorrow." Li Yao hung up the phone after she finished speaking. Chu Ji was a little confused, but he felt that things might be turning around. On the other end of the phone, Li Yao looked at the phone for a while and snorted coldly. "You are just being stubborn." She got up, took out the medicine box at home, and found a medicine bottle from it. The nanny came over and asked in surprise, "Miss, are you hurt?" "No, I want to deliver some medicine to someone," said Li Yao. "Deliver medicine? This medicine is very precious and we don't have much." "Who are you sending it to?" asked the nanny. "Don't worry about this. I'll give you the address and you can arrange someone to deliver the things over," Li Yao said. The nanny, who was also the housekeeper, quickly agreed. When Chu Ji returned home, he saw a plastic bag hanging at the door. Chu Ji was puzzled, and when he opened it, he saw that it was a bottle of ointment. "There is also a note. This is for you as compensation, Li Yao." Chu Ji touched his chin and muttered, "Something is wrong. Why is she so nice to me?" "No way." Chu Ji's face turned red as if he had thought of something. He coughed dryly and then said, "But it is indeed well developed." Chapter 166, Unexpected. Chu Ji picked up the ointment and took a look. It was for treating bruises and injuries. Chu Ji applied a little bit with the mentality of giving it a try, and the wound immediately felt cool, tingling, and very comfortable. By the time Su Ruoxuan came back, there was no longer any sign of a big problem at the corners of his mouth. No words were spoken that night. The next day, after Chu Ji sent Su Ruoxuan to work, he went straight to the Li building. After hesitating for a moment, Chu Ji still walked in. Arriving at the front desk, Chu Ji looked at a delicate beauty and said, "Hello, I'm looking for your CEO, Li." The receptionist looked at Chu Ji with shining eyes. So handsome. Chu Ji was a little embarrassed. It was the first time that he was praised so blatantly by a little girl. "Do you have an appointment?" "Chu Zhedo, it was your general manager Li who asked me to come here. You can ask and just say I am Chu Ji," Chu Ji said. The front desk made a call. Then he said to Chu Ji, "Mr. Chu, Mr. Li invites you to come up." Chu Ji asked about the floor and went to the elevator next to him. At this time, the elevator door opened, and I looked up and saw Song Lang. "Tusk, this luck is unbeatable," Chu Ji muttered. Song Lang saw Chu Ji's eyes turn cold instantly, and then he said to the security guard next to him, "This man intends to do something bad to Mr. Li. Arrest him." Two security guards immediately stepped forward and tried to control Chu Ji. Chu Ji was stunned and immediately said, "I have an appointment with your general manager Li. Please don't do anything stupid." "Ask you, who do you think you are?" Song Lang sneered. At this time, the front desk also saw the situation here and hurried over and said, "Is there a misunderstanding here? Mr. Li did say that Mr. Chu should go up." Song Lang looked at the receptionist and said, "What do you want to do here? Don't I know whether Mr. Li will invite this person? I think you are teaming up to deceive Mr. Li." The receptionist felt a little aggrieved, as she was only telling the truth. Song Lang said to the two security guards, "What are you still standing there for? Get him out." Chu Ji said, Okay, I'll go by myself." Chu Ji walked out of the Li building. He felt that Li Yao did this on purpose. Otherwise, how could there be such a coincidence that he was stopped by Song Lang again and again? Chu Ji shook his head speechlessly and turned to leave. Behind him, Song Lang looked at him with cold eyes. But at this moment, Li Yao came down. She looked at Chu Ji, who was being escorted out by two security guards, and said, "Stop! What are you doing?" When Song Lang saw Li Yao, he hurried forward and said, "Yi Yao, I didn't expect Chu Ji to chase you here to harass you. I'll arrange for someone to throw him out." Li Yao looked at Song Lang coldly and asked, "Who told you that he was harassing me?" Li Yao quickly came to Chu Ji. Chu Ji looked at Li Yao with an embarrassed expression, seeming very awkward. Li Yao looked at the two security guards and said, "You guys go down." The two security guards left immediately. They are not stupid and have already seen something. They'd better not get involved in this kind of thing. Song Lang next to him looked grim. "Yao, you. Mr. Chu and I have something to discuss. I invited Mr. Chu here. Is there any problem?" Li Yao said. Song Lang said, "Yao, you are not." Li Yao said, "Don't mention that." Li Yao looked at Song Lang and said, "Come up with me." When passing by Song Lang, Li Yao said, "Song Lang, you should hurry back to the entertainment company. If you don't have anything to do, don't come to the group so often." Song Lang was stunned. When he came to his senses, he saw Li Yao taking Chu Ji into the elevator. Song Lang's face turned pale, and things seemed to be out of his control. "Li Yao, don't force me," Song Lang sneered with a cruel smile on his lips. Here, Chu Ji followed Li Yao to her office. Li Yao closed the office door, then turned to look at Chu Ji and said, "Tell me, what do you want to see me for?" Chu Ji looked at Li Yao and couldn't help but think of what happened that day. His face became more embarrassed. Li Yao looked at Chu Ji with mixed feelings. She should hate this guy because he forced her brother to hide abroad. It was he who put his family's gaming industry under tremendous pressure. It was also he who joined forces with the Su family to encircle and suppress the Li family. Although the intensity was not great, it still caused a lot of trouble to the Li family. It has to be said that Chu Ji is a genius in business. At first, I wanted to kill the other person directly. Until that night, she actually felt a feeling towards Chu Ji that made her obsessed. The feeling was like a drug that eroded her body and her brain. "What do you think I should do?" Li Yao murmured speechlessly when she thought of this. "Huh, what did you say?" Chu Ji asked puzzledly. "I'm asking you, what do you want to see me for?" Li Yao asked. Chu Ji thought about it and decided that since he was already here, it would be a waste of time if he didn't say anything. Chu Ji said, "I would like to ask Director Feng to direct my movie." Li Yao looked at Chu Ji speechlessly and said, "Do you think I will agree?" Chu Ji said, "No." "Haha, you still brought it up. What do you mean? Are you kidding me? Since I'm here now, I might as well tell you." Chu Ji also became single. Li Yao was almost laughing out of anger. She pointed at Chu Ji and said, "Okay, you have guts." Chu Ji coughed twice awkwardly. "Don't you know this?" Li Yaoteng's face turned red. Chu Ji's heart skipped a beat. It was over. He was probably going to be kicked out again. Why did he say such a bad word? Li Yao stamped her feet in anger and pointed at Chu Ji, wanting to say something. But in the end, she just snorted angrily and said nothing. Chu Ji said, "That's all I have to say. I'm leaving now." Chu Ji ran away. "Stop right there," Li Yao said. Chuj said he couldn't stand it all. "You are a cruel woman who likes to play with whips, but I can't stand it." When Li Yao saw Chu Ji leaving, she stomped her feet and returned to the office. Sitting in his seat, he burst out laughing at something he had thought of. Shameless. She took out her phone and called Director Feng. Chu Ji returned to the game company. Su Zin was surprised when she saw Chu Ji coming over. The game company is now thriving, and her status in the Su family has also improved a lot. All of this was brought about by the man in front of me. If Su Ruoxuan doesn't cherish it, I won't either. Su Zin made tea for Chu Ji and brought it to him personally. "You look so sad. Are you in trouble again?" "It's not a difficult problem because I didn't have any hope from the beginning," said Chu Ji. "What's the matter? Can you tell me about it?" Chu Ji was just about to speak when the phone rang. It was Li Qing. "Okay, they must be rushing me." Chu Ji sighed and answered the phone. "Li Qing, I'm sorry. As you are amazing, how did you do it? Director Feng has already arrived at the school." Li Qing's surprised voice rang out. Chapter 167, Can't Find a Better One. Chu Ji was stunned. "What? Director Feng went to school?" "Yes, Director Feng is here. He is talking to the professor now." Chu Ji was a little confused. "Isn't this right?" "What's wrong?" Li Qing asked. It's okay, it's okay, it's good to go, it's good to go," Chu Ji said hurriedly. After hanging up the phone, Chu Ji was confused. What does Li Yao mean by this? As he was thinking about it, his phone rang again. Chu Ji saw that it belonged to Li Yao. When the call was connected, Li Yao's cold voice rang out. "I helped you with your work, shouldn't you thank me?" Chu Ji said, "Then I will treat you to a meal, Mr. Li." "Okay, I hope to see you at the door when I get off work," Li Yao said. Chu Ji said, "Okay, no problem, I promise to show up in front of you on time. Mr. Li, you are busy, we will see you later." Li Yao hung up the phone. What a lackey. Although he was cursing, his cheeks were slightly red and the corners of his mouth were slightly upturned, making him look lustful. If Song Lang were here, he would definitely be surprised, because even when he and Li Yao had the best relationship, Li Yao had never shown this expression to him. Su Zin on this side also said with a rather jealous look, "Who is it? Look at your fawning look, humph." Chu Ji looked at Su Zin approaching her. Looking at Chu Ji's face in front of her, Su Zin's cheeks instantly turned red. "You, what do you want to do?" Su Zin clenched the armrests of the chair, and she seemed to be able to hear her own heartbeat. At this time, Chu Ji reached out and touched Su Zin's cheek. Seeing this, Su Zin closed her eyes and moved her cheek towards Chu Ji. At this time, Chu Ji rubbed Su Zin's ear. Su Zin felt like her whole body was limp. "There is ink on your ear. Were you sleeping on the table just now?" Chu Ji stood up at this time. Upon hearing this, Su Zin opened her eyes and looked at Chu Ji, stomping her feet in anger. Chu Ji blinked innocently and said, "What's wrong? Am I too abrupt?" "I'm glad you know it." Su Zin glared at Chu Ji coquettishly. "Come and see if there are any marks on my face." Su Zin pointed to her other cheek. Chu Ji leaned over to look. At this moment, Su Zin suddenly turned her head and her lips pressed against Chu Ji's. Feeling the tenderness of Su Zin's lips, Chu Ji's heart couldn't help but be slightly moved. He is a normal man, not a eunuch. But Chu Ji still gently pushed Su Zin away. "I'm sorry I was rash," said Chu Ji. Su Zin's lips curled up slightly. "It's okay, I forgive you." Looking at Chu Ji, who turned around, the smile on Su Zin's face became forced, because she found that Chu Ji treated her differently after all. There seemed to be an invisible barrier between them. Perhaps even Chu Ji himself was not aware of it. He seemed to treat her the same as before, but Su Zin knew that he was obviously much more polite to her. Being polite means being distant. It seemed that the time when his mother caused trouble for him had finally planted a thorn in his heart. Thinking of this, Su Zin felt a little suffocated. Chu Ji waited until it was almost time to get off work, and then drove to the Li building. As one of the 4 great families, having a building that is no less powerful than any other wealthy family has almost become a symbol of the wealthy family. Among them, Zhu's building is the most magnificent. Thinking of Zhu, he thought of Zhu Wongking again. Zhu Wongking said that his growth was too slow. Even if he stepped on the Su family, it was still too slow. This gave Chu Ji a sense of crisis he had never felt before. He didn't know who Zhu's opponent was, but he thought the opponent must be no simple person, because Sister Wongking told him that he was not even qualified to help her now, unless you become a wealthy family yourself. But how is that possible in the short term? He has no confidence in himself. Chu Ji thought of Zhu Wongking and drove to the entrance of Li building to wait for Li Yao to get off work. Meanwhile in Europe, Zhu Wongking touched her belly, and a gentle smile appeared on her face. Chu Ji didn't know that he was being targeted as soon as he arrived at Li's door. In another car not far away, Song Lang was staring at Chu Ji, who was leaning against the car with a gloomy face. Song Lang originally wanted to pick up Li Yao from get off work, communicate with her about their relationship, and then win her over. He felt that he could not wait any longer. He didn't care before, but after Chu Ji appeared, he felt a sense of crisis. He also felt the change in Li Yao's attitude towards Chu Ji. He didn't know what price Chu Ji paid, but no matter what, this result was not what he wanted to see. Just then Li Yao came out of Li building. Seeing Li Yao, Song Lang got out of the car immediately. He usually waits here for Li Yao to get off work. Song Lang waved towards Li Yao, but Li Yao didn't even look at him, but walked straight towards Chu Ji. Song Lang was stunned. The person Chu Ji was waiting for turned out to be Li Yao. Song Lang saw that Chu Ji was talking to Li Yao about something, and Li Yao was laughing softly there. Her smile was bright and pure. Song Lang felt a tightness in his chest. He had never seen such a pure smile on Li Yao's face. Why can she smile at Chu Ji like that? Song Lang's first feeling was anger. He treated Li Yao as his prey, so naturally he had no feelings for Li Yao. But seeing Li Yao and Chu Ji chatting and laughing there, Song Lang felt insulted. "You deserve to die," Song Lang roared in a low voice. He saw Li Yao get into Chu Ji's car, and then Chu Ji took Li Yao away. Song Lang got into the car, took out his phone and made a call. "How are your preparations going?" "Haha, just take down Li Yao, don't worry. Li Yao will be the only heir of the Li family." Song Lang said, "Then you should hurry up." Song Lang hung up the phone with a sneer on his face. Li Yao, if you follow me, I might actually marry you. But if you don't listen, I'm sorry, but I can only let you die." At this time, Chu Ji brought Li Yao to a luxuriously decorated restaurant, which was not his own Sanwei Yatang. "It's not cheap to eat here. Are you sure you want to eat here?" Li Yao asked. Chu Ji said, "This is the only way to express my gratitude to you, Mr. Li. Thank you very much this time. Tusk, there are so many things I can do to help you. Won't you be thanking me every day in the future?" Li Yao said. Chu Ji did not comment on this. In order to express his gratitude, Chu Ji naturally booked a private room. Li Yao expressed her satisfaction. After the two of them sat down, Chu Ji looked at Li Yao. It was hard to believe that this quirky-looking woman in front of me would look the same as she did that night. Thinking of the scene that day, Chu Ji couldn't help but feel dry in the mouth. As if she had noticed Chu Ji's strangeness, Li Yao glanced at him fiercely and said, "Don't let your imagination run wild." After saying this, Li Yao blushed. She was afraid that she would never forget what happened that day. Chu Ji coughed and quickly changed the subject, talking about some company development matters. It was not until this time that Li Yao realized that his brother's loss was not unfair. This is a gap in thinking, whether in terms of ideology or courage. His brother is not even worthy of carrying Chu Ji's shoes. He had once ridiculed Su Ruoxuan for clinging to Chu Ji. Now she finally realized that if she missed Chu Ji, she would probably never find anyone better. Chapter 168, Song Lang is angry and embarrassed. Li Yao thought of Song Lang again at this time. Before he had in-depth contact with Chu Ji, he thought Song Lang was a nice person. But after coming into contact with Chu Ji, Song Lang seemed to be overshadowed. That is a difference in temperament and pattern, just like glass and pearls are completely incomparable. I heard that you have a trading platform and it is developing very well now, Li Yao asked. It's okay. The number of users is constantly increasing. I believe that my Hari Baba will become one of the few trading platforms in our country. Chu Ji is very confident about this. Li Yao said, do you want to cooperate with me? You can also handle my foreign trade orders. Chu Ji's eyes lit up and he said, of course you can. This is a good thing for everyone. I promise to reduce your transportation costs and get a better price for your goods. Li Yao said, then I wish our cooperation goes smoothly. Chu Ji picked up the wine glass and drank it in one gulp without hesitation. After drinking a few glasses of wine, Li Yao's face turned red, and she looked at Chu Ji with a dazed look. Chu Ji looked at the time and saw that more than an hour had passed. Chu Ji said, let's stop here today. Mr. Li, can I take you back? Li Yao said, okay. Chu Ji was stunned. Why did he agree? There is no choice but to send it. Called a designated driver. After getting in the car, they drove towards Li Yao's villa. They all sat in the back row. The neon lights at night shine into the car, making the atmosphere here seem somewhat charming. Maybe because she was drunk, Li Yao's neckline was a little low. Chu Ji could turn his head and see everything clearly from a high vantage point. As the car swayed, Li Yao leaned her head on Chu Ji's shoulder. If it were in the past, Chu Ji might have pushed her away reservedly. But not now. He is no longer a student. Although it has not been long since he graduated, he has already experienced life and death. His mind is no longer pure. You can say that he has grown up, but you can also say that he is not the lotus that grows out of the mud without being stained. At this time, Li Yao reached out and hugged Chu Ji's arm. Chu Ji could clearly feel the fullness of Li Yao's chest. His mouth was dry. He didn't push Li Yao away because he felt he should know what to do and what not to do. It can also be said that I should learn what it means to act according to the situation. Fortunately, they arrived at Li Yao's villa soon. Chu Ji breathed a sigh of relief, only after he helped Li Yao to hand her over to Li Yao's nanny. He breathed a sigh of relief not seeing Song Lang. He knew that Li Yao and Song Lang were living together. I thought he would meet Song Lang, and then something unpleasant would definitely happen. But now it seems that Song Lang is not in the villa. At least not now. Chu Ji returned and drove out of the community where Li Yao's villa was located. Chu Ji didn't know that at this moment, at the gate of the community, Song Lang was watching Chu Ji's car leave with a grim face. He looked towards the direction of the community. Li Yao, you stinky bitch, you actually dared to put a hat on me and took the person back. At this time, his phone rang. Li Ping was hacked to death while gambling abroad. Song Lang smiled lightly when he heard this. Then I believe Li Ping's parents will go abroad soon. Don't worry, just wait to take over the Li family's business. But the prerequisite is that you can deal with Li Yao. If you can't, you know the consequences. The person on the other end of the phone said coldly. The other party hung up the phone, and Song Lang's face looked very ugly. At the same time, there was a strong sense of fear in the depths of his eyes. The task he thought he could complete easily now seems to have gone wrong. Just then, she saw Li Yao's car leaving the villa and speeding towards the Li family's old house. Obviously, she had received the news of Li Ping's death. Song Lang tilted his head and said, now it's my turn to show up. When a person is most helpless, that's when I can take advantage of him. Song Lang lit a car and rushed towards the Li family's old house. At this time, Chu Ji also received the message. Li Ping is dead. The message was sent by Su Wan because she had never given up on killing Li Ping, but this time it was not her order. Chu Ji thought about it and felt that it was necessary to care about Li Yao. After all, I had just reached a cooperation with the other party. At this time, the old house of the Li family was filled with gloom and sadness. Li Ping's mother's eyes were swollen from crying. Li Yao also looked pale. Although my brother is not a good person in the eyes of outsiders, he is still good to me. His eldest brother was disabled and could not carry on the Li family's bloodline. All the hopes of the Li family are placed on Li Ping. Now Li Ping is gone. Now she is the only one left in the Li family. I have booked the plane tickets. We will leave tonight. Li Ping's father looked sad. Li Yao nodded. Yao, don't go, said Li Ping's father. Why? It happened too suddenly. What will happen to the company if you leave too? If you want to leave, you should wait a day or two to explain the company's affairs clearly before leaving, said Li Ping's father. Li Yao is now the president of the company. If Li Ping's affairs were to get out, it would definitely have a certain impact. If no one is watching here, something might go wrong. Li Yao could only nod. Without waiting for Li Yao to think too much, Li Yao's parents rushed towards the airport. Li Yao watched her parents walk away. Standing at the gate, I felt an unprecedented loneliness. Just then Li Yao's phone rang. Li Yao answered the call subconsciously, and Chu Ji's concerned voice came over. Mr. Li, I heard about your family situation. I'm sorry. If you need anything, just let me know. I'm on my way now. Li Yao felt like she had found her backbone when she listened to Chu Ji's words. Can you come and keep me company? I'm here at the old house. Okay, I'll be there right away, said Chu Ji. Li Yao held the phone and felt like she was holding the whole world. At this time, Song Lang saw Li Yao's parents leaving, so he drove to the door of the old house. He took out his cell phone and called Li Yao, but the phone only rang twice before being hung up. Song Lang's face turned pale. He arrived at the door of the mansion and was about to ring the doorbell. At this time, Li Yao had just returned to the living room. The doorbell rang and she showed a hint of surprise. Could it be that Chu Ji arrived so soon? She even ran towards the gate. As you're here, Li Yao shouted as he opened the door. The door opened, revealing Song Lang's livid face. It's you, why are you here? Li Yao frowned. Song Lang is now furious. The other party actually called out Chu Ji's name. Are you calling me so intimately? Song Lang said gloomily. Because of anger, Song Lang's face was a little distorted, and he looked a little scary at this moment. Li Yao subconsciously took a step back and said, Song Lang, what do you want to say? Hee, Li Yao, I'm very curious. You change your heart too quickly. You were so affectionate with me a few days ago, but now you are such a stranger, Song Lang said sarcastically. Li Yao looked at Song Lang and said, I don't know what you are talking about. Do you really not know, or are you pretending not to know? Song Lang asked. Li Yao said, I don't want to talk to you now, get out. Li Yao wanted to close the door, but was stopped by Song Lang. Li Yao looked up at Song Lang. Seeing his wolf-like eyes, her heart trembled. What do you want to do? Li Yao's voice trembled slightly. She was a little scared. Chapter 169, Somewhat Disappointed. Song Lang retracted the anger on his face and said to Li Yao, Yao, I love you. I don't know why you have been a little cold to me recently, but this can't change my determination to like you. Yao, I believe we can go back to the past, right? Li Yao looked at Song Lang and sighed. Song Lang, I did like you before, and I wanted to spend my whole life with you. But I hesitated when I realized you were just a facade. I asked you to manage the company, but you made a mess of it. I asked you to go to an entertainment company, but you just couldn't settle down. I gave you people and opportunities, but you didn't really care. Song Lang, do you know that what you are doing will only disappoint me? I even doubt whether you have ever managed a company. Song Lang, I think we should all calm down and think carefully about whether we can be together and go to the end. Song Lang's face turned ugly when he heard this. You said so much because of Chu Ji, right? Li Yao's expression changed slightly. After all, she and Song Lang are a couple in name only, and this is an open relationship. Song Lang suddenly mentioned Chu Ji, which made Li Yao a little at a loss. Seeing this, Song Lang walked towards Li Yao. What's so good about him? Why do you think he is better than me? Li Yao asked. Song Lang, what do you want to do? Yao, I like you. You can only be mine. I won't allow you to hook up with Chuj. Song Lang, don't be so harsh. There's nothing between us. I just admire Chu Ji. Admire him? Admire him so much that you can have dinner with him. Admire him so much that director Feng put down his work and go to help that guy right away. Song Lang's face was distorted, and his eyes flashed with anger. He has always been proud, and when he came here today, he felt that he could conquer Li Yao's body and mind. But Li Yao's words, made him completely lose his mind. He didn't know how he was inferior to that peasant, which made him feel humiliated and betrayed. Li Yao accidentally fell to the ground while backing up. Song Lang's breathing was rapid, his eyes full of desire. He growled and pounced towards Li Yao. I'm going to make you my woman today and let that bastard Chu Ji pick up junk. Song Lang said. Just then, a figure ran over quickly. Before Song Lang could press on Li Yao, he kicked the other person away. Mr. Li, are you okay? Chu Ji looked at Li Yao with concern. When Li Yao saw that the person coming was Chu Ji, all the fear in her heart turned into grievance, and she cried out and threw herself into Chu Ji's arms. Chu Ji hugged Li Yao's delicate body, giving her the necessary sense of security. Chu Ji turned his head and looked at Song Lang. My kick was very heavy, and the opponent had at least 2 broken ribs. Sure enough, Song Lang curled up on the ground with cold sweat on his forehead, but he was unable to get up. He looked at Chu Ji, his eyes full of resentment. Chu Ji asked, "Should we call the police?" He took out his cell phone and prepared to call the police. At this time, Li Yao went to stop him. "Just let him go." Chu Ji frowned, but since it was someone else's business, he shouldn't interfere. After all, everyone knows that Song Lang is pursuing Li Yao, and Song Lang and Li Yao lived together. Song Lang endured the pain and stood up. Then he looked at Chu Ji and Li Yao again and stumbled away. Chu Ji picked up Li Yao and carried her horizontally towards the villa. Li Yao suddenly said, "Close the door." Chu Ji pressed a button, and the electric door slowly closed. Then Chu Ji carried Li Yao back to the living room of the villa again. Li Yao hugged Chu Ji's neck, buried her head in his neck, breathed in his scent, and felt an unprecedented sense of security. Song Lang wanted to take advantage of the situation but failed. But unexpectedly, he helped Chu Ji and even helped Chu Ji before leaving. When Li Yao was put on the sofa, Li Yao refused to let go of the hand that was around Chu Ji's neck, and she pulled Chu Ji down with force. Chu Ji pressed his whole body on Li Yao. Li Yao looked at Chu Ji quietly and said, "Please hold me for a while, I beg you." Chu Ji felt Li Yao's body trembling and sighed helplessly. This was the death of his brother. Coupled with what happened to Song Lang just now, he was frightened. Chu Ji stood up only after Li Yao calmed down. Li Yao calmed down. Chu Ji said, "Say something you shouldn't say." "What?" "I think you should stay away from Song Lang in the future. His background is not simple," Chu Ji said. Li Yao looked at Chu Ji with a strange look in her eyes. "Are you jealous?" Chu Ji was stunned and said, No, I didn't mean that. I'm telling the truth behind Song Lang." Chu Ji didn't know whether he should continue talking here. Li Yao and Song Lang used to be boyfriend and girlfriend, so what did he count as? Would it be considered as sowing discord by saying this here now? Besides, he was not very clear about the relationship between Li Yao and Song Lang. If he rashly revealed the drug trafficking gang behind Song Lang, once the news leaks out, will they retaliate against themselves or their families? "What happened behind him?" Li Yao asked. There was a hint of inexplicable hope in his eyes. "It's nothing, this is just my suggestion," Chu Ji said. Li Yao was slightly disappointed when he heard this. It was already late. Chu Ji looked outside the door and wanted to leave. As if she had sensed Chu Ji's intention, Li Yao asked in a panic, "Can you stay with me?" Chu Ji looked at Li Yao's expression and nodded for some unknown reason. Li Yao showed a look of surprise. "I'm going to take a shower, wait for me." Li Yao stood up and walked upstairs. Chu Ji was sitting in the living room, feeling a little bored. After a while, Li Yao came down wearing a thin gauze-like pajamas. The pajamas were very thin, and the scenery underneath was vaguely visible. Chu Ji was a little dazed when he saw it. It turned out that the beauty in hidden aspects was the most fatal. Chu Ji said, "It's getting late, you should take a rest, I'm here." Li Yao said, "How can this be possible? I'll arrange a room for you and you can go up and wash up." Chu Ji didn't hesitate and went upstairs. When he came to the room that Li Yao had prepared for him, he saw Li Yao lying on his bed, asleep. Looking at Li Yao's graceful body wrapped in a thin tulle, Chu Ji felt a little dry in the mouth. He came to Li Yao's side. "Pull up the quilt to cover her." Then he sat on the sofa next to her and just looked at her with a dim gaze. No one knew what he was thinking at this moment. The next morning, Li Yao woke up with a start. She suddenly stood up and saw Chu Ji sleeping with his head propped up on the sofa. She looked at her neat clothes and felt a little disappointed. Chapter 170, Borrowing Money. Chu Ji also opened his eyes at this time. He stood up and said, "Are you awake? I'll go to the kitchen and make you some breakfast." Chuj went to the kitchen. Li Yao was a little surprised. She didn't expect Chu Ji could cook and cook for her. At that moment, Li Yao felt that it would not be bad to live like this for the rest of her life. Chu Ji went to Su's this time. He didn't go home the whole day yesterday. Although he said hello to Su Ruoxuan, it was indeed an improvement for her not to call him for a whole night. But Su Ruoxuan seems a little anxious now. "What is that? Take it back and redo it." Su Ruoxuan threw the document in her hand away. A female employee covered her mouth and walked out of Su Ryukshuan's office with red eyes. The secretary next to her was terrified. This was the third employee that Su Ryukshuan had scolded and made cry. At this time, Su Ryukshuan stood up and walked around the office anxiously, like an angry little leopard. At this time, there was a knock on the door, and Chuji walked in. When Su Ryukshuan saw Chuji, the anxiety between her brows receded like the tide, and her whole demeanor instantly became sunny and serene. "You're back," Su Ryukshuan said in surprise. Chuji said, "I heard that you scolded 3 employees and made them cry." Su Ryukshuan's cheeks turned red when she heard this and said, "I didn't scold him, I just said a few words." Chuji shook his head speechlessly. He didn't sleep well at night and said to Su Ryukshuan, "You go ahead and do your work, I'll take a rest." Chuji went directly to the small rest room next to Su Ryukshuan's office. "I lay down on the bed and fell asleep." Su Ryukshuan watched Chuji fall asleep and sat down at her desk in a good mood to start correcting documents. When an employee came to submit a proposal with a fearless attitude, Su Ryukshuan said, "Well, it's not bad, but there are a few places that need to be modified. I'll circle them for you and do it according to my instructions." The employee looked at Su Ryukshuan with some surprise. "Is this still the furious President Su from before? I'm afraid it's a different person." When Chuji woke up, he found Su Ryukshuan. "Can you give me some funds?" "Huh, you want money? How much?" Su Ryukshuan looked at Hao Chuj excitedly. Chuji touched his nose and said, "I said I want money." I know you want money. How much do you want?" Su Ryukshuan looked at Chuji with joy. "Tens of billions," said Chuji. "Okay, I'll give it to you." Su Ryukshuan didn't even think about it. "Don't you want to ask me why I need money?" "No need to ask. If you want it, I'll give it to you," Su Ryukshuan said. Chuji's eyes sank and he clenched his fists. "Let's put the matter of borrowing money aside for now. I'll think about it." Chuji stood up and walked out of the office. Su Ryukshuan was a little panicked. Is it too little?" Chuji said, "How could that be? I just haven't made up my mind yet. I'll ask you to borrow it when I'm done." "Don't even mention borrowing. What's mine is yours," Su Ryukshuan answered firmly. Watching Chuji leave, Su Ryukshuan called her father. "Dad, I want to sell my group company's shares." Chuji returned home, and soon the 2 sisters Su Wan and Su Zin came. Su Wan looked at Chuji and asked cautiously, "Did you encounter any problems?" Chuji was stunned and asked, "What?" "I want to ask you why you want to borrow money. My sister is planning to sell her shares in the company," Su Wan said. Chuji was stunned and quickly got up and called Su Ryukshuan. "Ryukshuan, what's going on with the sale of shares?" Su Ryukshuan said, "Nothing, I just want to sell my shares." Chuji frowned and said, "No, according to the current development scale of Su's company, your shares can be doubled. How can you sell them now?" Chuji knew that Su Ryukshuan was most likely doing this for him. He now wished he could slap himself in the face for talking too much. "I can also sell my shares, but unfortunately my shares are very small and can't be sold for much money," said Su Zin next to him. Chuji felt a little tired. "I have already sold the shares at a good price. Don't worry, I have the money whenever you need it." Chuji's eyes felt a little sore, and his lips moved as if he wanted to say something, but when he opened his mouth no sound came out. Su Wan came to Chuji at this time, grabbed his hand and asked, "What happened?" Chuji took a deep breath to control his emotions and said, "I think there is something wrong with the Li family." "The Li family?" "Yes, I looked at the Li family's stock market today. I'm afraid the Li family's stock market is going to be in big trouble." "So you're borrowing money for the Li family?" "Yes, the forces behind Song Lang want to short the Li family. In addition to Li Yao's path, there is another way, and that is the stock market." Chuji's eyes were dim. But judging from the current situation, Song Lang can no longer follow Li Yao's path. "In that case, why don't I let them experience the feeling of being a bride for others, Tilda? But I'm afraid that I'll be on the opposite side of them. I'm considering whether to take the risk. If it weren't for Zhu Wongking, Chuji would definitely choose to develop quietly. But since Sister Wongking said that he was growing too slowly, he didn't want to miss this opportunity." "So what do you want to do?" Su Wan asked. "If my guess is correct, we will have the answer in 2 days," said Chuji. Su Zin said, "I will sell my shares right now and follow you." Su Wan said, "Okay, I can also sell my shares." Chuji quickly stopped them and said, "You don't have to do this at all. That's your way out in the future." "No, you are our escape route," Su Wan expressed her feelings nakedly. "Or are you planning to hand me over to someone else?" After Su Wan finished speaking, she looked at Chuji hopefully. Chuji was silent, then said, "Wanner, you shouldn't waste your energy on me, Su Wan interrupted Chuji. but her smile was a little forced. I'm just joking, don't take it seriously. Su Jin saw that Su Wan's face was a little pale. She sighed. He had had the same feeling before. What should she do? Chu Ji said, that's good, I'm not worthy. Su Wan and Su Jin stayed for a while and then left. As soon as Su Wan walked out of the room, she suddenly covered her chest. Chu Ji's refusal made her a little crazy. She now really wanted to tie Chu Ji to her side. He must stay by her side whether eating or sleeping. But she knew she couldn't, otherwise she would lose Chu Ji forever. She stumbled into the elevator. She didn't dare look back. She was afraid that she couldn't help it, afraid that she really couldn't help it. Su Wan, are you okay? Su Jin asked subconsciously. Fine. Su Jin looked back at Chu Ji's door with the same dejected look. Ever since Chu Ji moved out of his house, there has inexplicably been a gap between them. Su Jin knew that Chu Ji was deliberately avoiding her. He didn't want people to point at his nose and call him a country bumpkin, nor did he want people to look at him with strange eyes. Her own mother destroyed any possibility of a relationship between her and Chu Ji. But how could she be willing to give up? Chapter 171, Chu Ji's Anger. At this time, Song Lang was lying on the bed, cursing Chu Ji and Li Yao bitterly. He had been lying in bed for 2 days. Chu Ji's kick directly cracked his ribs, which was extremely painful. Just then, his phone rang. Are you ready to take over the Li family's business? Song Lang's face froze slightly. The man said to himself, "Haha, you don't have much time left, don't fail. If we go with the second plan, there will be no meaning for you to exist." Song Lang's face was terribly pale. How can he get close to Li Yao in this state? Song Lang didn't dare tell the other party that he knew what failure meant. He has already failed once. If he fails again this time, what awaits him might be a life worse than death. Thinking that the other party would no longer provide him with medicine, Song Lang felt cold all over. The next morning, a piece of news reached Chu Ji's ears. Li Yao's parents were in a car accident abroad and died. When Chu Ji received the news, he was rarely angry. The other party's cruelty was beyond his expectations. Yes, he felt something was wrong from the beginning. No matter how incompetent Li Ping was, he would not be hacked to death because of gambling. Does he need that little money? Besides, the Li family is not unusual to Li Ping. The death of Li Ping's parents this time further proved one thing. That means the other party had planned it. They are shorting the Li family and turning it into their private property. They deserve to die. Song Lang's actions exceeded Chu Ji's bottom line. If they could do this to the Li family, why couldn't they do this to him? He has already been hated by Song Lang, and it is impossible for him to get away with it. The reason why the other party didn't touch him was simply because they didn't want to cause trouble. By the time the other party has taken over the Li family, his own death will probably be approaching. You can't wait to die. Chu Ji took out his phone and called Su Ruoxuan. I want money. When Li Yao heard the bad news, she fainted. When Chu Ji rushed to the hospital, Li Yao was lying on the bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. Li Yao, who was so charming not long ago, now looked like a withered flower without any vitality. Chu Ji couldn't help but feel sad. At the same time, he was very angry. The other party was simply a group of beasts. How can we kill them all? Li Yao's nanny sighed at this time. Sir, take a look at what happened to our young lady. She has been like this since she woke up. Many relatives and friends came, but she didn't say a word. What should I do? Li Yao, Chu Ji stepped forward. When Li Yao heard Chu Ji's voice, her eyes finally moved. The nanny was surprised when she saw this. Sir, can you talk to my young lady for a while? Chu Ji stepped forward and looked at Li Yao. Li Yao looked at Chu Ji, tears rolling down her eyes. Chu Ji subconsciously wiped away her tears and said, You have to be strong. I know it's useless for me to say this now, but I still hope you can be strong and face the hardships of life bravely. The Li family still needs you, and your relatives and friends also need you. What about you? Li Yao asked in a hoarse voice. I need you too. I need you to face the challenges of the future with me. Chu Ji told the truth. After hearing Chu Ji's words, Li Yao's eyes regained their vitality and became smart. Just then a person hurriedly walked into the ward. How is Mr. Li? The man asked anxiously. Mr. Li is feeling better now. Speak a little more quietly. The babysitter next to him couldn't help but mutter. Mr. Li, something bad has happened. Our Li Group's stock price has plummeted, and hundreds of billions have evaporated in just one day, the man said. Li Yao became very excited when she heard that. She wanted to get up but struggled and couldn't. Chu Ji then held Li Yao down and said, If you trust me, leave this matter to me. Li Yao looked at Chu Ji. The visitor also looked at Chu Ji. Chu Ji stood up straight, his expression cold. Humph, what was supposed to come has finally come. Let's see who moves faster. He wasn't going to endure it this time. What? The stock market is going crazy. Someone is frantically selling Lee family stocks. Some people are even selling Lee's shares. The Lee family stocks kept falling and couldn't be stopped. No one noticed that someone was quietly buying up these stocks. At the same time, in an office, Chu Ji signed a contract with someone. The man looked at Chu Ji sarcastically, as if he was looking at a fool. But Chu Ji didn't care. He looked at the shares he had bought, a slight smile appearing on his face. A few more days passed. Song Lang received a call again. What the hell is wrong with you? Damn thing so useless. Because of you, we missed the opportunity to take the second step. You waste, idiot. The man opposite cursed Song Lang viciously. Song Lang hurriedly got up, packed his things, and rushed towards the airport. In Lingcheng, a man smashed the phone in his hand. Someone actually spent a huge amount of money to buy the Lee family's shares. It's too late for us to buy all the remaining shares now. It's all because of that loser Song Lang. He wasted our precious time. Now let's think about what to do. At this time, the man's phone rang, and he answered it and listened. Then he looked at the person who smashed the phone and said, "It's too late. The other party has acquired the shares of other shareholders. That person is already the actual controller of the Lee family. Everything we have done has become someone else's wedding dress. Who is that person? Who on earth can come up with so much money all at once? No matter what, we must get the remaining shares as soon as possible. Otherwise our chances will be ruined." Chu Ji was deep in thought as he looked at the shares in his hands. What will the other party do next? Chu Ji murmured. He stood up, turned, and looked at the window, and a domineering aura unconsciously appeared on him. Su Zin looked at him from behind with some obsession. It's not enough. The other party will definitely buy the remaining shares. Although it can no longer affect us, it's still annoying when a toad falls on our feet. Then we have to do it as soon as possible, but I don't know if we have enough money. Su Zin was a little worried. Chu Ji was silent. He took out his cell phone and made a call. "Hello, Auntie, I'm Chu Ji. I have something to talk to you about. When do you have time?" Chu Ji said. "Okay, I'll be there right away." Chu Ji nodded. Su Zin looked at Chu Ji with some confusion. Chu Ji said, "It's Qin Wanchu's mother. I plan to borrow some money from the Qin family." Su Zin suddenly realized. Of course she knew about Chu Ji and Qin Wanchu. She wished she could replace Qin Wanchu and become the white moonlight in his heart. Chu Ji walked out of the office. "I saw Su Wan coming towards me." Su Wan asked, "Are you going out?" "Yes, I'm going to Qin's building," said Chu Ji. Su Wan said, "I'll follow you." Chu Ji was a little stunned. "Listen to her. Su Wan must follow you wherever you go from now on," Su Zin said behind him. Su Wan stood in front of Chu Ji and said, "Either I follow you or you stop your current plan immediately." Chapter 172, Don't Give Them a Chance. Chu Ji's eyes flickered. He nodded to Su Wan and said, "Okay." Watching Su Wan and Chu Ji leave, Su Zin bit her lip. She returned home and saw her mother. The mother looked embarrassed. Chu Ji's departure caused Su's company to enter a slow development phase. This development only occurred after Su Ruoxuan took over Chu Ji's plan. Before Su Ruoxuan took over, Su's development had almost stagnated and even regressed. There is no way, whether it is the new president or Su Zi facing such a large industry of Su's, they can only barely maintain the status quo but cannot expand it. The situation improved after Su Ruoxuan came back, but it was still not comparable to when Chu Ji was here. Chu Ji's talent is evident. Su Zin's father complained to Su Zin's mother more than once. Even though Su Zin's mother no longer paid attention to Su's business at this time, she also knew the importance of Chu Ji to Su's. When she thought about her daughter's attitude towards Chu Ji, she felt so regretful. Su Zin is divorced, and Chu Ji is also divorced. Although he was divorced from Su Ruoxuan, it was precisely because of this that she knew that the other party did not have any major shortcomings. Putting aside the issue of their backgrounds, Chu Ji and his daughter are simply a perfect match. Unfortunately, the relationship that my daughter and Chu Ji had worked so hard to establish was destroyed by me. Although Chu Ji seemed to treat Su Zin as usual, but both Su Zin and others could see at a glance that Chu Ji was much more polite to Su Zin. Being polite means being distant. Su Zin looked at her mother and called out, "Mom." Then he walked straight towards the study without saying anything. The back figure looks a little bleak. Su Zin's mother opened her mouth, but didn't know how to start. Su Zin's father saw Su Zin coming in and asked, "Are you really going to give up Su's shares?" Su Zin said, "Yes, I came here this time to borrow some more money. I can use it." Su Zin's father frowned and said, "This is simply nonsense. What on earth do you want so much money for? If you don't tell me, I won't give you the money. Su Jin doesn't have many shares. Even if Su Jin exchanges all of them for money, it doesn't matter even if he is cheated. The Su family is wealthy and powerful, so they don't need anything from her. But Su Jin wanting to borrow money is another matter. Without knowing the specific purpose of the money, it would be a bottomless pit, and he would not do it. Only a few of them knew what Chu Ji had done. Su Jin's father and Su Ruoxuan's father didn't know what the money was used for. Just tell me whether you want to lend it to me or not. If not, forget it. Su Jin turned around and left. Stop! Su Jin's father looked at his daughter speechlessly. I have only one son and one daughter. My son doesn't have much talent, but he can still manage the property, and I don't make too high demands on myself. He felt guilty about his daughter, and the marriage with the Li family was originally a combination of interests. I am also responsible for my daughter's situation, so it was really difficult for him to refuse Su Jin's request. How much do you want? How much can you give? Su Jin asked. 200 million, no more. Tusk so stingy. A villa costs hundreds of millions, and you only give me 200 million. Su Jin was dissatisfied. In the end, Su Jin got 500 million yuan in funds. She went to Chu Ji's house happily. She wanted to give him a surprise. Several women know the password to Chu's house. When she arrived at Chu Ji's house, Su Jin ran to Chu Ji's bedroom and rolled on it. Just then the door opened, and Su Ruoxuan came back. When Su Ruoxuan saw Su Jin enter Chu Ji's bedroom, her eyebrows raised and she threw her out. Su Jin was angry but didn't dare to say anything. You are not allowed to enter his room without my permission from now on. Su Ruoxuan looked at Su Jin coldly. Why? Because I'm his ex-wife. You also know that she is my ex-wife. Do you think there is still a chance for you and him? Su Ruoxuan became irritated. Su Jin raised her head proudly. Just then Su Ruoxuan's phone rang. Su Ruoxuan frowned at the incoming call. But it's still connected. Hello, who are you? Su Ruoxuan asked. Hello, is this Ms. Su? I'm from the Civil Affairs Bureau. If you have time, please come to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Su Ruoxian was a little suspicious when she heard this. Is there something going on? Oh, it's about the last time you and your husband came here to handle the divorce procedures. When we reviewed it recently, we found that your divorce procedures with your husband were incomplete. What do you mean? Su Ruoxuan clenched the phone in her hand. We found that your marriage certificate with Mr. Chuj was not successfully stamped. Your marriage contract with Mr. Chuj is still valid. Su Ruoxuan did not listen to the next words. She quickly went downstairs and rushed towards the Civil Affairs Bureau. Chu Ji was talking to Qin's mother at this time. Chuj expressed his intention to borrow money. Mother Qin looked at Chu Ji and said, Are you going to make a big move? But as far as I know, the industries under your control are developing very well, especially the game company, which is valued at tens of billions. I'm just using the game company as collateral. I want 5 billion. That's not much. Your game company has more than 5 billion. Chu Ji said, I can actually get a loan from the bank, but the procedures are too complicated. Also, I don't have that much time, so I'm asking you for help. Mother Qin said, 5 billion is easy. I'll arrange it right away, and the money will be in your account tomorrow. Chu Ji said happily, Thank you, Auntie. Mother Qin said, You're welcome. Actually, I want to tell you something. What? Wanshu will be back soon. I think you can talk when you have time. Chu Ji was a little dazed. Then he lowered his eyes and said, Aunt, don't worry, I will pay you back as soon as possible. This is a mortgage contract. If I can't pay you back within a year, the game company will be yours, including the copyrights of those games. Seeing this, Qin's mother sighed helplessly. Chu Ji's attitude was already very clear. He refused. It turns out that some things, once missed, it will be difficult to have another chance. But who should be blamed for this? When Chu Ji and Qin Wanshu were in love, the Qin family tacitly approved. They also have high hopes for Chu Ji and think he is a promising talent. The background is clean enough, and although it comes from the countryside, it's not a big problem. But who could have thought that something that was set in stone would go wrong? His daughter's words completely pushed Chu Ji away. Looking at Chu Ji's current achievements, it would be a lie to say that he has no regrets. It would be great if Qin could get Chu Ji. Unfortunately, there is no if. After all, my daughter doesn't have that blessing. Chu Ji walked out of Qin's office. Su Wan asked, You mortgaged the company. Yes, I can use your money, but I can't use Qin's money for no reason. I have to distinguish between public and private, Chu Ji said. Su Wan's mouth curled up slightly when she heard this. Did Chu Ji mean that he treated her as his own? Thinking of this, Su Wan felt a little numb all over. Should we wait until tomorrow to discuss the share transaction with those people? No, the longer the night, the more trouble there is. Let's go now, Chuji sneered. I won't give them any chance to interfere with the Lee family. Chapter 173, Successfully Intercepted. The next day, Chuji brought Su-wan to Lee's villa. Su-wan didn't come in. Chuji entered the villa alone. Li Yao was lying on the bed at this time, looking a little weak. Chuji has not only been busy with work these days, but also helped Li Yao deal with the Li family's funeral. Chuji's mood was complicated. After all, his relationship with the Li family was not very good. The Li family also tried to suppress his company, but failed. In the final analysis, he benefited from the Zhu family. With the Zhu family's protection, he had smooth sailing. But now Zhu Wongking has gone abroad. He will have to rely on himself in the future, although Zhu Wongking suggested that he join forces with the Su family. But he felt he couldn't get over the hurdle in his heart. Chuji sat on the stool beside the bed and looked at Li Yao and said, I bought the Li family's shares, 30%. Li Yao looked at Chuji in surprise. She has been in grief recently, and really has no time to pay too much attention to the Li family's work. With the shares held by your parents and your brother, you are still the chairman of the Li family and the biggest boss. Li Yao still holds nearly 50% of the shares. She is the largest shareholder, and of course the Li family originally belonged to her. Chuji had no intention of taking these shares. He acquired the shares that the Li family had originally distributed. The Li family doesn't care who holds these shares, because this does not harm the interests of the Li family. Well, those people wanted to run away when they heard the news of my parents' death. Since we can't share the hardships, let's get rid of them, Li Yao said. As expected, he didn't care at all about the ownership of those shares. So you have to cheer up. Our entire fortune depends on you. If you collapse, I will cry to death, Chuji said pitifully. Li Yao looked at Chuji's expression and burst out laughing. The depression in my heart also disappeared. Okay, I'll go to work tomorrow. I'll die of exhaustion rather than let you lose money, okay? Then my future happiness depends on you, Chuji said. Li Yao's eyes were filled with affection. She nodded and said, okay. After Li Yao finished speaking, she felt like she had found her own meaning and became more confident. But Chuji didn't know what Li Yao's words meant. I'm hungry, Li Yao looked at Chuji. Chuji said, understood, I will cook for you. Chuji stood up and walked towards the kitchen. I made a few light side dishes to go with the stomach-nourishing porridge. Li Yao held the bowl, tears rolling down her eyes. She looked at Chuji and said, will you stay with me forever? Of course, all my fortune is in your hands. Do you want to just leave it alone? No way, you have to be responsible for me for the rest of my life, Chuji said confidently. Li Yao burst into laughter. Her gloomy world was once again filled with sunshine, Chuji's sunshine. She felt that there would no longer be room for any other light in her world. If Song Lang knew the result, he would probably vomit blood. What he had planned was to take advantage of Li Yao's most vulnerable moment, which was something he had planned all by himself. It is also his final trump card, but now Chuji has intercepted it, and the effect is not generally good. Chuji just cooked a meal. Li Yao, however, has already regarded him as her everything. If Chuji wanted the entire Li family at this time, Li Yao would probably give it to him without hesitation. When Chuji came out of Li Yao's villa, Su-wan looked at him with resentment. Chuji was stunned and touched his nose embarrassedly. He had forgotten about Su-wan. After returning home and being served attentively by him, Su-wan reluctantly forgave him. Chuji found that he was most comfortable when he was with Su-wan and Nan Shu. You can speak freely without any scruples and vent your depression. Even do some childish things as you please. No matter what, they would tolerate him and even be willing to be childish with him. This feeling made him a little obsessed. After inviting Su-wan to dinner, Chuji placed a cup of tea in front of Su-wan in a flattering manner. Looking at Chuji's expression, Su-wan raised the corner of her mouth but tried her best to suppress it. This is just this time. Don't do this again in the future, understand? Do you know how tired I am waiting outside? I was wrong this time, really wrong. Let me rub your shoulders for you. Chuji went around behind Su-wan and gave her a massage. Su-wan quickly took a sip of tea and suppressed the restlessness in her heart. She felt her whole body soften. After a while, Chuji felt Su-wan's body suddenly stiffen and then instantly became soft. He asked in confusion, Su-wan, what's wrong with you? It's nothing, I'm just so comfortable. I want to sleep, Su-wan said. The tone is gurgling. I'll clean up a room for you. Chuji did not doubt him and immediately cleaned up a room. In fact, there is no need to clean up. Su Wan has lived here for a long time. After a while, Su Ruoxuan came back. Chu Ji discovered that Su Ruoxuan seemed different today than she did a few days ago. She became much more confident and calm. The way he looked at her also became strange. Ruoxuan, what's wrong? Is there any good news? Chu Ji asked. Is the money enough? Su Ruoxuan asked back. Well, that's enough. Actually, we haven't spent all our money yet. The reason I want so much money is not just to buy shares. Su Ruoxian raised her eyebrows and said, Oh, what are your plans? Haha, you will know in 2 days, said Chu Ji. At this time, Su Wan came out of the bathroom with wet hair and a strange flush on her face. Su Ruoxian glanced at Su Wan and said, Stay here today and you can always live here in the future. Su Wan was stunned and looked at Su Ruoxuan with some suspicion. Why is Su Ruoxuan acting like a hostess today? No words were spoken that night. The next day, Chu Ji was woken up early by Li Yao's call. Chu Ji brought Su Wan to Li's villa. When I arrived at the gate, I found a brand new Cullinan parked at the door of Li's villa. Chu Ji was stunned. Is it that a big shot has come to the Li family? At this time, the courtyard gate opened, and Li Yao walked out. Without waiting for Chu Ji to speak, Li Yao reached out and threw a key to him. Chu Ji took it and saw that it was a car key. This car is yours from now on, Li Yao said. Su Wan said at the side, You really should have a decent car. You must have the style that you should have at this level. This is a necessity. Chu Ji nodded when he heard this. He rarely denied Su Wan's opinions. Chu Ji got in the car, and Li Yao and Su Wan also got in at the same time. Li Yao looked at Su Wan, who was sitting next to her with a strange look in her eyes. Su Wan remained calm. Li Yao seemed to understand something when she saw this, and gave a blank look to Chu Ji, who was trying to figure out how to control the device in front of her. She snorted with a hint of pouting, Big pig's hoof. Su Wan, who was standing next to her, twitched her lips and nodded, which was rare for her without refutation. Chapter 174, Promoted to President. In Lingcheng, a bald old man smashed the mobile phone in his hand. In just one night, they had lost all their chances. Have you found out who that person is? We should know that he can mobilize so much funds. Not yet. There hasn't been much movement from the several wealthy families in Jinghai. For a wealthy family like the Su family, mobilizing billions is a routine operation. Therefore, the funds mobilized by either the Su family or the Qin family did not attract excessive attention from outsiders. Besides, the funds they each mobilized would not be enough to complete such a large-scale acquisition. But they seem to have forgotten that Chu Ji acquired Li's shares after their stock price plummeted. Those shares are no longer worth much. Chu Ji took advantage of the other party's eagerness to sell shares for cash, so he pushed the price even lower. So she really didn't spend a lot of money, but even so, it was still tens of billions. Who on earth is this person? He has such a good sense of timing, it seems he calculated that we would not make any moves in the first few days. Could it be that the man has set his sights on Song Lang? Is he using Song Lang to guess our actions? But don't worry, the other party will definitely be exposed. Bring back that idiot Song Lang, said the bald old man in a gloomy voice. At this time, Song Lang was curled up in the cargo hold of a ship. What? Li Yao walked into Li's building with full aura. This is her first time entering a group company since her parents passed away. The people in the group company were already in a panic, but when they saw Li Yao's attitude, they became more at ease. Li Yao convened a board meeting. Let me introduce to you Chu Ji, the future president of Li Corporation. The board members were confused for a moment, but no one objected. The people on the board of directors knew Chu Ji, and they naturally knew what Chu Ji had done in the Su family. They had no doubts about Chu Ji's abilities. Chu Ji's arrival also brought them hope. It seems that everyone is familiar with Chu Ji, so I won't introduce him in detail. I believe that under Chu Ji's leadership, our Li group will definitely be able to get out of its current predicament and even move to a higher level. At this time, Chu Ji stood up and spoke in a cold but firm voice. Because of the death of the old chairman, some people in the Li group are unstable, and everyone has seen this. But what I want to say is that the Li family will not collapse. The Li family is still a wealthy family in Jinghai. We have the strength and the foundation. Of course, I won't force you to do anything. If anyone feels that something is wrong and wants to withdraw, I will give them a chance, and you can raise the issue now. Chu Ji stopped talking after he finished speaking. This is customary, and he hopes to take this opportunity to clear out some individuals with ulterior motives. 5 minutes passed, but no one quit. Chu Ji was a little surprised, but he didn't really care. Chu Ji said, Since no one has withdrawn, I declare that the first thing I will do after taking office is to restart Lee's chip plan. The Lee family made their fortune with electronic products. Of course, chips will also be involved, but chips are a high-end industry, and it will cost a lot for Lee to develop them on his own, especially a high-tech chip manufacturing machine, which cannot be bought with money. However, due to the high cost, the plan was shelved for a while. When they heard that Chu Ji wanted to restart the chip project, the board members were a little shocked for a moment. Boss Chu, isn't this too risky? We invested nearly 10 billion in the chip industry back then, but the gains were not great. The chip industry is simply a bottomless pit. Is it necessary for us to restart this project? Chu Ji said, believe me, I will let you know how right it is to restart the chip industry. Chu Ji smiled. The reason why Lee's company failed was because he took the wrong path and blindly hired high-end talents. But can you hire high-end talents from abroad? How could you possibly hire someone with real skills? Lee was doing useless work from the beginning. But he won't do that. As for the funding, don't worry. Someone will help us solve it when the time comes. This sentence made everyone, including Li Yao, a little confused. After the meeting, Li Yao also asked about the doubts in his mind. Chu Ji sat in his position as the president and said, the chip industry is related to national strategy. If we ignore our biggest backer and use outsiders, it would be strange if we can develop it. The biggest backer? Of course it's our country. The country now attaches great importance to this industry. Many of our chip-related industries are stuck. The country urgently needs to develop its own chip industry, so... Li Yao's voice trembled. So you want to rely on the power of the country? Chu Ji said, that's right, let's go to our parents. Su Wan suddenly said at this time, I think it would be better if you go directly to Jinghai and let our professor report directly to the higher authorities. Chu Ji's eyes lit up. Wanner, you are really my lucky star. When Su Wan heard this, a blush appeared on her face. The professor's weight is beyond his reach. With the professor's endorsement, does he still worry about not getting help from the government? Don't praise me. Have you already set your sights on the professor? With the recommendation of our professors, you can use the best talents in our country. Chu Ji said, this is called leveraging power. We provide the funds, the venue, and the equipment, and the country provides the talents. Perfect. The country will even solve the funding problem itself, Su Wan said again. Things developed pretty much as Chu Ji had expected. Even smoother. The leaders attached great importance to this and personally visited Lee's chip base. At the same time, several top professors also came to the base. When the news got out, Lee's stock price soared like crazy. Not only that, the government also allocated funds. For a time, Lee was very popular. Those who sold their shares early on are now regretting it. Su family. Father Su was slightly stunned when he saw Su Ruoxuan coming back. He felt that Su Ruoxuan had become much more confident than before, as if she had returned to the time when she was promoted to the president of Su Corporation. Ruoxian, are you okay? Father Su was referring to his mental condition. Su Ruoxian said, I'm fine now. This is another family gathering that happens once every 2 weeks. Su Zi, Su Pin, Su Ruoxuan's 2 uncles and aunt all came. The Su family has always been united. Otherwise, there would not be the Su family today. Su Zi looked at Su Ruoxian and said, Ruoxian, I didn't expect you to have such a good vision this time. The value of the shares in Su's company will be quadrupled by moving them to Lee's company. Father Su was also amazed at Su Ruoxuan's decision. When Su Ruoxuan said she wanted to sell her shares, he was a little resentful, but not now. Now Su Ruoxuan's worth is very important to the Lee family. Su Zin's father looked at Su Zin at this time. Su Zin made the same decision as Su Ruoxuan and even borrowed 500 million from him and invested it all. At this moment, he discovered that Su Zin's courage was much stronger than that of his son. Only Su Wan looked a little gloomy. Her identity meant that she had no shares in the Su group. She was closely tied to the Su group. The relationship between us and the Su family is one of mutual success and mutual failure. Father Su sighed at this time. What a pity that Chu Ji has the opportunity to become ours. Su Zin's mother blushed and lowered her head. Su Pin next to him also moved his body unnaturally. Chapter 175, Undercurrent. Su Ruoxian raised her lips slightly and said, Don't worry, even if he is not from the Su family, he will do his best to help the Su family. Su Wan and Su Zin looked at Su Ruoxuan suspiciously, wondering where her confidence came from. Especially Su Wan. She had long felt that Su Ruoxuan was acting strange. Father Su looked at Su Ruoxuan and Su Zin and asked, "What do you think?" Su Ruoxian said, "What do you think? I don't have any idea. My shares have been sold. Apart from my identity as a member of the Su family, I have no relationship with the Su group in theory. I am considered a daughter who has been married off." Su Zin quickly said, me too, I am also a married daughter." Su Ruoxuan glanced at Su Zin and snorted coldly. Su Zin lowered her head, somewhat afraid to look into Su Ruoxuan's eyes. Su Zin's father said speechlessly, "What nonsense are you talking about? You are just an investment at best." "I'm not, I'm putting all my wealth on the line. That's all I have, so I'm considered married." Su Zin's father was speechless. How could he not know that his daughter probably had feelings for Chu Ji? Father Su sighed. "It's unrealistic to say that you have nothing to do with the group. I'm not dead yet. Even if I die, you will inherit my estate. You can't cut off your relationship with the Su group." Su Zin's father also nodded. Su Zin's shares were gone, but she was still alive, and her shares could be inherited by Su Zi and Su Zin as an inheritance. Father Su said, "Let's talk about Chu Ji. How did he come up with this idea? His move is simply like a fairy from heaven. It's amazing." Su Zin's father said, "Yes, they used a dispensable industry abandoned by the Li family as a lever to leverage such a huge power." Su Zi was convinced at this time. "Yeah, what on earth is he thinking? I did the math for him. He just shouted a slogan and the talent and funds he needed were in place. It was the initiative of the higher-ups. He is a genius." Su Zin whispered, "Who are you scolding? Keep your mouth shut." Su Zi grunted twice. Father Su said, "The most important thing is that he has received attention from above. The Su family may be a big name in Jinghai, but even if you look at the whole country, there are not many who are stronger than us. But compared to the higher-ups, we are nothing. To be recognized by the higher-ups is like wearing a yellow jacket, so arrogant." Even Su's father was extremely envious. Su Ruoxuan had a smile on her face. She felt that praising Chu Ji made her happier than praising herself. At this time, the stepmother who had been silent said, "Ruoxian, why are you so happy? He finally divorced you." What? Chu Ji returned to his home at this time. Chu Zu is back. She had started school a long time ago, but had been living at Su Zin's place. But she is about to graduate. After taking the college entrance examination, she no longer had to live with Su Zin. "Why did you decide to come back today?" "Why not welcome?" "How dare I?" Chu Ji was speechless. If he dared to say no, wouldn't his father come to him from his hometown with his belt waving? "My sister-in-law said that tomorrow is Sunday and she wants to have a reunion dinner with me," Chu Zu explained. "Family reunion dinner?" Chu Ji was stunned. "Where did this come from?" "Yes, it's the reunion dinner. That's what my sister-in-law said. Brother, have you remarried my sister-in-law, or are you planning to remarry?" Chu Ji said, "That's not the case." "Really, that feels weird," Chu Zu said. The brother and sister had just finished talking about Su Ruoxuan. Su Ruoxuan came back. When Su Ruoxian saw Chu Zu, she said, "Sister is back." "Sister-in-law Tilda," Chu Zu greeted her quickly. "Have you eaten?" Su Ruoxuan asked with a very natural expression, as if she was really Chu Zu's sister-in-law. "My brother has to wait for you to come back to eat. He's afraid you'll come back without eating at home," Chu Zu said. Su Ruoxuan was stunned, then looked at Chu Ji who came out of the kitchen with honey in her eyes. "Let's eat together," Su Ruoxuan said. Chu Zu said, "Sister-in-law, you really didn't eat at home." Chu Zu was indeed surprised. It was impossible for Su Ruoxuan's family not to provide meals, so there was only one explanation now. It was that Su Ruoxuan really rushed back from home and didn't want to eat at her house. Tusk, are you afraid that my brother will run away?" Chu Zu said. Su Ruoxian glanced at Chu Ji and said, "It's no use for him to run anywhere now." Chu Zu was stunned, feeling that her sister-in-law was hiding something. Chu Ji didn't think much about it and said, "That's right, Ruoxian is my creditor now, and I can't run away until I pay off my debt." Su Ruoxian rolled her eyes at Chu Ji and said, "Who asked you to pay back the money? What's mine is not yours." Chu Zu's eyes lit up, and her words were so sweet that they made her teeth fall out. "Sister-in-law, you have a problem today." Su Ruoxian tapped Chu Zu's forehead and said, "What problem can I have?" He, I feel like you have become much more domineering, and you act like I am the only one who can rule you," Chu Zu said. The little girl has a good eye for observation. "Is there really a situation?" "HMPH, you want to know? I won't tell you." Su Ruoxuan rarely played with Chu Zu. Chu Ji was a little dazed watching them playing. He felt like Su Ruoxuan was a member of his own family. At this time, someone came to Zhang Heng's house from the head of the Zhang family. Seeing the visitor, Zhang Jiazhuang looked unhappy. "Why are you here?" "What's the matter? You don't even call me third uncle." The speaker was a bald old man. "It was you who wanted to leave in the first place, and your grandfather was so mad at you that he died. Didn't you know that he expelled you from the family before he died?" said the head of the Zhang family. "That's just the old man being pretentious and unable to let go. Besides, without me all these years, how could you have done so well?" said the bald old man. "Aren't you living well in Lingcheng? Why did you come to Jinghai this time?" said the head of the Zhang family. "I didn't want to come either, but I can't accept that something I worked so hard for was snatched away by someone else," said the bald old man. The head of the Zhang family was slightly stunned. He knew very well how powerful the person in front of him was. Hearing the other party say this, he was surprised and asked, "There are such people in Jinghai. Is it the Qin family, the Su family, the Li family, or the Zhu family?" "Neither," said the old man. Patriarch Zhang was puzzled. "Neither of them. If not them, who else has this ability? We now have a suspect, and you're probably very familiar with him," the bald old man said as he handed over a photo. "Is it him?" The head of the Zhang family was stunned. Because one of his own sons is still in prison. It was also because of him that their Zhang family was targeted by the Su family and suffered heavy losses. Even the Zhu family got involved, completely destroying his plan to marry into a wealthy family. Chapter 176, Turning the Tide. "What do you want to do? I won't do anything illegal," said the head of the Zhang family. "Haha, do you think I will kill him directly? Don't worry, how can I be willing to let him die so easily?" The bald old man smiled grimly. "Oh, then what do you want to do?" "It's almost there. We'll probably have the result tomorrow," the bald old man said with a cunning look in his eyes. At this moment, a masked man sneaked into the Li family chip base quietly. "What?" The next day, Chu Ji's phone suddenly rang. "Oh no, the most advanced machine in our chip base has broken down." Li Yao's slightly frightened voice came. Chu Ji frowned, his eyes flickering. "Don't panic, it's just a machine. I'm here, don't worry, just leave this to me." Chu Ji's cool and pleasant words were like an effective sedative. Li Yao's anxious mood calmed down instantly. Li Yao had to admit that Chu Ji seemed like a natural leader who made people unconsciously convinced. At the same time, he was also fascinated by the feeling of being protected by Chu Ji. It seemed that with him around, nothing mattered and there was always a way to solve it. Chu Ji came to the base and checked the surveillance. When he saw someone maliciously damaging the machine, he immediately called the police. The charge he gave was serious. A spy maliciously destroyed the country's strategic machinery. This is not only a harm to him, but also a huge harm to the entire national chip industry. Police cars roared on the streets of Jinghai. At the same time, the higher-ups also arranged people to come and investigate. After all, the Zhang family was a big family, so they naturally got the news. He hurried back home and said to the leisurely old man opposite him, "You've gotten into big trouble this time." "What, are you scared? It's just the Li family," said the bald old man disdainfully. "Just the Li family. This is no longer just the Li family's problem. That guy alarmed the higher-ups. All 100 Li families have to stand aside," said the head of the Zhang family with a grim face. "Why was he so obsessed with keeping this guy at home? It turned out that my grandfather was right to expel him from the family tree. Otherwise, the entire Zhang family would have been buried with him. Go away, there is no room for a great man like you here," said the head of the Zhang family. The bald old man looked grim. "You mean we alerted the higher-ups?" The head of the Zhang family said, "Aren't you well informed? Why, don't you know how much the country values the Li family's industry?" The bald old man looked grim. Dealing with the Li family and dealing with the above are two completely different concepts. He wouldn't feel anything even if he lost against the Li family. But it's different above. Everything he did was shady. Any one thing is enough to get you head off. "No, I can't stay in Jinghai anymore." The old man hurriedly got up and walked towards the door. Patriarch Zhang watched the old man leave and said sarcastically, "Grandpa was right when he said that. He has always been aggressive and ruthless in doing things and never uses his brain. He is sneaky and cunning, and he will do anything to get what he wants. It would be a disaster for such a person to stay in the Zhang family. Not to mention that the bald old man left Jinghai. Chu Ji now faces a huge problem, which is whether the machine can still be used. If the machine cannot be repaired, then his chip industry will be completely over." Chu Ji sat in the office looking out the window. "What are you thinking about?" Li Yao asked. "Nothing, I just feel pity that the chip industry has been strangled by others. I finally saw some hope, but it was destroyed." Why did I create such a big fanfare in the beginning? To let people see how capable and awesome I am. In fact, neither is true. I want them to know that this industry is related to the country's development in the next few decades. I want to tell them not to touch this industry lightly, but unfortunately they don't seem to have this concept in their minds. They are targeting this industry for their own selfish interests. And yes, they are all a bunch of garbage. I shouldn't have any hope for them. By the end of his speech, Chu Ji's tone had become disgusted. Them. Chu Ji turned his head and looked at Li Yao and said, I've told you before that the power behind Song Lang is not simple, right? Li Yao nodded. Actually, I suspect they are involved in drugs. They are gangsters or drug dealers. Li Yao was shocked. What? Then why didn't you call the police to arrest them? How can it be that easy? Besides, this matter was originally told to me by a police friend of mine, and they are already monitoring each other. There is no movement now, which means the police do not have enough evidence. Li Yao asked, so you reminded me not to get too close to Song Lang because of this, and not because you were jealous. Jealous? Chu Ji was stunned. He never thought that Li Yao would think this way. Is he acting like that kind of person? What should we do now? Li Yao changed the subject. She was afraid of getting unwanted results. That machine was imported from abroad, and it would be difficult to manufacture it given our national conditions. But it doesn't mean there is no chance this time. They think they can defeat me by destroying the machine. Are they too naive? Looking at Chu Ji, who was making plans, Li Yao's eyes were blurred. What are you going to do? Even if a machine is broken, it still has value. Its value is even greater than that of the chip. Li Yao was a little shocked and asked, how do you say that? As the saying goes, it is better to teach a man to fish than to give him a fish. Chip technology will eventually require the use of machines, but what if I donate the machines? Let our top scholars disassemble the machine. I believe we will learn a lot from it. So, you're going to donate that machine? Yes, and I will go to Europe to see if I can get a more advanced machine. But this is controlled material, I'm afraid. What if we don't want it in our capacity? For example, over there. Chu Ji pointed in the southeast direction. But I need a legal and compliant identity there. Li Yao said, it's not difficult at all. Leave it to me. I promise to arrange a legal and compliant identity for you. Chu Ji nodded. Only with an identity, there can he buy the machines smoothly. The machines at the chip base were destroyed, which was thought to make Chu Ji panic. At least those who were jealous of Chu Ji started to party. But who would have thought that the higher-ups not only did not cut off cooperation with Chu Ji because of this. Instead, they transferred and mobilized a large amount of funds. The base is almost becoming a school. A large number of top scholars have settled in the base, and they all bring their own students with them to a greater or lesser extent. Chu Ji simply decided to build a school directly on the original base. The government department also approved it readily. Whether it's true or not, the momentum is there. As a result, the Li family's fortunes also rose. The head of the Zhang family sighed helplessly upon seeing this and gave up his intention to target Chu Ji. He felt that Chu Ji was too terrifying. He was able to turn the tide in such a situation. It was really terrifying. If he were to keep his mind on me and try to deal with me, my fate would probably be no better than that of Lu Feng. At the same time in Lingcheng, the bald old man once again smashed everything that could be smashed. I took such a big risk to do this, but I didn't expect that it would help Chu Ji in the end, make his position more consolidated. Now Chu Ji has the status of an honorary principal and is officially a principal. He actually helped Chu Ji cross a class. Thinking of this, he wanted to die. I really underestimated him, sighed the bald old man. Chapter 177, Desperate. Boss, I'm afraid we're being targeted. Someone rushed in hurriedly and said. A trace of panic appeared on the old man's face. Are you sure? Boss, we shouldn't have touched that machine. The higher-ups have sent people to investigate. With their abilities, it's only a matter of time before they find us. No, we can't stay in Lingcheng anymore. We have to go abroad, said the bald old man. At this time, the bald old man was like a stray dog, feeling anxious all day long. This was a bad move on his part. But before we leave, we must not let that kid have an easy time. The bald old man looked resentful. Boss, it's better to have less trouble than more at this moment. If we touch the Su family, I'm afraid they won't let it go. If we really get serious, we may not get the upper hand. No, I can't bear this. Do it secretly. Chu Ji was at Jinghai University at that time. The shooting of his film was perfectly wrapped up a few days ago. I came here today specifically to celebrate. Li Qing, Liu Jing, and Cairo May all came to Chu Ji. Well done, Chu Ji praised. My work is not in vain if I can get your praise, said Liu Jing. Li Qing just looked at Chu Ji and smiled. Kairo Mei said, Li Qing has not been able to sleep well for several days and nights because of this movie. You have to reward her well. Liu Jing said, Indeed, Li Qing is very responsible and does everything perfectly. I have to admire where she gets so much energy from. Chu Ji looked at Li Qing and indeed noticed the fatigue deep in her eyes. Chu Ji said, Why are you working so hard? 10 plays are not as important as your health. Don't do this next time. Chu Ji didn't praise her. Li Qing felt sad at first, but after hearing the following words, she became like a withered flower welcoming nectar, and immediately became radiant and beautiful. I felt sweet in my heart and said, I am not doing this for someone, am I? Chu Ji would be lying if he said he wasn't touched, but he still said, You can't ignore your own health. Don't do this kind of thing in the future. If you are caught, your salary will be deducted. Kaio Mei, who was standing next to her, covered her mouth and chuckled. All right, we are still here. Can you guys please consider our feelings when you are flirting? Liu Jing said, That's it. Li Qing blushed. As the banquet was about to end, Chu Ji expressed his idea of going to Europe. Li Qing was stunned and looked up at Chu Ji. Kaio Mei said, Going to Europe? Okay, as your personal assistant, you won't just throw me out this time, right? Chu Ji said, Of course not, I will take you with me this time. There was joy in Kaio Mei's eyes. I want to go too, said Li Qing. Chu Ji was a little hesitant. Let her go with you, even if it's just to relax, said Liu Jing next to her. Okay, Chu Ji nodded. Li Qing jumped excitedly when she heard that. His chest was trembling and he felt dizzy. As if he thought of a scene in the hotel again, Chu Ji's face turned red and his eyes looked away. Noticing Chu Ji's expression, Li Qing bit her lip and her face suddenly turned red. Then she immediately calmed down and deliberately straightened her chest. After the banquet, Chu Ji did not go home, but drove to Zhu Moyu's place. He felt it necessary to tell Zhu Moyu about his trip to Europe. Came to Zhu Moyu's residence. Chuj knocked on the door. The door opened, and Zhu Moyu's charming face appeared in front of him. Looking at the clothes on Zhu Moyu that made him a little irritated, Chu Ji coughed awkwardly. I have to say, after not seeing Zhu Moyu for a few days, her figure has become even more breathtaking. The key is still strong. Zhu Moyu's tone was full of surprise. Chu Ji seemed a little guilty, because he hadn't been here for some time, because he had to take care of Su Ruoxuan. Dad, do you still remember that there is a daughter here? Zhu Yunmo also raised his mouth. Chu Ji said, It's all my fault, I will apologize to Momo. It's not enough to just say it. I haven't eaten your cooking for a long time, you have to cook for me. No problem, Chu Ji replied. Then he set off for the kitchen, and soon the aroma of food filled the air. Zhu Moyu leaned against the kitchen door and watched Chu Ji busy himself. When Chu Ji turned his head, he could see the white skin on Zhu Moyu's waist. Zhu Moyu is not always like this. She only seemed particularly relaxed when she was in front of Chu Ji. He was just relaxed and didn't treat Chu Ji as an outsider at all. The meal will be ready soon. Zhu Moyu took out the red wine. Have a few drinks with me and don't leave today, Zhu Moyu said. Okay, I won't leave today. I will stay with Sister Mo Yue, said Chu Ji. Yun Mo looked at Chu Ji, then at Zhu Moyu and shook his head slightly. This wine is so bitter, I really don't know why you adults like to drink this kind of stuff. Tusk, what do you know, little brat? I'm not a little kid. I'm going to be a junior high school student soon. You still say you're not a brat, Zhu Moyu said mercilessly. Zhu Yunmo pounced on Zhu Moyu with bared fangs and claws. Chu Ji felt particularly relaxed as he listened to them bickering. Maybe this is what home feels like. Before he knew it, he had drunk 2 more glasses. In his dream, he seemed to dream of Zhu wonking. It was almost noon when Chu Ji left Zhu Moyu the next day. He didn't know he could sleep so well. Maybe it has something to do with yesterday's dream. I feel a little tired. I didn't see Zhu Moyu when I left. When I knocked on the door and said hello, I felt that Zhu Moyu's voice sounded strange. Wait until Chu Ji closes the door and walks away. Zhu Moyu's door slowly opened. HMPH, you can't even sleep well, she muttered with a red face. Chu Ji prepared to drive away. Just as he was about to open the car door, he didn't see a man walking over and smashing an iron pipe towards Chu Ji. Chu Ji saw this scene through the car window. He didn't hide. Instead, he kicked back without hesitation. This kick directly kicked the person who was close to him away. But there were 2 more people rushing towards Chu Ji. This time, they actually pulled out machetes. They wanted his life. Chu Ji looked solemn. Just then 2 people suddenly rushed out from the side. The 2 men with machetes were quickly subdued. Chu Ji looked a little dazed. "What's wrong? Are you scared?" A clear, pleasant, but very capable female voice sounded. Chu Ji turned his head and saw Yue walking towards him with a smile on her face. "Officer Yue," Chu Ji was slightly surprised. "Surprised to see me. I just didn't expect you to show up so promptly. Do you think we are just pretending to investigate him?" Yue said. She looked at the people who were planning to assassinate Chu Ji and said, "This trip is not in vain. With them, we can take action." Chu Ji said with a gleam in his eyes, "Then you better hurry up. It's not easy for that guy to survive until now." Chapter 178, Meeting AI Ruosi Again. Yue said, "Are you looking down on us? Well, I can't say anything more, let's go." Yue simply turned around and left. Mausoleum City. In a dark sewer, the bald old man from the Zhang family covered his mouth with dirty water dripping out as he ran quickly in one direction. "They won't catch up with us, will they? The sewage here can block the detection of the police dogs. This place is like a maze. They won't be able to catch up. Damn it, they found out about me so quickly. Boss, our base outside has been destroyed. This loss is simply fatal. It's fatal, I never accept my fate. I Zhang have more than just this little fortune," said the bald old man. Soon their figures disappeared deep into the sewer. Yue's face looked very ugly. This time they destroyed several drug trafficking dens. It can be said that the harvest was quite fruitful, but something went wrong at the most critical point. The leader actually ran away. She could even imagine the contemptuous look Chu Ji gave her. "Bah, why should I care about his opinion?" Yue muttered to herself. "Officer Yue, we've lost track of them." Someone came over looking a little frustrated. Yue said with a sullen face, "Write a summary when you go back this time. Why did Team 3 move so slowly during the operation? You guys just wait for the processing." The captain of the third team lowered his head and did not dare to look at Yue. Chu Ji also felt a little regretful when he got the news, but the police had dealt them a heavy blow by destroying their stronghold this time. But it was a pity to let the tiger go back to the mountain. He didn't know what to say. Although the police's action was not completely successful, the other party no longer dared to do anything to him and his family. He was also able to prepare to leave for Europe as planned. Su Wan looked at Chu Ji, who looked a little worried, and said, "Don't worry, I have strengthened the protection this time. You don't have to worry about Chu Zu's safety. And next time you go out overnight, you must report to me, okay?" Looking at Su Wan's unhappy expression, Chu Ji said awkwardly, "I won't do it next time." Su Wan's face relaxed and said, "It's good to know. Do you know that you almost scared me to death?" Chu Ji said, "No, I want to set up a security department directly. What do you think?" Su Wan thought for a moment and said, "All right, we should always be on guard against others." When Chu Ji saw Su Wan agreed, he immediately started to prepare. He called Yue. Yue heard Chu Ji's plan and said, "You did a good thing. I have many retired comrades. It would be nice for them to go to your place. I'll call them. Don't worry about it." As expected, it is easier to get things done with the help of someone. In just 2 days, more than 10 retired soldiers came to Chu Ji's security company. Chuj offered them the best salary and benefits. In particular, there are several female retired personnel who are as capable as any man and are even more skilled than men. Chu Ji directly arranged for them to go to Nanchu's place, and Chu Zu's place, one of them. One was also arranged for Zhu Moyu. After arranging the things at hand, Chu Ji set off. As long as they can successfully order the machines this time, the Li family's rise will become unstoppable. This time, not only Cairo, Mei, and Li Qing came, but Su Wan also came. "Who do you plan to ask for help when you go to Europe this time?" Su Wan asked. Chu Ji said, "Have you forgotten James and AI Ruosi?" Su Wan instantly remembered what James looked like. "To be exact, I'm looking for AI Ruosi. I've already talked to her on the phone. We'll go directly to her this time. She said she would introduce me to someone. I want to give it a try." When the plane landed, Chu Ji saw James as he walked out of the airport exit. "Hey, Mr. Chu, we meet again. Dear Chu, you know I miss you very much," James said. "Haha, James, this is only true here. If it happened in our place, your words would cause misunderstanding," Chu Ji said. James laughed and said, "Dear Chu, you have become funny and humorous." Then James greeted Su Wan, Li Qing, and others. "Oh, dear Chu, does this count as being surrounded by women? In your place, this is called, well, being a scumbag." Puchai, Li Qing laughed. Chu Ji touched his nose and said, "James, your observation skills need to be improved." At this time, Li Qing suddenly grabbed one of Chu Ji's arms. Not to be outdone, Su Wan took his other arm. Li Qing said, "James, you are right, he is a scumbag." Chu Ji was speechless. James laughed. Everyone got on the bus. Chu Ji sat in the passenger seat, and the three women sat in the back seat. James took them to a hotel. AI Ryuxu was already waiting at the door. Seeing AI Ryuosi, James turned his head to look at Chu Ji and said, "Dear Chu, there are not many people who can be greeted by my boss in person." Chuj got out of the car and walked towards Erosi. After not seeing her for a few days, Eros has become more mature and beautiful. She was wearing a normal pair of jeans and a small jacket on top. It outlines her figure perfectly. Cairo May was also surprised and said, "What a beauty." AI Ryuosi looked at Chu Ji, who was walking towards her with a smile in her eyes. "Erosi, we meet again," said Chu Ji. "Chu, you are a ruthless man," said AI Ryuosi. "Where did you get this from? Since you returned to China that time, how many times have you called me?" AI Ryuosi asked. "We talked 3 times in total. I called you on my own initiative the first 2 times, and you only called me the 3rd time after you begged me for help." Chu Ji was slightly embarrassed. AI Ryuosi smiled and said, "Well, since you came here in person, I forgive you. Enter the hotel with AI Ryuosi." AI Ryuxu had already booked a private room. After everyone sat down, AI Ryuxu looked at Chu Ji and asked, "How many days do you plan to stay here this time?" Chu Ji said, "That depends on how fast I buy the machines." Su Ryuosi said, "Then you will never be able to buy a machine in your lifetime. Just stay here for the rest of your life." Chu Ji said, "AI Ryuosi, if that were the case, I would probably be living a life worse than death." Eros shrugged and said, "Okay, this is just a joke for you." Su Wan said to Li Qing beside her, "Do you think what she said is true, or is it false?" "Which one?" Cairo May said at this time. "When AI Ryuosi said that she wanted to keep Chu Ji as a woman, I know clearly that AI Ryuosi really has this idea in mind." Li Qing thought for a moment and said, "Indeed, at that moment just now, AI Ryuosi didn't seem to be just joking." Cairo May smiled and said, "I feel like Chu Ji is like Tang Monk. If he's not careful, he might be captured by the monster. You guys better keep a close eye on him." While eating, Chu Ji found that AI Ryuosi was a little absent-minded. Chu Ji asked when he was about to finish his meal, "AI Ryuosi, are you in any trouble?" Chapter 179, Another Pillow. James next to him asked in surprise, "How did you know?" Chu Ji suddenly realized, "It seems to be true. I wonder what it is about. Can I help?" AI Ryuosi said, "It's nothing, just a personnel transfer." James said, "This is an election for the European General Agent. If Eruo wants to become the General Agent this time, you should know that the whole of Europe and just in France are 2 different concepts. European General Agent, this is indeed an important position. Are the competitors strong?" "Yes, they are all very strong and have a lot of experience. Although my boss is capable, he is still a little short of getting that position," James said with regret. At this time, AI Ryuosi looked at Chu Ji and said, "Chu, tell me whether I should fight for it or not." Chu Ji hesitated for a moment and said, "This is a big problem. I'm afraid I can't bear this responsibility." "Just tell me, I have my own considerations on whether to do it or not," said Eros. At this time, Li Qing next to him said, "Fight, why not? Just because we are women, we should be weaker. I don't accept it, I must fight." Chu Ji looked at Li Qing, who was full of fighting power, and said with a twitch of his mouth, "Li Qing, how did this get into the issue of men and women?" Cairo May next to him asked, "Boss, did you do something to Li Qing that made her so excited?" Chu Ji looked at Li Qing suspiciously. Had he done anything to her? Li Qing blushed and said, "What I mean is that we women can make our own decisions. Don't always think that we are weak and that we are owed something." Cairo May said, "This sentence contains so much information. It means you want to do something to the boss and then not let the boss be responsible." Li Qing blushed and stopped talking. "This is just a small episode." James said to Chu Ji at this time, "Chu, tell me what you think. Do you think our boss should fight for it?" Chu Ji said, "My suggestion is that Erosi should take a step back and let the 2 senior CEOs compete." "Give up? It's not like I'm giving up. I'm just asking you to take a step back for now and show that you have no intention of competing for the position of general manager. If you let the other 2 CEOs compete, your chances of winning might be better. But this is not absolute and there are certain risks." Eros said, "What kind of risk is this? I am only barely qualified and it is highly likely that the position of general manager will not be mine, so there is no risk for me. You can continue." Chu Ji said, "You are a company after all. It doesn't matter who becomes the general agent. What matters is the profit. Whoever can bring profit to the company is the most important. Obviously, there is a question of seniority here. You are very young and naturally cannot rival the other 2 CEOs in terms of seniority. But as I said, who can bring in profits is the most important. Take a step back, let the two CEOs compete, and let the conflict between them become the main conflict. When they both lose the fight and bring losses to the company, that is the time for you to show your skills. People on the board will naturally be able to tell who is vying for power and who is getting things done. With your ability, it will not be a problem to turn the tide. If the board of directors see that you can bring profits to the company, then you will be the best choice for the European general agent. Otherwise, if you insist on going up to the ring and fighting them, they will definitely be afraid of your ability, and they will most likely unite to deal with you. That's why I said that if you take a step back and let them step forward, you will gain greater benefits. James next to him said, Chu, pardon my words, but how can you be sure that the two CEOs will definitely fight? AI Ruosi also looked at Chu Ji. Chu Ji said, this is human nature. If you have read a book, you will know that this is a cultural attribute and cannot be changed by human will. Who among those who have made it this far is the kind of person who has no desires, no ambitions, and no demands? As long as they have it, they will definitely fight. Even if they don't fight, their subordinates will fight. They have no choice. James looked at Chu Ji in shock. Chu, how did you come up with these ideas? Oh my God, you are really terrible. Chu Ji's face froze slightly. Are you praising me? Clug, clug, clug. AI Ruosi smiled, full of charm. Dear Chu, you helped me solve a big problem, said Heiress. Chu Ji said, I hope I can help you. My trip here will not be in vain. AI Ruoxu leaned over to Chu Ji and said, Chu, I'm serious. Are you willing to stay? Cairo Mei next to him said, I'm afraid this is really not possible. Our President Chu has a lot of assets in China, and his status is even not inferior to your European general agent. AI Ruosi looked at Chu Ji in surprise. In her impression, Chu Ji was still the unknown person who was used as a shield by others. This sudden purchase of the machine is also to serve others. So you bought this machine for your own use. Of course, our President Chu is now the president of Li Corporation, and his shares are second only to the chairman. President, yes, a CEO in your country is indeed as important as a general agent in Europe. Of course, this is just status, but if we talk about strength, there is no comparison. Heiress's company is a world-renowned enterprise and cannot be compared with Li's. Heiress looked disappointed. After dinner, AI Ruoxu took Chu Ji to the hotel room booked for them. Chu Ji was indeed a little tired. After sitting on the plane for such a long time, he should at least adjust to the jet lag. Heiress didn't disturb him, but just agreed to introduce someone to him the next day and then left. Chu Ji took a shower and prepared to rest. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Chu Ji opened the door suspiciously and saw Li Qing appearing at his door in pajamas. Li Qing, the water heater in my room is broken, so I'll take a shower at your place, Li Qing said. While Chu Ji was still in a daze, Li Qing had already walked into the room and entered the bathroom. Chu Ji was speechless. He closed the door and lay down on the bed. I fell asleep without realizing it. He didn't see that the bathroom door was quietly opened, and a delicate and white leg stepped out of the bathroom and walked towards his position. Chu Ji felt like he was hugging a lubricated pillow in his dream. He slept more soundly after holding it tightly in his arms and wrapping it all over. Chapter 180, Su Wan's Importance. The next day, Chu Ji felt refreshed. When he went out, he saw Cairo Mei standing at the door, looking at him with a teasing look on her face. What's wrong? Chu Ji asked. Cairo Mei said, nothing, just to see if someone can get up today. Chu Ji said, what are you talking about? Am I the kind of person who stays in bed all the time? You didn't stay in bed, but someone else did. Who is it? Li Qing, she hasn't woken up yet. Do you want to go call her? Chu Ji said, forget it, I brought her here to relax. Let her do whatever she feels comfortable with. Cairo Mei pursed her lips and smiled. You dote on her. At this time, Su Wan next to him also came over. He looked at Su Wan's dark circles and asked suspiciously, you didn't get enough rest either. Su Wan rolled her eyes at him. Chu Ji was somewhat speechless and took a few steps forward to Su Wan's side. He took 2 deep breaths and looked at her suspiciously and asked, why do you smell so familiar? How can you not be familiar with each other since you are together all day long? Cairo Mei said speechlessly. Really? Chu Ji was a little confused. Su Wan blushed and said, okay, let's go eat. She reached out and held Chu Ji's arm. Chu Ji did not refuse because he was used to this kind of intimacy with Su Wan. It can also be said to be a subtle influence. I don't know since when, his tolerance towards Su Wan has increased. There are some things that he might feel are wrong when Su Zin does them, but he has no objection when Su Wan does them. Arriving at the restaurant, Su-won planned today's breakfast for Chu-ji. Then I watched her take away some high-energy oil. Chu-ji wanted to say something, but when he met Su-won's eyes, he stopped talking and just ate whatever he was told to eat. Kairo-mei next to him looked at Chu-ji and then at Su-won. She felt that she should increase Su-won's importance in Chu-ji's heart. At least from now on, Su-won's importance is far greater than Su-jin, and even Su-ryukshuan. In her impression, among all the women around Chu-ji, only Nan-shu dared to treat Chu-ji like this. Even when it comes to business matters, Nan-shu's influence on Chu-ji is much greater than Su-won's. After dinner, Chu-ji received a call from AI Ryuosi. Said the car was already downstairs of the hotel. Chu-ji said to Su-won, "Wanner, you stay here. Li Ching is still upstairs. I'll take Kairo-mei with me." Su-won was stunned for a moment and said, "Okay." Chu-ji took Kairo-mei downstairs. On the way, Kairo-mei said to Chu-ji, "You have a very special feeling for Su-won." "Is there?" Chu-ji looked at Kairo-mei. "Yes," said Kairo-mei. Chu-ji couldn't help but recall the scenes from the time he and Su-won met to the present. He found that he seemed to have an unspeakable dependence on Su-won. "It was Nanshu who helped me when I was in the most difficult time. He also silently supports me behind my back and never complains about anything." Like a gentle spring breeze, Chu-ji found that there seemed to be a place for Su-won in his heart. He didn't notice it before, but when Kairo-mei asked him this time, he was a little surprised. Chu-ji and Kairo-mei walked out of the hotel. None of them noticed that a beggar-like man next to them was looking at them in astonishment, and then his eyes became extremely resentful. If Chu-ji looked carefully, he would see that the beggar-looking man in front of him was actually Song Lang. Song Lang watched Chu-ji leave in the car and took a few quick steps forward. Then he smiled coldly. "I didn't expect to meet you here. You are asking for death, so you can't blame me." Song Lang turned and left. Chu-ji drove to the door of Heiress's villa. He looked out the window and saw a blonde and blue-eyed foreign youth holding flowers and talking to the camera in front of the villa. Kairo-mei also saw this scene. It seems that AI Ryuosi's suitors are also very crazy. Chu-ji said, "Are they all so direct?" "I think you should learn it," said Kairo-mei. Chu-ji touched his nose and said, "I'm afraid I can't learn it." Kairo-mei raised the corners of her mouth slightly and then shook her head. If Chu-ji was willing, probably all the women around him would become his. And they don't fight with each other. But then again, if Chu-ji was really that kind of person, he probably wouldn't have so many women around him. It's really a contradiction. The car drove straight into the gate of the manor and stopped at the door of the villa. When Chu-ji got out of the car, he saw AI Ryuosi coming out to greet him. AI Ryuoksu's eyes sparkled when she looked at Chu-ji. Kairo-mei couldn't help but feel a little envious. This woman simply combined all the aesthetics of Western and Eastern people. She was so beautiful that it was beyond words. "Chu, you're here," said AI Ryuosi. "Why wouldn't I come when the beautiful Ms. Arrows invites me?" Chu-ji said. AI Ryuosi walked forward, took Chu-ji's arm and walked into the house. Chu-ji said, "When I came here I saw a person outside. Is that your suitor?" "Haha, I guess so, but she is also the person I want to introduce to you. The machine you want is produced by her company." Chu-ji was stunned, then said, "I should go say hello to him." AI Ryuosi asked, "Are you sure you want to go?" Kairo-mei next to him said, "Boss, if you really go, what will that young man think when he sees you coming out of AI Ryuosi's house?" Chu-ji thought for a moment and said, "What's the big deal? He won't say that I'm his love rival, right?" "What do you think?" Kairo-mei covered her mouth and chuckled. Chu-ji was stunned, and his face turned ugly in an instant. "What should we do?" Chu-ji said speechlessly. He and Kairo-mei were speaking Chinese, and AI Ryuosi didn't understand for a moment. "Chu, what are you talking about?" Chu-ji said. "AI Ryuosi, we are talking about how I accidentally became that person's love rival. He probably won't sell me the machine anymore." AI Ryuosi hugged Chu-ji's arms tightly. "Are you confessing to me?" "Okay, I agree." Chu-ji felt a little dizzy. Why did he confess his feelings? "AI Ryuosi, I didn't confess my feelings, did I?" "But I heard it all. You said you were that person's rival in love. Didn't that mean you were confessing your love to me?" I agreed. "Butler, Chu-ji will be the male owner here from now on. Do you understand?" An old butler next to him quickly agreed. "Okay, miss, I'll give the order right away." Chu-ji was shocked and was about to refuse, raising his hand to stop the old butler. But as soon as he raised his hand, Kairo-mei grabbed it and said, "I think it's great. Anything is fine. For the sake of the machine, necessary sacrifices are still necessary. Just think about it. There are tens of thousands of people in the country waiting for you to support them. said Kaio-mei. Chuji was stunned. With this delay, he became the male owner here. Chuji shook his head slightly. It was just a joke anyway, so why should he take it seriously? There must be a reason why AI Ryuoshi is so anxious. He didn't think he was so charming that AI Ryuoshi would marry no one else but him. Chapter 181. The machine is already in hand. When he entered the house, a servant had already prepared clothes for Chuji. AI Ryuoshi said, "Go ahead and change it." "Is this necessary? You need to look more serious later. This outfit you're wearing is inappropriate." Chuji said, "Well, the customs here are really weird." Chuji followed the servant to the next room to change clothes. At this time, the butler next to him came over and said, "The male owner's facial features have been entered into the system. He can enter any part of this manner." "Okay, when we take pictures later you have to capture the best shots, okay?" "Yes, miss." At this time, Chuji changed his clothes and came out. He was wearing a tuxedo because Chuji was tall. The tuxedo perfectly outlines his figure and makes him look even taller. Even though she was used to seeing it, Kaio-mei was stunned at this moment, looking at Chuji with sparkling eyes. She didn't expect Chuji to be so handsome, a tough kind of handsome. Nothing fancy, just cool. AI Ryuoshi's eyes also lit up. She slowly walked towards Chuji and naturally hugged his arms. Just then, someone nearby was taking pictures. Chuji was a little confused. His eyes flickered and he said, "AI Ryuoshi, are you in trouble?" AI Ryuoshi asked, "Why do you say that?" Chuji said, "I feel like you are using me as a shield. Of course I'm not angry, I just think you can tell me clearly, I think I will cooperate." AI Ryuoshi turned his head and looked at Chuji, smiling and said, "Really? Then I really need your cooperation." Chuji felt relieved when he heard this. It turned out that he really had something to ask for. "Isn't this simple? Give me your passport now." Chuji handed over his passport. "This passport is a temporary identity I arranged. I don't know if it will be useful." Arrow's eyes lit up when he heard this. "Really? Is this passport used to identify you as married?" "No, why are you asking?" "Haha, that saves a lot of trouble." Arrows handed the passport to the butler next to him. The old butler took the passport and left. "Tell me, how can we help?" Chuji said. "Aren't you already helping?" said Arrows. Chuji frowned slightly. At this time, AI Ryuoshi said, "Actually, you came at the right time. If it were a little later, I wouldn't be able to help you even if I wanted to." "What do you mean?" "You also know that I come from a big family. I have been married to the Simon family since I was a child, but there is a condition." "What?" "That is, if I don't get married before my 26th birthday, I will go to the Simon family for marriage," said Arrows. Kaio-mei explained at this time. "The Simon family is an ancient family here. It is entirely possible that they have some weird rules." "So, Chu, today is my birthday, but you're here." Chuji suddenly realized. "So that's how it is. You don't want to marry into the Simon family, so you want me to be your shield, right?" AI Ryuoshi said, "Yes." Chuji said, "But the time is too short. The other party will see that we are fake at a glance. I'm afraid it will be difficult to hide it." AI Ryuoshi smiled and said, "Who told you it was fake?" Chuji was a little confused, then said, "How can it not be fake? My passport is fake." Kaio-mei said, "As your passport is real, it's just that you have replaced that person's identity, but you are still you, and it can be checked." Chuji was stunned for a moment. At this time, AI Ryuoshi ordered the person next to him, "Go call Simon in." After a while, the young man who was holding flowers and talking to the camera outside the door came here. The young man looked at AI Ryuoshi and said, "AI Ryuoshi, what else can you say this time? This is God helping us." "Yes, God is omnipotent. As a believer in God, I will naturally be loved by God." The young man, Simon, asked, "So, Arrows, when are we going to have the wedding?" "We are planning to hold it soon, and I will invite you to participate," said Arrows. Simon was a little confused. "Invite me?" "Yes, I invite you to my wedding." AI Ryuoshi took Chuji's hand. Chuji looked at Simon speechlessly, wailing in his heart, thinking that the machine was probably finished this time. As expected, Simon said with a look of disbelief, "No, Arrows, you must be lying to me." "Do you think they look alike?" Arrows looked at Simon cunningly. "You must be lying to me. Why have I never seen him?" Simon looked at Chuji. "He just came recently. He was in his country before," said Arrows. "Aorosi, you are not a casual person. I know this very well. What do you like about him?" Simon did not get angry as Chuji thought, but tried his best to find out the truth of the matter. "Because I think he is very inspiring. I think he is better than you. He just lacks the same foundation as you. If he can have a good family like you, his achievements will definitely be higher than yours, Simon." No, I don't believe it. Although I, Simon, do rely on my family, I also put in my own talents and hard work. You can't deny that. Of course, you graduated from an excellent university. You are excellent. You are undoubtedly qualified to be the heir of the family. Really? You think so too, but why did you choose him? Didn't I say that? I think he is better than you, but he is a little behind because of his lack of foundation. If he can get your family's machine this time, I believe he will surpass you in less than 2 years. No, I don't believe it. I have never seen anyone better than me in Bali, no matter in which aspect. Indeed, you have the most women around you, said AI Ruosi. Haha, Arrows, you should be happy about this. It shows how popular I am. Simon was actually a little complacent. Shouldn't you be happy? I chose you among so many women to be my wife. Arrows shook his head and said, Simon, I don't feel honored. Do you dare to give him a chance? He only needs a few of your machines and he is guaranteed to defeat you. Simon said, Erosi, I know you are trying to arouse my competitive spirit, but I promised. I will give him a chance. I will give him 2 cutting-edge machines and I won't charge him any money. I want to see if he can really catch up with my Simon family in 2 years. Chuji next to him was stunned by what he heard. How could he do this? Without saying a word, he got 2 high-tech machines. Chuji looked at AI Ruosi with gratitude. So this was the reason why he said he wanted to marry her today. He had misunderstood her just now. Chapter 182, Fake Becomes Real. Thinking of this, he reached out and held Arrows' smooth hand tightly. A blush appeared on AI Ruosi's cheeks. She glanced at Chuji but did not pull her hand back. At this time, Simon's eyes were on Cairo May next to him. His eyes were shining. Oh, beautiful lady, please forgive my rudeness just now. I actually ignored such a beautiful woman like you. It's really wrong. Simon handed the flowers in his hand to Cairo May and said, Beautiful lady, are you willing to accept my flowers? Cairo May chuckled and said, I don't dare to ask for it. Simon was not embarrassed. He just shook his head speechlessly and said, That's really a pity. I really want you to be my girlfriend. Cairo May asked, If I am willing, how many girlfriends would I be? Simon said, Well, let me think about this, the 20th one. Chuji's mouth twitched. Wasn't it inappropriate to say this in front of his fiancée? However, seeing that Arrows looked accustomed to it, it was obvious that he had long been immune to He-Man's practices. At this time, Simon looked at Chuji and said, My competitor, you haven't won yet. I won't give up on Arrows. 2 years, I'll give you 2 years. If you can't surpass me within 2 years, then Arrows will be mine. Chuji frowned and said, Simon, I don't know what the rules are here, but in our place, every woman is independent and has her own dignity. They are not commodities, nor objects of gambling. Whether you can marry Arrows depends on whether Arrows likes you, not on this kind of gambling. Besides, I don't think I have the qualifications to make this decision on behalf of Arrows. So even if I don't want your machine, I won't agree to your request at. Arrows trembled all over. She turned her head to look at Chuji, her bright eyes full of tenderness. Chu, you know, these are the most beautiful words of love I have ever heard. AI Ruosi hugged Chuji. She did not hide her emotions at all. Chuji was a little embarrassed, but did not push her away. Simon was stunned for a moment and said, Chu, I have to say that your idea is very special. This is something I have never thought of. Cairo May then explained in Chuji's ear. In these ancient families, women have no status. The older the family, the more it is like living in a slave society. Chuji frowned, then looked at AI Ruosi next to him. It was hard to imagine that such an outstanding woman could be born in such a family. Simon seemed to still not give up on Cairo May, and he had already approached Cairo May to talk. Cairo May did not refuse and talked to him with a sweet smile. Chuji could feel the admiration for Cairo May in Simon's eyes. Is he so serious every time? Chuji couldn't help but ask AI Ruosi beside him. AI Ruosi looked at Simon and Cairo May and said, No, I think Simon might be really serious this time. Chuji frowned when he heard this. He didn't like Cairo May getting involved with this kind of playboy. AI Ruosi said, Let's go to the garden, don't worry about Simon. Although he is very rich and powerful, he can't do anything that is against the will of others. If Cairo May doesn't want to, he will never do anything to her. You can understand that this is the personal accomplishment that their family should have. Chuji thought about it, looked at Cairo May, and found that the other party did not show any intention of rejection, so he nodded and agreed to Erosi's suggestion. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye it was noon. Simon didn't leave either. It seemed that he was really attracted to Cairo May. However, Cairo May always maintained an attitude of neither refusing nor taking the initiative, which made Simon seem a little anxious. This is going to ruin my mentality. At this time, the housekeeper who was out came back, handed Eros 2 small notebooks, and said 2 words in Eros's ear. Eros turned his head and glanced at Chuj with surprise in his eyes. Chuji looked at AI Ruosi with some suspicion and asked, "Is there any problem?" "No problem, the certificate has been issued, and you and I are already husband and wife." Chuji first looked at his and AI Ruosi's marriage certificate and was a little dumbfounded. "Isn't it just a shield? How can it be stamped? Now you can get married without anyone being there. Or does Eros have some special privileges?" AI Ruosi continued, "Now it's all right. Even if you haven't divorced, I can still marry you in another identity." "What does this mean? I'm not divorced." "That's right, you and Su Ruoxuan are still married. So the marriage relationship between you and me is only valid here, or in the area where you obtain your new identity. But I won't be recognized in your country, but it doesn't matter, I don't care. Otherwise, I will apply for a Cameroonian nationality for you, then you can marry many wives," AI Ruosi said with a smile. Chuji was shocked. Is it possible to play like this? However, when Kaio Mei, who was standing next to him, heard what AI Ruosi said, her eyes suddenly lit up, and an arc that could not be suppressed appeared at the corner of her mouth. But Chuji was a little confused now. He and Su Ruoxian had clearly gone through the divorce procedures, right? How come they didn't get divorced? Chuji now has mixed feelings. He took out his cell phone and wanted to call Su Ruoxuan, but after thinking it over, he decided not to. He thought it would be better to ask the matter in person. Su Ruoxuan gave everything she had to help him, and it would be a lie if she said she wasn't touched. Chuji was in a state of confusion for a moment. As if she had noticed Chuji's thoughts, Kairo Mei said, "Actually, you don't have to think so much if you want to be a scumbag. You can try it." "What?" "I have to say that Simon is very efficient. The machine was ready in about a week, which was already very efficient, and Kairo Mei's contribution was definitely part of it." Simon was eager to show off in front of Kairo Mei, so he appeared particularly attentive. "I heard that the machine was completed in such a short time because of Simon's personal supervision." Chuji hurried to the hotel. "That's right, he has been staying at Eros's place for the past week. Eros has helped so much, so he also needs to be a shield for Eros. Anyway, this is not the first time I have done this, so I have experience." This week, someone from the Eros family came to see Chuji. Unlike in China, the people in Eros's family were much more polite to Chuji, and they were not sarcastic. It seemed that they would not have any objections as long as Eros was willing. Chuji asked AI Ruosi, "Isn't it a pity for the family to lose the marriage with Simon?" Eros replied, "What a pity! Why should I feel pity? As long as I marry Simon, I will be a member of the Simon family. I will have no relationship with my original family. I will not use the Simon family to do anything for my original family, because the moment I married into the Simon family, I was a true member of the Simon family. So Chu, I am now married to you. According to our rules, my full name is now Eros Chu, and everything I do in the future will be based on your interests." Chapter 183, Incoming Attack. When AI Ruosi said this, she was half undressed and crawling in front of him, which made his heart beat faster. He had to say that AI Ruosi was the most charming woman he had seen since Zhu Wongking, especially her appearance that is a combination of Eastern and Western styles, which is simply a must-have for men. And there was a special aura lingering around her, which kept arousing his nerves. Chuji suppressed the temptation in his heart with his strong rationality. He and Eros just help each other. AI Ruosi might have feelings for him, but he couldn't have feelings for AI Ruosi. But AI Ruosi obviously didn't think so. While Chuji was stunned, she had already snuggled into Chuji's arms. Chuji felt the delicate warmth and smoothness in his arms. Smell that unique scent. There was a flash of red in his eyes. What? The next day, Chuji woke up and looked at AI Ruosi beside him. He slowly got up. He rubbed his forehead, but he couldn't help it after all. "If I hold back, I wouldn't be a normal man." When I arrived at the hotel, I saw Kairo Mei, Su Wan and Li Qing whispering about something. Su Wan and Li Qing's cheeks were red. Seeing Chuji coming, several women looked a little flustered, which made Chuji a little suspicious. "What are you talking about? Don't ask about our women's affairs," Li Qing said. Su Wan also smiled and said, "You're lucky." Chuji was stunned when he heard this and said, "A bargain for me? What bargain did I get?" Several women blushed and said nothing. At this moment in Eros's manner, Eros was lying lazily on the bed, too lazy to move. Then she slowly opened her beautiful eyes. Thinking of the fierce figure last night, her eyes became hazy. "Bah, beast," she murmured. Eros got up and a maid came in. Ai Ruosi said, "From today on, I have to put my hair up, you know. I'm married now, so I can't have hair like a girl anymore." In the hotel, Su-wan said, "Since the machine is already on board, shouldn't we go back too?" Chu-ji said, "It's time to go back, but don't worry. It will take at least 10 days or half a month for the machine to arrive in China. We can relax here and have some fun." Li Qing was very happy to hear this and shouted that she wanted to go out and take pictures. Chu-ji naturally agreed. At this time, it was just in a remote disco. Song Lang was talking to someone. "Yes, I saw him again. He was in that hotel," Song Lang said. Opposite Song Lang was a thin, middle-aged man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks. "Is he the one who caused Zyro Han to die in prison?" The middle-aged man spoke gloomily, his voice as sharp as a eunuch. "Yes, if he hadn't intervened at the critical moment. Zyro Han might have gotten the beauty, and Sue's would have been yours sooner or later. It will be difficult for you to gain a foothold in Jinghai." The middle-aged man narrowed his eyes slightly, revealing murderous intent. At this time, someone came in from outside. "Boss, the target has left the hotel and seems to be going out to play." "Okay, send someone to follow," said the middle-aged man. Song Lang on the opposite side said at this time, "Mr. Zhao, I have done a great service to the Zhao family, don't you think? Haha, don't worry, I won't treat my own people unfairly. As long as you don't leave Bali, I guarantee that you will be safe," the middle-aged man said sinisterly, and then threw a bag of white powder to Song Lang. Song Lang's eyes lit up, and he pounced on the small bag of powder like a dog. Looking at Song Lang's current appearance, the middle-aged man showed a hint of sarcasm. At this time, Chu Ji was visiting Bali with 3 women. Every woman wants to take photos, but they must be taken by Chuj. Just as Chu Ji was walking on the road with the 3 women, a motorcycle drove towards him. When approaching Chu Ji, the other party took out a knife from his arms. Su-wan was the first to notice something was wrong. She pulled Chu Ji hard and stood in front of him. Chu Ji was stunned at first, then he saw a cold light slashing towards Su-wan. Chu Ji also subconsciously pulled Su-wan. Su-wan's body suddenly moved backward due to inertia, but the machete still hit her shoulder, and Su-wan let out a muffled groan. Li Qing and Cairo May were so frightened that their faces turned pale. But when that man saw that he failed, he got out of the car and rushed towards Chu Ji again. Li Qing didn't know where she got the courage from, but she opened her arms and stood in front of Chu Ji and Su-wan, who were already lying on the ground. Cairo May even waved the bag in her hand and threw it at the person who came. Just then 2 people rushed out from the side, and one of them kicked the thug who attacked Chu Ji away. The other one rushed towards another motorcyclist nearby. A knife-handed chop hit the opponent's throat, subduing him. Chu Ji held Su-wan in his arms with a look of intense fear in his eyes. He was pale and trembling all over. He held Su-wan tightly in his arms. Su-wan, Su-wan, how are you? Take a taxi to the hospital. Take a taxi to the hospital. Hurry up." Chu Ji spoke a little unclearly. Fortunately, Cairo May quickly stopped a taxi. Chu Ji carried Su-wan into the car and rushed to the hospital. The wound on Su-wan's shoulder was very deep, but no bones were broken. Su-wan looked at Chu Ji's pale face distressedly and comforted him. "Don't worry, I'm fine. It's just a superficial wound." "You lost a lot of blood, you lost a lot of blood." Chu Ji's voice was hoarse. Su-wan looked up and was shocked to find that the city lord had tears in his eyes and looked terrified. Su-wan's heart twitched. "I feel like it's worth it even if I die in your arms." "Don't talk nonsense, you will be fine, you will be fine," Chu Ji said hurriedly. Because the wound was so deep, stitches were necessary. Su-wan also fell into a deep sleep due to excessive blood loss. Chu Ji stayed by Su-wan's side all the time, never leaving for a moment. It was not until this time that Chu Ji truly realized how important Su-wan was in his heart. He had never dared to face it before, but now he had to admit that Su-wan had unknowingly become a part of his soul. Thinking about losing Su-wan, Chu Ji felt a pain as if his soul was being torn apart. All men have possessiveness. He had always restrained himself in the past, but he doesn't want to restrain himself anymore. Su-wan is his, and no one can take her away from him. In the middle of the night, Su-wan woke up. She turned her head and saw Chu Ji's slightly haggard face. "Wanner, are you awake?" Chu Ji's eyes showed surprise. I'm fine, don't worry." Su-wan stretched out her hand towards Chu Ji. Chu Ji quickly grabbed Su-wan's hand tightly. Su-wan could feel Chu Ji's body trembling. Hug me," Su-wan said. Chu Ji hugged Su-wan without hesitation. He gently held her in his arms. Chapter 184 Want More. Su-wan reached out and gently patted Chu Ji's back and said, Don't worry, this is just a minor injury and it won't cause any trouble. Chu Ji buried his head in Su Wan's neck, breathing in her scent. Don't do this again in the future, I can't bear it. Su Wan heard Chu Ji's murmurs in her ear and turned her head to look at Chu Ji. Then she took the opportunity to kiss Chu Ji's lips. Chu Ji was stunned at first, then responded actively, appearing a little greedy. Su Wan was instantly lost in Chu Ji's kiss. She responded greedily as well. This was a scene she had dreamt of countless times, and now it had finally come true. Su Wan was a little lost, and her hand reached out to Chu Ji's chest. Cough, cough, a slight cough sounded from the side. Chu Ji was awakened at this time, and reluctantly let go of Su Wan's lips. Turning his head, he saw Li Qing looking at them with a smile. It seems that I am disturbing your good thing. Chu Ji blushed a little. Li Qing said, the doctor said that the wound is not serious and the patient can be discharged from the hospital as soon as he wakes up. Just avoid strenuous exercise. Kairome smiled coquettishly and said, you two were quite intense just now. Ah, Su Wan couldn't stand it anymore and covered her head with the quilt. She was really impulsive just now and actually wanted more. And at this time, in a certain manner, Zhu Wongking said with a sullen face, investigate and see who it is. I will make them pay the price. At the same time, Arrows made a phone call. Bolt, how dare you touch my people? You are very good. It seems that our cooperation is coming to an end. Oh, no, 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 I don't know about this matter, Miss Arrows. Don't worry, I will get to the bottom of it for you. It must be those people from the Black Hand Society who did it. I will make them pay. That night, the streets of Bali were far from peaceful, with gunshots being heard in every unseen corner. The police station in Bali was in a panic. They didn't know what was going on, but they had received several calls to the police, and every time they went there, the ground was covered in blood. Damn, what are they doing? Are they fighting? The police chief was furious. Such a big thing happened during his tenure, but it was his negligence. The police chief was annoyed. At the same time, in a manner, a blonde and blue-eyed foreigner slapped the thin middle-aged man of the Zhao family in the face. Fuck, how many people did you mess with? It's okay for the guy named Zhu, but you even messed with that bastard Bolt. Bolt is a bastard. He has the support of Simon and Arrow's families and is very rich. I don't dare to do anything to him. How dare you and them provoke him? Is this your first time here, you bastard? Don't you even know what's going on here? The middle-aged man surnamed Zhao lowered his head like a pug and dared not speak. I didn't know that guy was so close to AI Ruosi. If I knew, how could I dare to do anything? HMPH, you've caused me a great loss this time. How do you think you're going to compensate me? The blonde-haired, blue-eyed foreigner looked sinisterly at the middle-aged man named Zhao. Cold sweat ran down the middle-aged man's forehead. Then he said, Mr. Hands, whatever you say is fine. You can't stay here anymore, otherwise I can't protect you. Go back to your country. I hope you still remember what you promised me. Don't worry, Mr. Hands. With your help, my Zhao family is no longer the same Zhao family as before. When I return to Jinghai, I will make sure to let them know who is the real boss of Jinghai. The middle-aged man, surnamed Zhao, had a crazy look in his eyes at this time. What? The middle-aged man, surnamed Zhao, returned to his residence. Go and bring that idiot Song Lang to me. In a dark secret room, Song Lang was hung up. He looked at the middle-aged man walking towards him with horror and said, Mr. Zhao, I was wrong. Can you let me go? Let you go? You almost made me lose my biggest backer, and you said you want me to let you go. Song Lang didn't expect that you would still have tricks against me even after all this. I want you to know the consequences of using me. Come on, give him some information. The thin middle-aged man patted Song Lang's face and said, Such a pretty face makes me sick. Let's start from here. No, 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 I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please let me go. At this time, a man came forward with a red-hot iron in his hand. The man grabbed Song Lang's hair and put the branding iron on Song Lang's face without hesitation. A heart-wrenching scream rang out. Then there was the aroma of roasted meat. The middle-aged man watched all this with a smile. Wake him up with the water and then continue. Let him feed my little darlings at night. The middle-aged man laughed like a devil. In the middle of the night, a broken human body was thrown into a cage full of vicious dogs. A creepy chewing sound accompanied by groans came out from the cage. Someone was recording the video with great interest nearby. It took a week for Su Wan to fully recover. At least the injured area is not so red and swollen anymore. At this time, Chu Ji was feeding Su Wan with his own hands, although Su Wan can already move her arms freely. But Su Wan did not reject Chu Ji's kindness. She squinted her eyes and quietly enjoyed Chu Ji's concern for her. After dinner, Chu Ji cleaned up. Su Wan suddenly asked, "Can you help me take a bath? Take a shower. I'll go call Li Qing and the others over." "No, I want you to help me wash." Su Wan acted coquettishly. Chu Ji nodded and said, "Okay, I'll help you wash it." The bathroom has a charming atmosphere and is full of spring colors. After helping Su Wan wash, Chu Ji came out holding Su Wan in his arms. Chu Ji was also sweating profusely at this time. Of course not because of tiredness, but because of being too angry. He also went into the bathroom and took a quick shower. Suppress your anger. Outside, Su Wan was lying limply on the bed, too lazy to move a finger. At this time, there was a knock on the door, and Li Qing and Cairo Mei walked in. They all live in Heiress's villa now. Cairo Mei looked at Chu Ji and said, "Aj, you are truly amazing." "What?" Chu Ji was wrapped in a bath towel with his upper body exposed, and was being stared at by three women, feeling a little uncomfortable. Especially Li Qing. Her eyes kept scanning Chu Ji's chest, and she actually felt a little greedy. "It's the position of European General Agent that Heiress mentioned. This time, Heiress is the final winner," Cairo Mei said. "That's right. Now Heiress is about to start work at the European headquarters." As they were talking, AI Ruosi came over. She hugged Chu Ji without hesitation and kissed him. "Chu, you are really awesome. I did as you said and became the general manager of Europe. My strength has more than doubled this time," said Heiress. Chu Ji said, "It's nothing, we just go with the flow." Chapter 185, Let's have a good talk. AI Ruosi said, "Dear Chu, don't be modest, you are really excellent. You are the man chosen by me, AI Ruosi." Chu Ji then said, "AI Ruosi, I'm afraid you will be going to the European headquarters soon, right?" "Yes, but I will come back here. I'm just going to take up the post and I can choose any office I want." "Erosi, I think it's time for us to return home." Eros became visibly frustrated. "Chu, are you going to abandon me?" "Of course not, you are my wife. I will be responsible for you unless you choose to leave me," Chu Ji said. AI Ruosi said, "Chu, I am not the kind of woman who changes her mind easily. I will wait for you to come back here." Chu Ji said, "Of course, you can also come to me." AI Ruosi said, "Chu, you must stay with me tonight." Of course, Chu Ji would not refuse. "Just go." On the morning of the third day, Chu Ji boarded the plane back home. It arrived in the country almost together with the purchased machine. When the machine was delivered to the base, the whole base was in an uproar. This means that the country's most advanced chip manufacturing industry has been established here. At the same time, the professors who were studying the destroyed machine have also overcome the most difficult problems, and are expected to not only repair the machine, but even build their own chip manufacturing machine within the next 2 years. This progress is undoubtedly huge. Chu Ji's worth has risen a lot again. He has become a rising star in Jinghai. The Su family, the head of the Su family regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. If he had taken it seriously earlier, Chu Ji would not have slipped away from his hands. But who can I blame for this? Wasn't I angry because of Su Ruoxian's sudden marriage? He knew clearly that other members of the Su family looked down on Chu Ji, but he didn't stand up to stop them. Next came Su Pin, and then his own brother and sister-in-law, who hurt Chu Ji time and time again. Even a heart of stone would be pierced with holes at this time. On the contrary, the Li family actually got a huge bargain for nothing. I thought the Li family would decline rapidly due to the death of the head of the Li family. Who could have thought that Chu Ji would come in so powerfully and turn the tide? As long as Li Yao is not a fool and holds on to Chu Ji tightly, the Li family will never decline. Is Li Yao a fool? Of course not. Her ability may not be as good as Su Ruoxuan's, but she knows clearly what to do and what not to do. "Come home with me for dinner today." Li Yao came to Chu Ji's office and sat at his desk. "The perfect curve of the hips is breathtaking." Chu Ji said, "I'm afraid that won't work. Things are almost done and I should take care of my personal affairs." "Private matter? What's the matter?" Li Yao leaned over and looked at Chu Ji. The fullness of the chest is faintly visible. Chu Ji was not embarrassed. After all, he had seen it, and it was more than just a simple look. "It's my business, Ruoxians. I clearly remember going through the divorce procedures with Ruoxian, but my file shows that Ruoxian and I are still husband and wife." Li Yao said, "Really? Then you have to deal with it quickly. What are your plans after you and Su Ruoxian divorce?" "Intend. You can't be single forever, right? How about I marry you?" Chu Ji looked at Li Yao's handsome and charming face and said, "Why? You want to marry me?" "Of course, how about I take the entire Li family as my dowry?" "Haha, you're so generous that I don't dare to refuse." "Then it's settled." "No, I was just joking." Li Yao snorted and tried to get down from the table. I don't know if it was intentional, but she sat down in Chu Ji's arms. Chu Ji hugged her subconsciously. When I looked down, I saw the sly smile on Li Yao's face. At this time, Li Yao possessed Chu Ji and whispered in his ear, "Do you want to come to my place tonight? I have a whip." Chu Ji's eyes wandered and he said, "This is not good." "What's the big deal? You've already done it once, so why not do it this time?" Li Yao was like a devil bewitching Chu Ji. Thinking of the scene in the private room that day, Chu Ji's face turned red. It seems that except for the last step, everything has been done. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Li Yao left Chu Ji's arms dissatisfied and went forward to open the door. It's Cairo Mei. He is Chu Ji's personal assistant now, so naturally she will be wherever Chu Ji is. "Boss, do you want me to take you home?" Cairo Mei looked at Chu Ji coquettishly. In Bali, she could make Simon dizzy with just one look. Cairo Mei made great efforts to get the machine so quickly. When in Bali, Simon wanted to invite Cairo Mei to lunch more than once, but was rejected by Cairo Mei every time. But Simon is a stubborn man, and he will not give up until he achieves his goal, so he sends flowers and cars. In Cairo Mei's words, "He may not like me that much, he just enjoys the feeling of conquering a woman, so I give him this feeling, making him feel that he has succeeded, but he hasn't succeeded. This is called suspense." I have to say that Cairo Mei had a direct grasp on Simon. In the end, Chu Ji even suspected that Simon's feelings for Cairo Mei were no longer just a simple conquest, but that he was really attracted to her. But in the end, Cairo Mei rejected Simon decisively. To outsiders, this may seem incredible. After all, the Simon family is a wealthy family in the local area. As long as Cairo Mei agrees, she will be the future mistress of the Simon family. Perhaps only Cairo Mei knew why she rejected Simon's courtship. Chu Ji said at this time, "No need, you should go back and rest early." Chu Ji refused Cairo Mei's request to send him off. Cairo Mei was somewhat dissatisfied. When he returned home, he saw lights coming from his own house downstairs. He went upstairs, opened the door, and saw Su Ruoxuan bringing soup out of the kitchen. Chu Ji was slightly stunned. As a rich lady, when has Su Ruoxuan ever entered the kitchen? I didn't expect that she has learned to cook now. For whom? For him. Chu Ji's heart trembled slightly. "Ruoxian, I was a bit busy when I just got back, so we didn't have time to sit down and chat." Su Ruoxian smiled and said, "I know what you want to say, but if they didn't divorce, then they didn't divorce. The seal doesn't count because the other party was careless and didn't take off the lid." Chu Ji was a little speechless. "I will not divorce you unless I die." Su Ruoxuan walked in front of Chu Ji and looked up at her. Chu Ji looked at Su Ruoxuan deeply. Even his iron-hard mind couldn't help but tremble at this moment, because the woman in front of him has given everything for him. It seemed like I had no reason to reject him. He wanted to accept her, but Chu Ji was a little hesitant. Unlike other women, he had no confidence in Su Ruoxuan. Looking at Su Ruoxuan, who was staring at him seriously, Chu Ji told himself that he should try to open his heart to her. Su Ruoxuan reached out and gently stroked Chu Ji's face, and her clothes slipped off. Chapter 186, Returning in Time. Just then, there was a movement at the door. Chu Zu pushed the door open and walked in. When he looked up, he saw a crystal-clear jade foot quickly disappear into his sister-in-law's room. Chu Zu was slightly stunned. "Why are you so flustered, sister-in-law?" Chu Zu walked into the room and sat on the sofa, but she saw some clothes at her brother's feet not far away. "Why are my sister-in-law's clothes here?" Chu Zu recognized Su Ruoxuan's pajamas at a glance. Su Ruoxian came out at this time, wearing a pair of underwear. She hurried over and said, "Oh, I was going to wash it and put it here for the time being." Chu Zu said, "Sister-in-law, why are you blushing?" "Is there?" "No." Su Ruoxuan hurried back to the house holding the clothes, but she looked a little strange when she walked. Chu Zu shrugged and said, "Brother, I have an exam the day after tomorrow." Chu Ji came over and asked, "Are you sure this time?" "Well, I'm confident. My performance in the recent mock exams is pretty good, so it shouldn't be a problem for me to get into Jinghai University," Chu Zu said. "That's good. Once you get into college, this place will be yours." "What? The house is given to me. I bought it under your name. What's wrong?" "Brother, I really love you so much." Chu Zu hugged Chu Ji. Then she sniffed Chu Ji's neck and said, "Brother, why do you have the same scent as sister-in-law?" Chu Ji's old face turned red. Chu Zu said, "Oh, I see, brother, you're not honest." Chu Ji said, "Put away your little thoughts, wash your hands, and eat." Chu Zu made a face at Chu Ji, snorted coldly, and sat down next to the dining table. At this time, Su Ruoxian came out. "Chu Zu, I'll serve you some food." Sister-in-law, what gift will you give me when I get admitted to Jinghai? Chu Zhu asked. Chu Ji frowned and said, how can you be so blatant as to blackmail others? Tusk, is my sister-in-law someone else? Do you think I would take the initiative to ask my sister-in-law for a gift before today? Su Ruoxian smiled happily. Your brother said the house is yours, so I will give you a car. Ah, no, it's too expensive. I just want a set of cosmetics, Chu Zhu said hurriedly. She never expected Su Ruoxian to be so wealthy. Chu Ji said, there's no need for a car, she can drive my car. His Buick is pretty good and very suitable for beginners to practice. I don't feel bad if it gets bumped or bruised. The car he is driving now is the Cullinan given by Li Yao. He also drives that car when he goes out for social events. The Buick is idle anyway, so he might as well give it to Chu Zhu to practice with. Yes, I can just drive my brother's car, and sister-in-law, you can just give her a set of cosmetics, Chu Zhu said. Okay, no problem. Su Ruoxian was overjoyed. Chu Zhu's words showed that she now truly recognized her sister-in-law, and from today on, she felt that he was a real member of the Chu family. Chu Ji looked at the smiling Su Ruoxian and breathed a sigh of relief. He almost couldn't control himself. Fortunately, Chu Zhu came back in time. At this time, Zhang Heng from the Zhang family was released. Because he had made significant contributions in prison, he was released early. He was sitting in front of Zhang's father and looking at him with cold eyes. He was blaming Zhang's father for not saving him. He didn't believe that with the strength of the Zhang family, he would have to spend nearly 2 years in jail. The only reason is that the Zhang family doesn't think highly of him. Zhang Bo, the real descendant of the Zhang family, probably wished he could die in prison. Nearly 2 years in jail had brought about a drastic change in his temperament. In the past, Zhang Heng still had a bit of the immaturity of a student. But now Zhang Heng seems much more mature and gloomier. The whole person is like a poisonous snake hiding in the dark, and you never know when he will launch a fatal attack. You need me? Tell me what you want me to do, Zhang Heng asked with a twitch of his lips. How dare you talk to me like that? I'm your father. Zhang's father was dissatisfied with Zhang Heng's attitude. Yes, you are my father, I didn't say no, right? I just want to know why you rescued me now, Zhang Heng said in a faint voice. Since I let you out, of course I have to give you a chance. What? Did you know that you still have a third master? Him, what happened? He's old and can't do much anymore. I want you to go with him and gain some experience, said Zhang's father. Zhang Heng's eyes flickered. He certainly knew what his so-called third master did. Although we don't have much contact, I have still heard some things about him. Haha, which play are you singing? Zyro Heng, you've been in prison. When you get out, whatever you do will be labeled. You won't be able to do a decent business. So you want me to follow him, to do something shady in secret. Haha, it's great that you can think of this. Don't refuse it yet. This is an opportunity for you. According to the information I received, Qin Wanshu from the Qin family is about to return to China. At the same time, Li Yao from the Li family is also single now. If you can handle one of them, or if you can handle all of them, then your achievements will definitely be limitless. Zhang Heng narrowed his eyes slightly. Qin Wanshu might be back in a while. Li Qing brought the news later. Chu Ji was a little stunned when he heard the news. But it only took a moment for things to return to normal. It's not a good thing to stay abroad all the time. It's a good thing to come back, Chu Ji said. Is that all you want to say? Anything else? Chu Ji looked at Li Qing puzzledly. I'm planning to host a welcoming party for Wanshu. Do you want to come? Li Qing asked. Chu Ji said, no, what happened between Wanshu and I is in the past. Let's not bother each other anymore. Looking at the indifferent Chu Ji, Li Qing sighed slightly. They were such a perfect match before, but they have ended up like this today. It really shows how unpredictable things are. Chu Ji was in the office of Li Building at this time. Now he has moved all his properties here that can be moved here. If the Su family could not do without Su Ruoxian would have come here to take up the position now. But it was only a matter of time before she came, because Su Ruoxian already considered herself a member of the Chu family. If she didn't take care of her own business, how would she have time to take care of her mother's family's business? Of course, it was because it was her mother's family's property, so she was embarrassed to just leave. Now she still asks Chu Ji's cheap father-in-law to find a professional manager. This made Su's father very anxious. I originally wanted to recruit a son-in-law, but now, with Chu Ji's current net worth, how can I find a son-in-law who lives with the family? Chapter 187, Find a talent better than Chu Ji. Su family. Su Ruoxian's stepmother looked at Su's father and said, How about Wanner replace Ruoxian and join the company? This has always been her dream. Wanner? No, Wanner has already taken over other industries, and it is not convenient for her to interfere in the affairs of the group. Father Su refused. My stepmother was speechless. What do we do now? Father Su said, I don't have any good solution. My daughter knows very well that once she makes a decision, it is difficult for her to change her mind. Stepmother asked, how about I introduce a date to Ruoxian? Do you think Ruoxian is willing? That's because we haven't found anyone better. If there is a young talent better than Chu Ji, I don't believe Ruoxian won't be tempted, said the stepmother. Father Su said speechlessly, all right, stop interfering. There are people who are better than Chu Ji, but do you think such an outstanding person will marry into our Su family? That's just a woman's opinion. The stepmother stamped her feet in dissatisfaction. His face was full of dissatisfaction. I just don't believe it. I can't find someone better than Chu Ji, muttered the stepmother. At this time, at a port, a ship docked. A thin, middle-aged man got off the boat and stepped carefully onto the ground. I Zhaoxi am back again. Zhu family, Su family, Qin family, and Li family, all of you just wait for me. The middle-aged man looked towards the direction of Jinghai with a gloomy expression. At this time, a handsome young man followed down. I haven't been back for many years. I didn't expect that this place has developed so fast. I can't even recognize it, said the young man. Boar, you were only a teenager when you left here. 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye, and you are already 26. Uncle, I'm only 26. I'm still very young, don't talk like I'm old, said the young man. Haha, Zyro Han is dead. Although I had no intention of letting him live, I can do it myself. If others do it, it would be a provocation to our Zhao family. Whether you can save your dignity depends on you. Don't worry, uncle, I know what to do. The young man, Zhao Bo, had a playful smile on his face. They soon settled down, in a remote manner on the outskirts of Jinghai. In the living room, someone placed a stack of information in front of Zhao Bo. Zhao Bo picked up the information and looked at the first page, and what he saw was Chu Ji's photo. This turned out to be a personal information file about Chu Ji. It not only records Chu Ji's height and blood type, but also Chu Ji's personality traits and the things he has done in the past. As the saying goes, knowing yourself and your enemy ensures victory in 100 battles. Zyro Han just didn't grasp this point, and in the end he was beaten to death without knowing where he went wrong. We can't follow his old path. Zhao Bo flipped through the pages one by one. With a sarcastic smile on his face, he said, this Chu Ji is really a rare, good man. He has lived with Su Ruoxian for such a long time and has never touched her. To put it nicely, he is loyal in love, but to put it bluntly, he is a coward. What are you going to do? Haha, since he doesn't want it. What do you think would happen if I won Su Ruoxian's heart and had her to assist me? Are you following Zyro Han's old path? Haha, Zyro Han, he is a fool. He failed despite such a good opportunity. If it were me, I would have a child, Zhao Bo chuckled. The thin, middle-aged man fell into deep thought after hearing this. Yes, that's what we expected at the beginning. In terms of business talent, Su Ruoxian is definitely second to none. If our family wants to restore its former glory, we can't do without such talents. But Su Ruoxian is not so easy to control. Are you sure you can control her? Uncle, don't worry. She is a woman after all. Women all have weaknesses, and children are their greatest weakness. When I let her have a child, you think she will serve us obediently. After all, she has our Zhao family's seed. A lewd smile appeared on Zhao Bo's lips. Okay, we can give it a try. We can make 2 preparations. You can go ahead and do it with Su Ruoxian, but don't learn from Zyro Han. You have to do it cleanly and neatly. Zhao Bo said, don't worry, I know what to do. At this time, in a banquet, Su Ruoxian's stepmother was talking to a woman next to her. I only heard the woman say, one of our nephews returned home these 2 days. He graduated from a famous foreign university. Not only is he handsome, but he is also capable and gets a scholarship every year at school. This time I returned to China to start my own business. The company is not big, but it makes a lot of money. Su Ruoxian's stepmother's eyes lit up when she heard this. Is your nephew married? He is very career-oriented. He is not married yet and has never even had a relationship. Now he is single. I want to find a good girl for him, said the woman. Su Ruoxian's stepmother's eyes flickered. At this time, another woman came over and said, could your nephew be the genius who was the general manager of a multinational company? Hey, how do you know my nephew worked in a multinational company? Hey, after hearing what you said, how could we not know? How many people in Jinghai have this ability? I heard that he was recommended to go out at the beginning. I have a daughter at home. She is a little older, already 28 years old. Do you think it is possible for her to meet your nephew? Seeing that they were chatting enthusiastically, Su Ruoxian's stepmother also said anxiously, Our Ruoxian is also single. I think they are a good match. After the banquet, Su Ruoxian's stepmother hurried back home. He said to Father Su, Master, I have found a good match for Ruoxian this time. Father Su was stunned and asked, What do you mean by a good match? Oh, I just found a good partner for Ruoxian. He is a rare talent. He has been an excellent student since childhood and was recommended to study abroad. He received scholarships every year abroad and has also worked as a manager in a multinational company. Because his grandmother passed away and his uncle who adopted him was the only one left at home, he gave up his job abroad and started his own business. Now his company has grown to a small scale. Father Su said, You've worked in a multinational company, are you sure? Of course, it would be a shame to miss such an outstanding talent. You should hurry up and let Ruoxian come back to meet him. Maybe she will like him. Father Su said, Forget it. Let Ruoxian worry about her own affairs. The stepmother said, Why are you so careless? She's your daughter. Do you want her to live out her life alone? Father Su said, Don't talk nonsense about dying alone. But why are you so concerned about Ruoxian's personal problems? Su Ruoxian's stepmother said, I am concerned about Ruoxian. She is old enough and it's time for her to get married and have children. Don't you want to be a grandfather? Father Su was speechless but somewhat moved. Chapter 188, Su Ruoxian's Appreciation. The stepmother rolled her eyes and said, Okay, don't hesitate, let Ruoxian see it first. If she doesn't like it, she can refuse. Father Su asked, Do you think Ruoxian will go on a blind date? Thinking of Su Ruoxian's cold look, stepmother also frowned. I don't know what's so good about Chu Ji, but Ruoxian chose him. Suddenly, my stepmother's eyes lit up and she said, Boss, aren't you looking for a professional manager? What's wrong? Then why don't you let that guy give it a try? He used to be a manager in a multinational company. He's qualified to be a president here. You put him next to Ruoxian. On the surface, it's a handover, but do you think Ruoxian will be attracted to him when she sees him? Father Su asked, Will he be willing? Of course he would. He just started his own business. And although the company is small, it's definitely not huge. Being able to join our Su group is a great thing for him. After all, he doesn't have to start from scratch and has plenty of time to take care of his uncle. Don't worry about this. I'll go and talk to him, and I guarantee he'll agree. Father Su nodded and said, If he is really as good as you say, there is no harm in giving it a try. My stepmother left happily. Father Su looked at his young wife as she left and thought, Maybe this might not be an opportunity. He is old now, and it is time for him to train a successor. Su Pin couldn't get up. Su Zi's abilities are limited. The only one I can count on is Su Ruoxian. Although Su Ruoxian sold her own shares, it was him who bought the shares. He can give the shares, as well as his own shares, to Su Ruoxian at any time. Su Ruoxian is his only heir. I used to think Chu Ji was a good person who could help my daughter manage the company. And he has high hopes for Chu Ji. I believe that with him and Ruoxian around, the Su group will not collapse. But due to a series of misunderstandings, Su pushed Chu Ji away. It's such a pity to lose such a rare talent. And more importantly, Ruoxian likes him. It would be perfect if he became a son-in-law in his family. Unfortunately, there is no if. Now Chu Ji has become the dominant force and controls 35% of Li's shares. He has become an important figure in power in the Li family. It is said that Li Yao admires Chu Ji very much, and maybe she and Chu Ji are getting together. Under such circumstances, how could Chu Ji marry into the Su family? Even if it was to marry into the family, would Su dare to accept it? Chu Ji was too strong. And he did not grow up in the Su family, but grew up on his own. He had no ties to Su, and he was no longer comfortable handing Su over to Chu Ji. At this moment, he suddenly heard his concubine mention such an outstanding person, and he has just started his own business, which shows that he is a capable and decisive person. In this case, why not give it a try? If this person can marry into the Su family, it will be a good thing for the future of the Su family. Su Ruoxian went to work as usual. However, she also urged her father to find a professional manager to replace him. Su Ruoxian came a little late that day, mainly because someone was not behaved well in the morning. As soon as he stepped out of the elevator and arrived at his office floor, he heard some employees whispering and looking in the direction of his office. Su Ruoxian frowned slightly. At this time, when the employees saw Su Ruoxian come in, they stopped talking and quickly went to their workstations. At this time, the secretary came over. What happened? Su Ryukshuan asked. The secretary said, Boss Su, the company has sent a professional manager who is in your office now. Su Ryukshuan raised her eyebrows and said, Are you finally here? She pushed the door open and walked in, and saw a tall young man standing in front of the French window looking outside. Hearing the noise, he turned around, revealing his handsome profile. The other person was wearing a gray and white suit, looking clean and capable. The secretary next to him looked at him with a stunned look in his eyes. So handsome. Su Ryukshuan also showed admiration in her eyes. The young man spoke first. Hello, you must be Mr. Su. My name is Zhao Bo, the new professional manager. Zhao Bo extended his hand toward Su Ryukshuan gracefully. Su Ryukshuan shook hands with him briefly and said, Please sit down. After saying that, Su Ryukshuan sat in her seat. Zhao Bo sat opposite Su Ryukshuan. Boss Su, I've heard of you. I admire your abilities. Not everyone can manage such a large group. Su Ryukshuan said, Don't say too much flattery. Since your family recommended you to come here and I believe in your ability, you should adapt for a few days first, and then I will assign you tasks. We will try to complete the handover within a month. Zhao Bo was slightly stunned. Su Ryukshuan's tone was very formal, and formality meant that she had no thoughts about herself. This was a little hard for Zhao Bo to accept. He was very confident in his appearance and abilities, and that idiot Xiao Han was not even worthy of carrying his shoes. If Xiao Han was not the direct descendant of the old patriarch, would it be his turn to get close to Su Ryukshuan? When Zhao Bo came to his senses, he found that Su Ryukshuan had already lowered her head and started working. Zhao Bo narrowed his eyes slightly. It seemed that this first attempt had failed. He is very confident about his appearance. Many women abroad are willing to throw themselves at him, which is something he is proud of. He didn't feel that his attractiveness had decreased, which could be seen from the starry eyes of the secretary next to him. Then there is only one explanation for Su Ryukshuan's cold behavior. That is, the other party did it on purpose. She wanted to get her attention. Thinking of this, Zhao Bo chuckled secretly. Since it's a handover, Mr. Su, can I study beside you? Zhao Bo said. Looking at Su Ryukshuan's white neck, a hint of imperceptible greed flashed in Zhao Bo's eyes. Su Ryukshuan looked up at Zhao Bo and said, Okay. Upon hearing this, Zhao Bo immediately moved a seat next to Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan frowned slightly. The other person was a little too close to her, but she immediately shook her head and said nothing. Su Ryukshuan handed Zhao Bo a document and said, You can take a look at this document. If it were you, how would you handle it? Su Ryukshuan pushed a document in front of Zhao Bo. Zhao Bo was slightly stunned. This Su Ryukshuan doesn't seem to play by the rules, but the more she does this, the more fun it is to conquer her, isn't it? The office returned to calm. Zhao Bo did not try to show off himself in front of Su Ryukshuan like other men. He was indeed correcting the documents seriously. At least that's what it looks like on the surface. Based on the data provided in the document, he gave his own solution. After writing several lines in a very fluent manner, Zhao Bo felt very satisfied. Mr. Su, this is my suggestion on this document. Please see if it is appropriate, Zhao Bo said at this time. Su Ryukshuan took the document and went straight to the place where Zhao Bo had made comments. Not bad, very good, Su Ryukshuan said. Really, I didn't expect to get your approval. If it were me, I would make the same choice. You wrote it in great detail, Su Ryukshuan said with a hint of appreciation. Chapter 189, Chu Ji's Indifference. The secretary next to him also looked at Zhao Bo in surprise. The fact that Su Ryukshuan praised him showed his ability. Zhao Bo showed a hint of modesty and said, I am very happy to receive the praise from President Su, but I still have a lot to learn. President Su, you still need to give me more pressure. The secretary next to him said, Boss Zhao, there are not many people who can get the recognition of Boss Su. You have surpassed most people by getting the recognition of Boss Su after reviewing the documents for the first time. The secretary looked at Zhao Bo with stars in his eyes. It was rare to find someone so handsome and talented. Soon it was noon. Zhao Bo said at this time, Boss Su, I would like to treat you to a meal. This is not too much, right? Su Ryukshuan looked up at Zhao Bo, and there was a hint of hope on Zhao Bo's handsome face. I'm afraid no woman would be willing to refuse his invitation. Su Ryukshuan said, No, you go eat, I won't go. Zhao Bo was slightly stunned. This was his second failure. Zhao Bo narrowed his eyes slightly. Could it be that the other party is reserved? At this time he has to be thick-skinned. Thinking of this, Zhao Bo said, Boss Su, I actually have some questions to ask you, so you see. Su Ryukshuan thought for a moment, finally nodded. Zhao Bo smiled. The two left together, and the employees all looked at them with gossipy eyes. This Zhao Bo looks good too. Yes, he is really handsome and talented. I heard that you have worked in a multinational company, who would look at this resume with high regard. What do you think it would be like if he married into the Su family? I think Chu Ji and our President Su are the best match, someone said. But Chu Ji can't marry into the family. Who do you think Chairman Su will choose? Someone took a breath of cold air. As the chairman gets older, he must plan for the future of the Su group. It would be fine if Chu Ji had not developed so well and was completely incomparable to the Su family. But Chu Ji now took off directly from the spot and became the largest shareholder of Li. Although he still cannot be compared with the Su family, he is already a powerful figure that the Su family cannot ignore. Under such circumstances, how could Chu Ji marry into the Su family? Even if he married into the family, would the chairman be at ease? After all, he did not grow up in the Su family and had no feelings for the Su family. The Su family might very well become the Chu family. But now Zhao Bo is different. He is talented and good-looking, but the key is that he is penniless now. What makes Zhao Bo better than the previous Chu Ji is that he was born in Jinghai and is a real Jinghai native. He has studied abroad and worked in multinational companies. He is not a peasant. Could it be? This is the chairman choosing a son-in-law for President Su. It's hard to say. At this time, Su Ruoxuan and Zhao Bo came to the lobby on the first floor. The two walked out of the elevator talking and laughing. Meanwhile at Li Building, Chu Ji's phone suddenly lit up. He turned on his phone and found that someone had sent him several pictures. Chu Ji was slightly stunned when he clicked it. It turned out to be a photo of Su Ruoxuan with a strange man. Judging from the photos, the man and Su Ruoxuan were very close. Su Ruoxuan almost snuggled in the man's arms. Chu Ji narrowed his eyes slightly. His fingers tapped lightly on the desktop. Li Yao then walked around Chu Ji and saw the pictures on Chu Ji's phone. Li Yao said coldly, "This Su Ruoxi is really a playboy. You made the right decision to divorce her." Chu Ji came back to his senses and suddenly smiled and said, "Sometimes what you see may not be true." Li Yao was stunned, but Chu Ji did not explain. Li Yao looked at Chu Ji. She felt a sense of confidence and indifference from Chu Ji. That calmness made Li Yao a little dazed. At this time, Chu Ji packed up his things and said, "Let's go, I'm going to eat too. Miss Li Yao, you won't reject me, right?" Li Yao looked at Chu Ji and felt her heart melt. She stretched out her hand and placed it in front of Chu Ji and said, "Hold me, let's go." Chu Ji laughed and said, "Do you want to be the queen mother?" Li Yao giggled. It was soon evening. Chu Ji packed up and prepared to go home. Li Yao was a little reluctant. She used to hate going to work, but now she hopes to work as long as possible. Chu Ji looked at Li Yao, and a trace of pity appeared on his face. The Li family does not have as many relatives as other families. The Li family has always been a single-line family. Now the eldest son of the Li family is a useless person. He is not at home all day, and no one knows where he is hanging out. In the huge Li family, Li Yao is the only woman left. Thinking of her living alone in such a big villa, he felt a little sad, and at the same time became more and more angry towards the criminal gang. He subconsciously reached out and scratched Li Yao's nose and said, "Do you want to visit my house?" Li Yao's eyes lit up instantly. "Is it okay? Of course, if you feel lonely, I can let Nanshu go to your house to accompany you in the future," Chu Ji said. This place is not far from Li Yao. It would be more convenient for Nanshu to move there. That's good, I don't even have anyone to talk to. At least Nanshu isn't that lonely. Chu Ji called Nanshu directly. When I arrived at the lobby on the first floor, Nanshu was already waiting there. It's much more convenient now that they all work on the same floor. Nanshu has matured a lot. She stands there gracefully, looking dignified yet with a hint of charm. Her unique temperament made the male employees passing by look sideways and want to take a closer look. Seeing ripples in Chu Zhenanshu's eyes, a smile unconsciously appeared on her face. "Nanshu, come back with me for dinner today," said Chu Ji. "Okay," Nanshu answered concisely without any hesitation. The three of them got in the car and rushed to Chu Ji's home. At this time, Su's building. It's also time to get off work. Su Ruoxuan stood up and prepared to go back. At this time, Zhao Bo said, "Boss Su, thank you so much today. I learned a lot from you. To express my gratitude, I would like to treat you to dinner. What would you like to eat?" "No, I want to go back," Su Ruoxuan said. Zhao Bo was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, "Okay, then I won't bother President Su anymore." Su Ruoxuan nodded and walked out. I met Suzy outside the door. The two took the elevator down together. When they got to the elevator, Suzy asked, "What about this person? I showed you the document he corrected. What do you think?" Su Ryukshuan asked back. Suzy said, "It's just normal." Su Ryukshian said, "I asked him to look at the report of the Southern Economic Zone. Aji saw that there was something wrong with the report at a glance, but he didn't see it and only took some superficial measures based on the data. It seems to be written in a flourish, but it does not touch upon the core issue at all. To put it bluntly, his current ability is only at your level." Chapter 190 didn't come back. Suzy said, "But I heard you praised him many times. I think you are very satisfied with him. Among the short men, is there a better candidate than him? Fortunately, he is not completely useless, and he can still maintain the status quo." Suzy said, "But the Su family is seeking development, and maintaining the status quo means falling behind." Suzy frowned. He was really worried now. "Ryukshuan, I think you should stay in Su's," Suzy said. "No, Aj is in urgent need of manpower right now. I have to go over and help. This is a critical period for Aj. I have to be with him through it all. Otherwise, even if I am Aj's wife, I will feel guilty." Su Ryukshuan returned home. At this time, Chu Ji had already prepared the meal. Li Yao looked at Su Ryukshian, who had returned with a playful look on her face. "I thought you weren't coming back." Su Ryukshian frowned. "What does this mean?" Li Yao said, "Don't you know what I mean?" Su Ryukshuan's brows showed anxiety. "If you have something to say, just say it. If you have to fart, just fart." Li Yao shook her head and said, "You better take care of yourself. Some people can't stand you hurting them again and again." Chu Ji walked out of the kitchen and said, "What are you talking about? Dinner is ready." A smile immediately broke out on Li Yao's face, and she trotted over. Su Ryukshuan frowned slightly as she looked at Li Yao's back. She really didn't know why Li Yao would say this to her. Su Ryukshuan looked at Su Wan. Since agreeing to let Su Wan live here, Su Wan moved here. Su Wan glanced at Su Ryukshuan and also said nothing. After dinner, Nan Shu accompanied Li Yao away. Su Ryukshian sat next to Su Wan. "What's going on? Li Yao seems weird today." "Really, I think it's normal," Su Wan said. Su Ryukshian asked, "What happened?" Su Wan looked at her with strange eyes and said, "Didn't Li Yao say it very clearly just now?" Su Ryukshuan's eyes began to turn unfriendly. This time, Su Wan did not give in at all. Just then Chu Ji came over. "What are you doing?" The two women's anger disappeared instantly. "Aj, we are fine. Let me help you pack your things," Su Wan said hurriedly. Su Ryukshuan kicked the sofa in annoyance. "What?" The next day, Su Ryukshuan went to work at Su's as usual. After working for a while, Su Ryukshuan prepared to drink water. Someone placed a cup of water at the perfect temperature next to her. Su Ryukshuan took a sip of tea and nodded slightly. Today's tea was particularly delicious. She looked up and saw Zhao Bo's handsome profile next to her. He was the one who handed her the glass of water just now. He is working hard now and seems very focused. It is said that serious men are very attractive, and this is also very true for Zhao Bo. I have to say that Zhao Bo does have the capital. This is the third time the secretary has come in. Zhao Bo's eyes were filled with tears as he watched him work. Zhao Bo looked up at this time, his expression calm. "Boss Su, I have processed all these documents. Please see if there is anything wrong." Zhao Bo placed the document in front of Su Ryukshuan, appearing very decent and generous. Su Ryukshian nodded, took the document and read it. "Very good." Zhao Bo said, "That's good. I was really worried that something might go wrong." Zhao Bo looked at the time, and it was already noon. "Mr. Su, I have ordered food at the restaurant outside. Let's go over now. By the way, I still want to discuss some work matters," Zhao Bo said. Su Ryukshuan nodded when she heard that. "Follow Zhao Bo and leave." When they reached the square, a man on a skateboard suddenly passed by them. Su Ryukshuan was startled and became unsteady on her feet, falling backwards. Zhao Bo was quick to act and reached out to support Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan leaned completely into his arms. "Mr. Su, are you okay?" Zhao Bo asked with concern. Su Ryukshian stood up and said, "It's okay, I just didn't stand firmly." However, Su Ryukshuan did not notice that someone not far away was taking a picture of this scene. Chu Ji soon received this photo on his mobile phone. Looking at Su Ryukshuan nestled in the arms of that stranger, Chu Ji narrowed his eyes slightly. Li Yao, who was standing next to him, saw this and sneered. Chu Ji tapped the desktop lightly, put his phone aside and continued working. And this time he didn't delete the photo. In the blink of an eye, another 2 days passed. In a private room, Zhao Bo and Su Ryukshuan sat side by side, with several people sitting opposite them. "Mr. Su, I've heard of your great name for a long time. This time I see that you are just as capable as any man." Let me toast you, Mr. Su. A middle-aged man with Mediterranean hair stood up and toasted Su Ruoxuan. Su Ruoxuan frowned slightly. Zhao Bo, who was standing next to him, stood up and said, "Boss Su is not a good drinker. How about I drink this glass of wine and I drink another one?" Su Ruoxuan looked up at Zhao Bo beside her eyes flickering. "Haha, Mr. Zhao, you really take good care of Mr. Su. The two of you are a perfect match." The people around also laughed maliciously. Zhao Bo smiled and said nothing, and Su Ruoxuan also did not refute. After eating and drinking, signing the contract and seeing off the bosses, Zhao Bo was also drunk. Su Ruoxuan stood up and supported Zhao Bo as they walked out. Zhao Bo leaned on Su Ruoxuan. After walking out of the hotel, Su Ruoxuan supported Zhao Bo and walked towards their car. But she didn't know that someone not far away was watching this scene in astonishment. She looked at Su Ruoxian, then looked at the hotel next door. Her face turned ugly. Chuzu saw Zhao Bo's arm resting on Su Ruoxuan, looking very intimate. She wanted to go up and ask, "Chuzu, do you know her?" A girl next to Chuzu asked at this time. After the college entrance examination, they made an appointment to go shopping together, but they didn't expect to see this scene. Chuzu's face was slightly stiff, and she also stopped and said, "No, I don't know him." Chuzu returned home. Looking at his brother, he was hesitant to speak. She looked at the time, and it was already late, but her sister-in-law had not come back yet. "Brother, sister-in-law hasn't come back yet." "Well, your sister-in-law has a social engagement tonight and may not come back," Chuji said. Chuzu asked, "What kind of social event can take an entire night?" Chuji said, "After your sister-in-law finishes her socializing, she will go directly back to the villa. She is closer to there." Chuzu frowned and said, "Brother, are you too confident in your sister-in-law?" Chuji asked, "What's wrong with you today? Why do you keep mentioning Ryu Xian?" Chuzu said, "Today I saw my sister-in-law helping a man out of the hotel." Chuji was stunned for a moment. "Okay, I get it. You should go to bed early," Chuji said. Chuzu sighed helplessly upon seeing this. Chuji sat on the sofa, his head propped up and his eyes flickering. Chapter 191, Do You Believe This? At this time, it was the Su family manor. The stepmother said in high spirits, "Boss, I heard that Zhao Bo is doing well in the company." "Yes, Ruoxuan admires him very much," said Su's father. "I knew this would work. Zhao Bo's looks, character, and abilities are all first-rate. Even his family background is much better than Chu Ji's. He and Ryu Xian are a better match." Father Su pondered in silence. No words were spoken that night. The next afternoon at Su's building, Zhao Bo and Su Ruoxuan walked out together. "I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Su. I've been looking at that project for a long time, but I can't make up my mind. Mr. Su, you are very experienced. I think you can give me some advice after your research this time. If possible, I will use this project as a stepping stone to join Su's company." Su Ruoxian smiled and said, "Everything is for the Su family. It's no trouble at all, let's go." Zhao Bo opened the car door, and Su Ruoxuan got in. Zhao Bo sat in the driver's seat and rushed in one direction. The vehicle stopped at a location in the suburbs. Zhao Bo and Su Ruoxuan got out of the car. "It's the factory not far ahead. It's a machinery factory," said Zhao Bo. Let's go over there." Su Ruoxuan nodded. Zhao Bo and Su Ruoxuan walked side by side. Just then, a motorcycle suddenly came speeding from not far away. The other party turned a corner and appeared in front of them. Neither side could escape even if they wanted to. The motorcycle braked suddenly, making a harsh friction sound, but he still rushed towards Zhao Bo and Su Ruoxuan. At this moment, Zhao Bo suddenly stood in front of Su Ruoxuan. Then with a muffled groan, Zhao Bo fell forward to the ground. "How do you drive?" Su Ruoxuan looked at the motorcyclist angrily. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it," the man said. Su Ruoxuan quickly squatted down to check Zhao Bo's injuries. There was some bleeding on Zhao Bo's arm. "You're bleeding?" Su Ruoxuan was a little anxious. Zhao Bo stood up and said, "It's okay, I just rubbed off a layer of skin on the ground, it's no big deal." "How can it not be a problem? I'll take you to the hospital," Su Ruoxuan said. No need. Why should I send him to the hospital for such a minor injury? Otherwise, people will accuse me of being pretentious," Zhao Bo said. At this time, Zhao Bo stood up with the help of Su Ruoxian, looked at the motorcyclist next to him and said, "Be careful next time, not everyone is as generous as us, let's go." "Oh, I'm sorry, you are really a good person, thank you for your forgiveness." The motorcyclist got on his motorcycle and left. Su Ruoxian asked, "Why let him go so easily?" Zhao Bo said, "It's not a big deal. The other party is still a half-grown child. Should I call the police and let him leave a stain? Let him be merciful while you can. Su Ruoxian said, "You are kind-hearted." Zhao Bo said, "I have also been through that time and made many mistakes. We must always give them opportunities to grow." Zhao Bo had a warm smile on his face at this moment and was gentle and elegant. Su Ruoxian said at this time, "Okay, the factory can't be visited anymore. I'll take you back and give you some medicine. This place happens to be not far from my villa." When they arrived at the villa, Su Ruoxian arranged for someone to apply medicine to Zhao Bo. Zhao Bo said at this time, "I wonder if I can use the bathroom. I'm so dirty and I want to wash myself." Su Ruoxian said, "Okay, go ahead." Zhao Bo smiled slightly when he heard that. Su Ruoxian was waiting in the living room. The housekeeper came over and said, "Miss, is this appropriate?" Su Ruoxian said, "There's nothing inappropriate about it. He just saved me. I can't just ignore him." The old butler hesitated to speak. Su Ruoxian said, "I know what I am doing." The old butler sighed and said no more. At this time, the door opened, and Chu Ji walked in. Su Ruoxian was a little surprised. Chu Ji asked, "Why? Are you surprised to see me?" Su Ruoxian said, "No, I just didn't expect you to come back now." At this time, there was a noise on the stairs. Zhao Bo came out wrapped in only a bath towel. "My clothes are wet, this is the only way." Then Zhao Bo saw Chu Ji. He pretended to be surprised and asked, "Who is this?" Chu Ji looked at Zhao Bo, then at Su Ruoxian. Su Ruoxian's face turned pale. Listen to my explanation." Chu Ji suddenly smiled and said to Zhao Bo, "I have clothes in my room, you can wear mine." Chu Ji looked at the butler next to him and said, "Go, get this gentleman a set of my clothes." The old butler looked at Chu Ji's calm face, his expression changed. He nodded and went upstairs. Zhao Bo looked at Chu Ji suspiciously, because he didn't see any anger on Chu Ji's face. Zhao Bo then smiled and followed the butler back to the second floor. Su Ruoxian immediately said to Chu Ji, "He was injured while saving me, so I brought him here." Chu Ji turned his head and looked at Su Ruoxian and said, "Ruoxian, you don't have to explain this to me. This is your place. You are free to bring in whoever you like." Chu Ji turned his head and looked at Su Ruoxian with a gloomy look in his eyes. "In the final analysis, my feelings towards you have always been gratitude. Thank you for helping me when I was in trouble. I came here this time because I actually have something to tell you." Su Ruoxian's body was shaking a little. "What? You sold your shares in Su's to help me last time, and I am very grateful. This time I am here to return the shares you sold. Don't worry, they will definitely not be less than your value in Su's." "Why? Ruoxian, I have no right to ask you to do anything because we missed each other from the beginning. Let's part ways in peace. I will return your shares to you within 3 days." Chu Ji turned and walked towards the door. Su Ruoxian rushed forward and grabbed Chu Ji's arm. You should know that I love you," Chu Ji said without even turning his head. "The word love is not suitable for me. I think you will find someone better." Chu Ji broke free from Su Ruoxian's hand and walked out of the villa. The door closed, and Su Ruoxian stood there in a daze. At this moment, at the stairs on the second floor, Zhao Bo showed a smile of success. After tidying up his clothes, Zhao Bo went downstairs and looked at the distraught Su Ruoxian and said, "Boss Su, it seems that I have brought you trouble." Su Ruoxian said, "Go back, I want to be quiet for a while." Zhao Bo was stunned for a moment, then nodded and said, "Okay, I won't bother you anymore." Zhao Bo left. At this time, the housekeeper also came over and sighed helplessly when he looked at his young lady. "Why didn't he listen to my explanation? What else is there to explain? You even brought someone home. This is at Ning Rongrong's house." Ning Rongrong looked at Su Ruoxian speechlessly. "But because he was injured, it just so happened that." No, do you believe what you said? Don't you know how many pharmacies there are on both sides of the street? You said that any pharmacy couldn't treat such a small scratch, but you took him home. What else do you have to explain now?" Ning Rongrong shook her head. Chapter 192, Su Zi's Doubts. Su Ruoxian's face turned even paler. "But I really didn't think that much." "Don't you think your explanation is pale now?" Ning Rongrong shook her head. "You and Chu Ji's relationship just got better and problems arose immediately. Ruoxian, listen to me. You and him are really not suitable. No one can stop me from being with him." Su Ruoxian's eyes became stubborn. Ning Rongrong sighed helplessly. Suddenly Ning Rongrong smiled. "But that's true, this is in line with your personality." At the same time, in a suburban estate, Zhao Bo sat on the sofa with a smile on his face. The thin, middle-aged man opposite asked, "How's it going?" "It went very smoothly. There is already a grudge between Su Ruoxian and Chu Ji." According to the latest news, Su Ruoxian went to her best friend's place. It seems that she wants to complain to her best friend. We need to find out more before we can draw any conclusions, Zhao Shi said. Zhao Bo said, Haha, I am still very relieved about this. Okay, what a pity. I asked you to return home, but you didn't. If you had taken action, what would have happened to Zairo Han? Zhao Bo said, Zairo Han still has supporters, at least the domestic forces are not weak. I can't do anything even if I come back. Who would have thought that the force was uprooted and only a few people escaped? Otherwise, do you think I would come back to see their faces? The middle-aged man asked, What should we do next? Of course, I will continue to gain Su Ruoxian's favor. Uncle, you have to help me show my face in front of her. When I make achievements, she will naturally fall in love with me, and then her family will also influence her. The middle-aged man said, Okay, if you don't sacrifice the child, you can't catch the wolf. I will lend you a hand. A smile appeared on Zhao Bo's lips. At this time, Chu Ji was sitting on the balcony of his home, drinking tea leisurely. Su Ruoxian's affairs seemed to have no effect on him. Chu Zu came to Chu Ji and asked, Brother, what's wrong with you? Is it still possible for you and sister-in-law to be together? What do you think? How do I know what you are thinking? Chu Zu said. Chu Ji smiled calmly and said, You just enjoy your vacation. If you can't, go home and see your parents. Chu Zu said, All right, I should go back too. It's annoying to see you here. Chuzh rubbed his nose. At this time, Su Wan was watching the sisters talking in the living room with a gentle smile on her lips. She saw Chu Zu taking a bath and going to bed in a bad mood. Su Wan came to Chu Ji at this time. He placed his hand on Chuzh's shoulder. Chu Ji grabbed Su Wan's hand and rubbed it in his palm. A blush appeared on Su Wan's face. A few days passed. A dark horse appeared in Jinghai's business district. A man named Zhao Bo joined the Su family, and in just half a month he expanded the Su family's power a lot. Su's stock price also climbed up a lot. The Su family acquired a lot of high-quality industries. These industries are all profitable as soon as they are taken over. I don't know how Zhao Bo managed to take over all these high-quality industries. Su Ruoxian also quickly arranged for people to reorganize these industries and completely incorporate them into Su's industries. If Chu Ji brought Su's a grand business empire, what it brings to the Su family is the future. But Zhao Bo really made the people of the Su family see the benefits. Chu Ji's idea was too grand and somewhat unrealistic, so the people of the Su family didn't feel much about it. But Zhao Bo was different, as he brought real benefits. Now Zhao Bo has taken over all of Su Ruoxian's job responsibilities, and outsiders see him as an excellent person. Su's father also admired Zhao Bo and intended to promote his relationship with Su Ruoxian. Zhao Bo was invited to family dinners more than once. This time at the Su family, everyone was polite to Zhao Blog, a courtesy that Chu Ji had never enjoyed before. Ruoxian, my achievements are inseparable from your guidance. I toast you. Zhao Bo raised his glass and looked at Su Ruoxian. Su Ruoxian picked up the wine glass and took a sip. You are very good. You can do well without me. The stepmother next to him said, Look at them. One is handsome and capable, and the other is pretty, smart, and well-educated. I think they are a perfect match. Yes, they are a perfect match, Su Pin beside him shouted. Father Su also laughed and did not object. Zhao Bo looked at Su Ruoxian shyly, with hope in his eyes. Su Ruoxian said shyly, Don't make trouble. My stepmother said, How can this be considered as stirring up trouble? I think you should get married as soon as possible. We will feel relieved when we have a grandson. Upon hearing this, Father Su nodded repeatedly. Su Ruoxian said coquettishly, Oh, it's still early. What nonsense are you talking about? Everyone laughed. Only Su Zi was standing next to her, looking at Su Ruoxian thoughtfully. He had heard Su Ruoxian's evaluation of Zhao Bo. Zhao Bo's ability was about the same as his. Would Ruoxian like him? He didn't believe it, but when he saw that Su Ruoxian didn't refuse immediately, and even seemed to be reluctant, he became a little unconfident. The banquet is coming to an end. At this time, Xiaoma said to Zhao Bo, Zhao Bo, you have drunk a lot of wine, so just stay here and talk more with Ruoxian. Father Su said, I think it's okay. Su Zi looked at this scene helplessly and said, If I had treated Chu Ji like this in the beginning, how could it have come to this? Su Ruoxian and Zhao Bo walked in the garden. Ruoxian, are you worried? Su Ruoxian was stunned and said, No, nothing. But are you worried about your relationship with Chu Ji? Zhao Bo asked. Su Ruoxian said, You think too much. Zhao Bo said, I admit that Chu Ji is excellent, but Ruoxian, he is not suitable for you. As far as I know, she and Li Yao from the Li family are unclear. Why should you affect your mood for this person? Not far away, Father Su and stepmother were watching two people walking in the garden. The stepmother said, "Boss, take a look. Do they have feelings for each other now?" Ruoxian used to have such a temper, but today she didn't even object to what I said. Father Su nodded and said, "Yes, Zhao Bo is not bad either. He is a capable man. He was able to develop the Su family into such a great company in such a short period of time. It can be seen that his ability is not inferior to Chu Ji. Can Chu Ji be compared with him? Chu Ji is born in a low-class family and has a limited vision. How can he be compared with Zhao Bo? Zhao Bo is a real Jinghai native from a scholarly family and graduated from a prestigious university abroad. These are not comparable to Chu Ji. Look at how Zhao Bo handles things. He is generous and considerate. He is much better than when Chu Ji first came here. Father Su nodded upon hearing this. At the same time, a photo of Su Ruoxuan and Zhao Bo walking in the garden appeared on Chu Ji's mobile phone. Chu Ji looked at the photo with indifference, looking at Su Ruoxuan, looking at Zhao Bo with a sweet smile. He quietly turned off the phone. He replaced the tea in his hand with wine. He turned his head and looked at the dark sky outside the window. Chapter 193, The Worst Swear Words. At the same time, in the foreign border area to the south, Zhang Heng looked at the bald old man opposite him. "Third uncle, you are really an extraordinary person. Your base in China has been taken over, but you still have such a big foundation here," Zhang Heng exclaimed. "Haha, do you think I've been wasting all these years? It's a pity that I have no descendants. Would you like to be adopted by me?" said the bald old man. After saying that, the other party coughed twice. Zhang Heng said, "Of course I admire you very much, third grandpa. From now on you will be my real grandpa." "Ha, okay, you have become familiar with this place these days. I plan to send you to Jinghai again. Are you willing?" said the bald old man. Zhang Heng said, "Don't worry, grandpa. I promise to find a way out for you when I return to Jinghai this time. But grandpa, when I need help." "Don't worry about that. What plans do you have?" said the bald man. "Haha, grandpa, small fights are boring. If we want to have fun, we might as well do something bigger. Do you know the Qin family of medicine? Tell me, if Qin's laboratory can produce our drugs, what scale would it be? Qin's is a wealthy family." The bald old man suddenly looked up at Zhang Heng. "You want to control Qin?" A sneer appeared on Zhang Heng's lips. "Control? I want Qin to become mine, and she is mine too," Zhang Heng said, gritting his teeth. A few more days passed. Su's building. Su Ruoxuan and Zhao Bo go out together every day. Feelings heat up quickly. There were even rumors that Su Ruoxuan was going to get engaged to Zhao Bo. Everyone was looking at Chu Ji's reaction, but Chu Ji seemed very calm and went to and from get off work normally. It seems that he doesn't care about Su Ruoxuan's affairs at all. Some people also said that Chu Ji had already returned the money Su Ruoxuan invested, including the principal and interest. Does this mean that Chu Ji and Su Ruoxuan have cut off their relationship? Inside the office of Li Building, Li Yao looked at Chu Ji and said, "Didn't you hear the rumor?" Chu Ji said, "You also said it was a rumor." Li Yao said, "This Zhao Bo is not simple. Judging from his performance these days, his ability is excellent and no worse than yours." Chu Ji smiled and said nothing. "It seems like you're not worried at all. What are you worried about? Are you worried that Su Ruoxian will marry Zhao Bo or something else?" Li Yao was stunned for a moment and said, "Indeed, since you have given up, it seems that who Su Ruoxian marries has nothing to do with you." Chu Ji shrugged and said, "That's it." Li Yao said, "Forget it, it's her business who she wants to marry, as long as she doesn't regret it in the future." Li Yao came to Chu Ji and leaned close to him and said, "What do you think about me marrying you? My shares will become yours, and you will be the real ruler of the Li Group in the future." Chu Ji said, "I think this is good enough. I'm not a greedy person." Li Yao said, "Can't you be a little greedy? Isn't there a few women behind the rich man now? Not to mention other things, there are no less than 20 women behind my brother Li Ping, and no one would think there is a problem with this. On the contrary, if there was only one woman in his position, others would think he is not good enough." "You would." Chu Ji's face darkened. "Why don't you try it?" Chu Ji said. "Just try it. Do you dare to let me try?" Li Yao was like a goblin at this time. "So what do you think I should do?" "You should go and grab it. Even if you can't win, you still have to show your position. Even if you are just playing around, at least let outsiders know that you are not a coward who swallows his anger," Li Yao said. Chu Ji was slightly stunned. "So this is how people outside see me. Of course, you are no longer the poor student you used to be. You are the president of Lee Corporation. Your tolerance will only make people look down on you, and even the number of businesses cooperating with us will decrease. Because they don't see the courage and dominance you should have in you. You don't even steal your own woman. Why do they think you will protect their interests if they cooperate with you? Chu Ji was stunned. Is this the reason why several companies have been reluctant to cooperate with us recently? That's right. With our current status as the Lee family, everyone knows who is backing us. How could they be willing to give up cooperation with us? But because of your indifference to this matter, they are a little suspicious, and they don't dare to believe that you will stand by their side at the critical moment. Chu Ji touched his chin and said, I neglected this. Li Yao said, so the saying that women don't love bad men makes sense. You are too serious and rational so they can't see the passion in you. How can they choose you? Chu Ji said, you too. Yes, me too. You are too rational, Chuj. I didn't ask you to be responsible for anything. I also gave you hints more than once, but you pretended not to see them. If this happens again and again, I will lose confidence in you and feel that I am wasting my time with you. What do you think I should do? If I form a family with someone else, how do you think I will treat you for the sake of my family? Have you ever thought about this? As a man, you can't grab the benefits that are delivered to you. What else do you want us to do? Chu Ji fell silent. Li Yao sighed. Aj, you should know what I think of you, but your rejection keeps draining my enthusiasm for you. When the women around you no longer see hope in you, they will have to plan for themselves. No one wants to end up alone without even a child. Nan Shu is like this. Su Wan is like this. Li Qing, Liu Jing, when they leave you one by one, will they still think about you wholeheartedly? It would be fine if you don't have the ability, but everyone can see that they have feelings for you, even without caring about the women around you. But what about you? You just don't give them any promises. As a woman, I know this kind of suffering very well. They tried again, and each attempt was a disappointment. This is human nature. Then you will know what betrayal and isolation are. Everything you do will not go smoothly. By then it will be too late for you to regret. Chu Ji said, so you should fight and compete, even by any means necessary. You may feel despicable for doing so, but in the eyes of the woman you are pursuing, everything you do can be forgiven. Chu Ji seemed to be a little dazed. He seemed to have heard someone say this, but he forgot who it was. Adhering to basic morals will earn you the reputation of being a good person from others. But in this society, you are a good person is an insult, and the worst name even worse than a dog. Chu Ji's face turned a little dark. Chapter 194, Domineering Pursuit. Chu Ji said at this time, I almost got tricked by you. I am who I am. It is because of who I am and my personality that you will stay with me. If I change to someone else, will you still stay with me? This is a paradox in itself. Li Yao shook her head. Sometimes I wonder if being too rational is a good thing. You can say that I am trying to trick you, but you can't deny that what I said doesn't make sense. Chu Ji rubbed his chin and said, okay, I'll listen to you and go grab some. Li Yao was a little stunned. Isn't the change too big? Chu Ji did what he said. He asked people to prepare flowers and drove towards Sue's. Chu Ji appeared in the Sue building in a suit and tie, holding a red rose. The place suddenly became quiet. Chu, Mr. Chu, someone said tremblingly. Is this fake? When has President Chu ever been so romantic? I think I'm dazzled. This person is definitely not Mr. Chu. If this is Mr. Chu, Mr. Su's child would be gone. Chu Ji's face was full of black lines. I'm looking for your President Su. The receptionist came back to her senses and said, Boss Chu, just go up. Chu Ji didn't waste any time and went straight to the elevator. Oh my God, this is going to be lively. President Chu is actually coming with flowers. Boss Chu, have you come to your senses? It would have been great if you had known this earlier. That's right. It's a pity that Mr. Su seems to be closer to Mr. Zhao now. Do you think Mr. Chu can succeed? It's hard to say. We don't know what Mr. Su is thinking. Indeed, Mr. Su's emotional issues have always been hazy. First it was Zairo Han, and now it's Mr. Zhao. Forget it, let's just eat the melon. Chu Ji came to the door of Su Ruoxuan's office, knocked, and then walked straight in. As soon as I entered the room, I saw Zhao Bo standing next to Su Ruoxuan, whispering something, and they seemed very intimate. Su Ruoxuan looked up at Chu Ji, a hint of surprise flashing in her beautiful eyes. Then her eyes turned to the flowers in Chu Ji's hand. A sense of surprise appeared in the depths of her eyes. Ruoxuan, I'm here to apologize to you. My tone was a bit harsh last time. I hope you don't mind. These are the flowers I give you. Chu Ji took 2 steps forward. Zhao Bo, who was standing next to him, looked at Chu Ji and the flowers in Chu Ji's hand with a little surprise. Mr. Chu, you really surprised me, said Zhao Bo. According to his information, Chu Ji has always been a straight man, and the fact that the other party is now playing romance is really beyond his understanding. Su Ruoxuan stood up at this time, and no one knew that her body was trembling slightly with excitement. She came to Chuj and took the flowers. For me, Su Ruoxuan asked in disbelief. What, isn't it obvious? Chu Ji said with a smile, with a hint of pampering in his eyes. A blush appeared on Su Ruoxuan's cheeks. I'd like to invite you to lunch. You won't refuse, right? Chu Ji said to Su Ruoxuan. Su Ruoxuan nodded subconsciously. Zhao Bo, who was standing next to him, suddenly stepped forward and said, Boss Chu, Ruoxian agreed to have lunch with me at noon. Chu Ji looked at Zhao Bo and suddenly smiled and said, Then please cancel it. Zhao Bo's expression changed slightly. Mr. Chu, aren't you a little too overbearing? Zhao Bo narrowed his eyes and looked at Chu Ji. Chu Ji said, Really? I think based on my relationship with Ruoxian, this request is very reasonable. Chu Ji looked at the time and said, It's almost time. I think you can handle the remaining documents yourself, Mr. Zhao. Ruoxian and I will leave first. Chu Ji took Su Ruoxuan's hand in a domineering manner and prepared to go out. At this time, Zhao Bo took a step forward and stood in front of Chu Ji, his face looking angry. Boss Chu, it's not time to get off work yet. I still have work to discuss with Ruoxian. Isn't it inappropriate for you to leave like this? Su Ruoxian said, There is indeed some work to discuss. Chu Ji looked at Zhao Bo suspiciously and said, I heard that Mr. Zhao is a talented person and has been in the company for a while. Why? Can't you handle files independently now? Do you want me to teach you? Zhao Bo's face turned pale. Chu Ji looked at Su Ruoxian and said, Ruoxian, sometimes you have to let go, otherwise some people will never grow up. Su Ruoxuan looked up at Chu Ji and was dazed by his domineering and slightly jealous look. Chu Ji then pulled Su Ruoxian towards the door and said, Besides, I'm looking for you for work this time. When Chu Ji was leaving, he turned his head and looked at Zhao Bo and said, I'm talking about work. Ruoxian has invested in me, so you should be able to tell which is more important, right? If you think you have an important project, it won't be too late to come to Ruoxian again. Chu Ji pulled Su Ruoxuan out of the door. The staff outside the door now fixed their eyes on them in complete silence. Su Ruoxuan was still holding tightly in her arms the flowers that Chu Ji had given her. After entering the elevator, Su Ruoxuan was still confused. Chu Ji looked at the elevator, then at the iron sheets surrounding it and touched his chin. Su Ruoxian looked at Chu Ji and said, I'm not dreaming, am I? Looking at Su Ruoxuan's surprised and somewhat overwhelmed face, Chu Ji scratched her nose lovingly. Tell me, why did you do this time? You're not really here to give me flowers, are you? I don't believe it, Su Ruoxuan asked. Chu Ji said, I just came to give you flowers. I picked these flowers specially for you. Su Ruoxuan bit her lips, tears lingering in her eyes. Okay, for the sake of the flowers, I'll take you as the truth even if you lie. Chu Ji reached out and held Su Ruoxuan in his arms. He felt Su Ruoxuan's body trembling. Chu Ji sighed in his heart. Could it be that he was really so mean to Su Ruoxuan? But it seems that I have never given her flowers or anything like that to express my love. The elevator stopped, and Chu Ji let go of Su Ruoxuan. There was nothing unusual on their faces at this moment. When we arrived at the restaurant, Chu Ji had already booked a private room. Ruoxuan, some people outside say that you are getting engaged. Is it to Zhao Bo? Chu Ji asked. As he spoke, he looked at Su Ruoxuan and took out his cell phone. Su Ruoxian put her phone on the table and said, Zhao Bo is a talented person, and I'm not young anymore, but I'm still considering it. Consider? What is there to consider? I think I'm better than him, and I'm also your ex-husband. You should remarry me. Together, we can definitely carve out a world of our own. As for Zhao Bo, he did bring some businesses to the Su Corporation recently, but I don't take him seriously. I guess that's all he is capable of. Apart from his better family background, I don't think he is any better than me. Su Ruoxian said, What if he can take the Su family to a higher level? You have so much confidence in him. Okay, if he has that ability, I won't bother you in the future, Chu Ji said. Chu Ji just finished speaking. Su Ruoxuan suddenly stood up and grabbed his arm tightly, very hard. There was a hint of panic in her eyes. Chu Ji looked at her in astonishment. At the same time in the Su building, Zhao Bo was listening quietly with his mobile phone in hand. What came out of it was the conversation between Chu Ji and Su Ruoxuan. Chapter 195, The Potential of a Great Villain. Hearing Chu Ji's contempt for him, Zhao Bo snorted coldly. Can you imagine my power? As long as I can bring benefits to the Su group, Ryuxian will be mine. Then the entire Su group will be mine. At this time, Zhao Bo heard Su Ryuxian's words. I'm going to the bathroom. Then there was a hissing sound. Zhao Bo frowned, stood up suddenly, and seemed a little restless. It was not until noon, when it was time to go to work, that Su Ryuxian came back with a brisk pace. Ryuxian, why did you come so late? My cell phone fell into the sink, so I went to buy a new one, Su Ryuxian explained. Ryuxian, you forgot to take your bag. Chuji walked in at this time. When he saw Su Ryuxian, he subconsciously licked his lips. Su Ryuxian's cheeks turned red when she saw this. Turn away from him. Zhao Bo's eyes were full of vigilance. After Chuji left, Zhao Bo found that Su Ryuxian was a little absent-minded. He stood beside her with a cold look in his eyes. What? It was getting dark. Suburban estate. Zhao Bo sat on the sofa with an indifferent expression. How's it going? Everything was going smoothly, but something unexpected happened. I didn't expect Chu Ji to take the initiative to pursue Su Ryuxian. I really didn't expect this. What are you going to do? Zhao Bo raised his lips slightly and said, Chu Ji could never have imagined how great the power behind me is. I will let him know what the gap is. The thin, middle-aged man's eyes flashed. I can increase the support. Zhao Bo said, Don't worry, the entire Su Corporation will be ours by then, and our current investment will be returned with interest. Chu Ji also returned home at this time. Su Wan is back. Sure enough, there is someone behind that guy. It is very likely the disappeared Zhao family. Haha, he came to Jinghai so openly without even changing his name. He is really bold. Chu Ji said, That's because Zhu's family is not in Jinghai now. She went to Europe. Su Wan said, Indeed, things there are more difficult. If we are not careful, the Zhu family will suffer heavy losses and completely lose the foundation of a multinational company. Chu Ji frowned. He wanted to help Zhu Wonking. When he first received the photo of Su Ryuxian, he knew that someone was trying to cause trouble. And that person's surname was Zhao. He immediately thought of the Zhao family, because Zyro Han was also from the Zhao family. If that's the case, why doesn't he just go with the flow? Since they think they are so smart, let them be so self-righteous to the end. Su Wan said, Now the Su family has swallowed up several of the other party's properties. After the incident of you sending flowers this time, the other party is likely to offer greater benefits. I wonder if the Su family can grasp it this time. Chu Ji said, You think too highly of the Zhao family. Su Wan was stunned. It was the first time she heard Chu Ji despise a family like this. Are you confident? Chu Ji said, It's not that I have confidence, but you and even the Zhao family take yourselves too seriously. After all, the Zhao family is a thing of the past. In Jinghai, there is no such thing as a lean camel being bigger than a horse. All industries will attract a pack of wolves. The Zhao family may have a lot to offer, but can it compare to the Li family? I estimate that the value of their industry is not even comparable to the chip industry. Is the Zhao family still worthy of your fear? Chu Ji looked out the window. I never underestimate my opponents, but I also never overestimate them. You have lived in the shadow of the Zhao family for too long. It's time to get out. Su Wan didn't say anything. She looked at Chu Ji's back in a daze. Is this still the slightly shy big boy she met at the beginning? But you look good now, Su Wan murmured. Sure enough, within a few days, there is big news coming from Su Group. Mr. Zhao Bo personally took over a large enterprise and made an indelible contribution to the expansion of Su's company. The entire Su family was filled with jubilation. Zhao Bo's recognition far surpasses Chu Ji. After all, Chu's future is too far away, and they pay more attention to reality. Su's father admired Zhao Bo very much and decided to make him his son-in-law. What's more important is that Su Ryuxian didn't seem to object. Chu Ji was sitting in the office, tapping the table with his fingers. Li Yao felt a little distressed when looking at Chu Ji. Chu Ji turned his head and looked at Li Yao. Are you sad? Chu Ji was speechless but still nodded and said, Yes. Before he could finish his words, Li Yao held Chu Ji's head in her arms. Chu Ji was completely speechless. Although it is very comfortable, it is very stuffy. After a slight struggle and breaking free from the waves, he took a deep breath. He felt Li Yao's body stiffen for a moment. Chu Ji's face turned red. He took back his hand and said, I didn't mean it. Tusk, even if you did it on purpose, how can I eat you? Li Yao tapped Chu Ji's forehead in annoyance. In Su's building, Zhao Bo is now in high spirits. Along the way, all the employees respectfully called him Mr. Zhao. Zhao Bo nodded in response. He was holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand and walking towards Su Ryuxian's room. Some employees looked at Zhao Bo and seemed to be hesitant to speak. Some looked at him with strange expressions. Zhao Bo frowned but didn't care. When he arrived at the door of Su Ruoxuan's office, a smile unconsciously appeared on the corner of his mouth. He pushed the door open and entered the room, and the smile on his face instantly became stiff, because he saw Chu Ji and Su Ruoxuan chatting and laughing there. There was a bouquet of red roses next to Su Ruoxuan's hand. Su Ruoxuan's cheeks were flushed, and she looked charming and attractive at this moment. Looking at Chu Ji, even though Zhao Bo had a good temperament, his face darkened at this moment. "Boss Chu, why are you here?" Chu Ji looked at the flowers in Zhao Bo's hand, and a hint of sarcasm flashed in his eyes. "Mr. Zhao, are these flowers for Ruoxuan? But Ruoxuan already has the flowers I gave her, so yours is a bit redundant," Chu Ji said. Zhao Bo's cheek twitched slightly. Zhao Bo looked at Su Ruoxian and said softly, "Ruoxian, these flowers are for you." Su Ruoxian took the flower and put it aside, then said, "You came at the right time. I have something to do with Mr. Chu. I'm sorry to bother you here." Zhao Bo's face froze. "Ruoxian, I want to have lunch with you at noon and discuss the new business." Chu Ji said, "Why do we have to discuss things during meals? Can't we discuss things during work? Mr. Zhao should separate his life and work." Zhao Bo looked at Chu Ji. "Boss Chu, you don't work at Lee's, why are you here?" Chu Ji said, "Isn't it obvious?" He pointed to the bouquet of flowers next to Su Ruoxuan. Chu Ji looked at Su Ruoxian and said, "Ruoxian, let's go." "Ruoxuan," Zhao Bo also shouted at this time. Su Ruoxian said, "Zhao Bo, I did have something to do with Ah Ji this time. I will tell you in detail when we come back." Su Ruoxian looked at Chu Ji and said, "Aj, let's go." Chu Ji and Su Ruoxuan walked towards the door side by side. When passing by Zhao Bo, Chu Ji looked at Zhao Bo provocatively. Just like the way Zyro had provoked him at the beginning, Chu Ji felt that he had the potential to be a great villain. Chapter 196, Such a Thief. Chu Ji found that Zhao Bo's face was distorted because of anger. Chu Ji thought about the methods Zyro had used against him in the past, and he thought he could try them on Zhao Bo. Although I didn't feel much about Zyro Han's methods at first, it now seems to be quite effective against other people. Does this count as giving someone a taste of their own medicine? After all, they are family, aren't they? Seeing Chu Ji and Su Ruoxuan leave, how could Zhao Bo stay here? He also stood up and left the office and followed Su Ruoxichuj. When Zhao Bo saw them walk into a hotel, his eyes turned red. 2 hours. Chu Ji and Su Ruoxuan stayed in the hotel for 2 hours before coming out. Su Ruoxuan's face was rosy with a slight blush. Seeing Su Ruoxuan saying something to Chu Ji in a coquettish tone, Zhao Bo almost took off the steering wheel. At this time, Su Ruoxian and Chu Ji came to the station. Su Ruoxian said to Chu Ji, who was now a little depressed, "Open the car door for me." Chu Ji politely opened the car door for Su Ruoxuan and helped her get into the car. "That's right, it's support. Su Ruoxuan has difficulty walking now." Zhao Bo saw this whole scene. His eyes were filled with hatred, and he wished he could kill Chu Ji right now. Su Ruoxuan returned to the office and saw Zhao Bo sitting on the sofa in her office. "How is the work going?" Su Ruoxuan asked. Zhao Bo looked up at Su Ruoxian and said, "I heard that you and Chu Ji went to the hotel." Su Ruoxian was slightly stunned and said, "Yes, I'm going there to meet a client." Zhao Bo's eyes dimmed for a moment, because he didn't see the so-called customer at all. "I'm curious about what kind of client can make you, Ruoxian, stay with him for more than 2 hours." Su Ruoxuan's eyes looked a little flustered. Zhao Bo noticed this keenly, and his heart sank to the bottom. "Ruoxuan, you should know my friendship for you," Zhao Bo said. Su Ruoxian said, "Actually, it's just a client, a drinking party. 2 hours is short enough." Zhao Bo thought of Su Ruoxuan's unnatural steps and flushed face as she walked out of the hotel, and he felt his heart bleeding. He lowered his head, but when he raised it again, a warm smile appeared on his face. "Ruoxuan, you probably don't have any social engagements tonight. Let's go out for dinner together," Zhao Bo said. Su Ruoxuan hesitated for a moment and said with a tired look on her face, "I'm a little tired today. I want to go back and rest. Let's do it another day." Zhao Bo's face stiffened again, then he smiled and said, "Okay, another day." Su Ruoxuan yawned lazily, then packed up and left the office. She was really a little tired. As she walked out of the house, Su Ruoxian suddenly blushed and cursed inwardly, "Beast." Looking at Su Ruoxuan's back, Zhao Bo's face instantly became gloomy. Su Ruoxuan walked into the elevator at this time, and Suzy also walked over at this time. The two took the elevator downstairs. Suzy asked, "Did you accept Zhao Bo's proposal?" "Proposal?" That's right, Zhao Bo bought flowers today. Isn't he here to propose? Su Ruoxian said, No, he didn't propose to me. Su Zi said, What do you think of him? Now I am a little confused. Su Ruoxian smiled and said, You don't need to know so much, just wait and watch the show. Su Zi was slightly stunned, watching a show. Su Ruoxian returned home and sat on the sofa as if she had collapsed. Tusk, acting is really tiring. I don't know what she thought of afterwards. A sly look appeared on her lips. You asked for this, don't blame me. Besides, we are legal. What else can you do? Humph. Chu Ji returned to his residence at this time. He was a little depressed. He had taken all kinds of precautions, but it was hard to guard against a thief in his own home. He didn't expect Su Ruoxian to do this to him. I was careless. Soon Su Wan came back. Su Wan came to Chu Ji and said, Sure enough, that kid has made some moves. The people I sent back said that they are now in a manor in the suburbs, which was once the property of the Zhao family. Chu Ji chuckled and said, They really don't even bother pretending now. What are you going to do? The other party will probably take action against Ruoxian and me. Our lives and property are in your hands, Chu Ji said. Yes, this was a setup from the beginning. When Zhao Bo entered Su's company, Chu Ji didn't care. However, when Chu Ji received photos of Su Ruoxian and Zhao Bo for no reason, he knew that someone was trying to do something bad to him. Then there were a series of photos, and then Chu Zu happened to run into Su Ruoxian and Zhao Bo coming out of the hotel. All this showed one thing, someone was playing a trick on him. That's right, it's just a joke. They could have done it quietly, but they chose to send the photos to themselves. They think of themselves as soft persimmons. Unfortunately, the other party seems to overestimate his abilities. When it comes to conspiracy, Chinese people are the ancestors of those foreigners. Although they are not foreigners, they have regressed in this aspect after living in a foreign country for a long time. After all, the Chinese are the only people in the world who regard conspiracy and trickery as high emotional intelligence, and they have taken it to the pinnacle. So when he realized this, he asked Su Wan to investigate the matter. But he really didn't expect that the other party would appear in Jinghai so blatantly. Even the surname was not changed, which made him think of the disappeared Zhao family. At the same time, this made Chu Ji feel a little worried. Of course, he was not worried about himself, but about Zhu Wangqing. The Zhao family returned, but Sister Wangqing did not come back. That only means she has more important opponents to deal with. In this case, I will cripple the Zhao family so that Sister Wangqing doesn't have to worry about here and can concentrate on dealing with her opponent. But it's not easy to move against them. The Zhao family has made two preparations. One is our Su family, and the other is those small and medium-sized enterprises in Jinghai. In just a few days, he signed contracts with many companies and tied them together. Is it a bet agreement? Chu Ji asked. How do you know? These are leftovers from overseas. Do you really regard them as treasures? No matter what, the gambling agreement can control those small and medium-sized assets. Once the time is up, they can quickly harvest those companies and grow stronger. Chu Ji smiled slightly. Then why not just let him lose? Su Wan looked at Chu Ji. Chu Ji said, Any company that dares to sign a gambling agreement has a certain degree of confidence. If the Zhao family wants to make them lose, they will definitely use some despicable means. But what if those gamblers have my help behind the scenes? Su Wan's eyes lit up slightly. According to the information I received, the other party will start to reap those companies in half a month at most. I won't let them succeed. Chapter 197, The Su Family's Plan. Su Family. The bi-weekly family meeting begins. Father Su looked at Su Ruoxian and said, Ruoxian, how is the progress between you and Zhao Bo? Su Ruoxian looked at Father Su and asked, What's the progress? My stepmother said anxiously, It's about the engagement. When do you and Zhao Bo plan to get engaged? Zhao Bo is a rare talent. He has both good looks and talent. You can't find such a person even with a lantern. Su Ruoxian looked at her stepmother and asked, He's so good, how did you know? The stepmother said, Of course I'll tell you, I saw it with my own eyes. Su Ruoxian said disdainfully, Really? Then who do you think is better, him or Chu Ji? The stepmother said, Of course it's Zhao Bo. Is there any need to say that? Chu Ji is just a peasant. Su Ruoxian looked at her father and asked, Do you think so too? Father Su's eyes flickered as he said, I admit that Zhao Bo is not as capable as Chu Ji. Su Zi next to him also said at this time, That's right. Even though Zhao Bo has brought huge benefits to the Su family, he is still a little insufficient compared to Chu Ji. Su Zi continued, I even always feel that it's weird that Zhao Bo was able to acquire those companies. From what I understand, those companies are developing well. There is absolutely no need for them to be acquired by our Su Corporation. The stepmother said, "It's because Zhao Bo has this ability." Suzy shook his head. "No, this is not a question of ability. It's that he was able to accomplish something that was simply impossible. There is a saying that when something is abnormal, there must be something wrong. In this respect, he is completely different from Chu Ji. Chu Ji often has a way of turning decay into magic, and there is a traceable path for everything. But Zhao Bo is different. His recent achievements seem to have come out of nowhere. It's too abrupt." My stepmother said at this time. "Doesn't that further prove that Zhao Bo is more capable than Chu Ji?" This time, not only Suzy, but everyone else also shook their heads slightly. At this time, footsteps were heard. Su Zin came in from outside. Looking at Su Zin's slightly lonely expression, Su Zin's mother felt a little embarrassed. Ever since that time, he went to Chu Ji's house and had a fight with him. The smile on Su Zin's face faded. In the past, she always had a smile from the bottom of her heart on her face and was in a good mood every day. She has grown from a person with no management experience to a strong woman whose abilities are no less than Su Ryuakshuan. These are all people who brought them here. But he actually did such a stupid thing and was easily tricked into being used as a tool. Ever since Chu Ji and Su Zin had a fight, the relationship between Chu Ji and Su Zin became distant. Although it couldn't be seen on the surface, she could see it from the gradual smile on Su Zin's face. At this time, Su Zin's father also looked at Su Zin and then glared at his wife. It was all because of this stupid woman's stupid behavior that Chu Ji's last chance to stay in the Su family was gone. Now let's look at Chuz's development. Not only is he the president of Li Group, he also has connections with the people above him. Now I even have a job. Under the leadership of Chu Ji, the Li family has surpassed the Su family in all aspects. Even though the Su family has developed rapidly recently, it is still nothing in front of the Li family. Suzy said that Zhao Bo is not as capable as Chu Ji, and that is true. Not only Suzy thought so, but he also thought so. In terms of appearance, it's okay. But in terms of ability, Zhao Bo is far inferior to Chu Ji. It's a pity that such a talented person missed out on the Su family. At this time, stepmother patted Su's father's arm and said, "But Ryuaxian, it seems impossible for you and Chuz to be together. Why do we have to hang ourselves on a tree? You should know what Zhao Bo feels for you, right? Ryuaxian, you are not young anymore. It's time for you to get married and have children for the Su family, right?" Su Ryuakshuan looked at her stepmother and said, "You really want me to get married? Why are you so enthusiastic about my affairs?" My stepmother was stunned and said with a twinkle in her eyes, "Isn't this for your own good?" Su Ryuaxian said, "Then why don't you introduce Zhao Bo to Su Wan?" Su Wan snorted coldly at this time. My stepmother stopped talking. "Father Su, okay, Ryuaxian, what do you think?" "I don't have any idea. If that's all we have to say today, then I'm leaving." Su Ryuakshuan stood up. Su Ryuaxian muttered in her heart at this time, "I haven't even divorced. I've been married for a long time. Why are you worrying about it?" "Ryuakshuan, sit down. We still have a lot to talk about. What will happen if you leave?" said Father Su. My stepmother also said at this time, "That's right, Ryuaxian, think about it carefully. I think Zhao Bo is really good. As long as you and your wife are united, our Su family will definitely reach a higher level." Su Ryuakshuan turned her head to look at her stepmother and suddenly smiled and said, "I was wondering why you are so enthusiastic. Are you planning to take my shares? You want me to withdraw all my investment in Li's this time, right?" Father Su looked a little embarrassed. If it were Su Ryuakshuan's previous shares, he really wouldn't care much. But the Li family is no longer the same as before. Under Chu Ji's leadership, the Li family rose to power. The momentum is growing by leaps and bounds. But Jinghai is only this big. The cake is only this big. Even if the Li family had not done anything against the Su family, they would intentionally or unintentionally compress their living space. Now, not only the Su family, but also other industries related to Li's enterprises are gradually feeling the oppression from the Li family. Now Chu Ji has merged the game company into Li's again, and with the strong foundation of Li's, it has become a national monopoly in the game industry. How can other industries survive? Therefore, suppressing the Li family became a consensus reached by some people intentionally or unintentionally. If it is not stopped, the Li family may very well be the next Zhao family. They really don't want to see a situation where one company dominates the market. So he wanted Su Ryuakshuan to withdraw her shares, which would greatly weaken the development of Li's company. You have to know that Su Ryuakshuan's investment in Li's company has increased several times. This is a fund that even the Su family cannot ignore. Father Su said at this time, Ryuoxian, you are a member of the Su family after all. I also want you to inherit the Su family in the future. Chu Ji is too strong now and is no longer suitable for you. If Zhao Bo can marry into the Su family. Su Ryuoxian suddenly said at this time, okay. Su Wan and Su Zin beside them both looked up at Su Ryuoxian. Su Wan looked calm. Su Zin was a little surprised. Stepmother and father Su also showed a look of surprise. So you agree? Su Ryuoxian said, I agree to withdraw my shares. I will return as much as I took from Su's before, but from now on I will have nothing to do with Su's. Father Su was stunned when he heard this. The others were also stunned. Ryuoxian, what do you mean by this? Stepmother was unhappy. Isn't what I said clear enough? I'm giving up the inheritance